It's Rapid Reviews. It is Rapid Reviews. We got no time. We have no time. We've got 285 games to talk about. Nick?
Yes.
Most of the time I don't feel like, hey, we played too many games. But when you then have to review them all back to back to back to back,
well,
I'm like, maybe we played too many games.
We do not have, we're choosing to do this technically.
I know,
you
but
know this.
you know.
Steve,
anyway,
deal with it, chat.
Listen here, deal with the chat. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
That is Nick right there. We are the Brothers Murphy. It's time to do Rapid Reviews 2022 edition. If this is your first ever time seeing a Rapid Reviews, we do this monthly. We talk about every single game we played in a month, and that's a 28 to 30 game chunk.
Yep.
And we're going to now review every game we played in the year, take a real look back.
Yeah.
And see what the heck we
285 games, played 172 new games, which is a lot.
I was very surprised.
And then something like 135 or something 33 or something like that
However
was
much
old
makes
games,
285
which is cool that we played like you mentioned. It's like every other day technically we played a new game.
Yeah,
which
like
is
it averages
pretty insane.
out.
Yeah. Like this is our jobs. That makes sense. But it's like,
and I was thinking like, how's that possible? And last night I was just like, you want to learn to play Burden? And we're like, we played that. I'm like, that's how it happens.
That's how it happens.
You know? So that won't be in this Rapid Review, but it'll be in this coming month's Rapid Review.
So last time we did this last year, this video was like over 4 hours long. So we're going to try and make this quicker, though we have more games to talk about than last year.
So settle in, you butts.
So we are going to be going through these fast. Every single review is going to be like a sentence max, because we got a lot. We say that,
but you know.
So we're going to start, as we always do with Rapid Reviews, with all of the new to us games, and then all the games we've played before. So the whole first half of this, we'll probably take a little bit of a break in between, but the whole first half is all going to be games that are new to us.
Yes. Everything that was a first-time play in 2022, whether it's a 2022 game or older, we had a lot of games to play for the very first time.
Yeah.
We'll hop right into it. If you're watching this live or watching it later, a couple things. Give this video a thumbs up. Really want this one to get out there in front of people. And if you're new to us, please consider subscribing. And we'll just say in general, because we don't have time to read off all the names, thank you to everyone who became a patron to us in 2022.
We're not going to do that. That's a lot of patrons.
We really appreciate it. We had a good year in Patreon. Let's keep it going. If possible, it helps us pay for the studio from which we are filming to your faces right now.
And people who are here live, thank you for being here live.
Thanks
we
for being
appreciate
here live.
it.
We love it.
Talk to chat a little bit, but not too much, because again, we gotta go.
The games chats going.
Indeed.
In the chat. Are we ready?
Well, all right, I guess.
We're going to start off with things that are new to us, like we said. That's why it says new to us right there. These games are new to us right here. I'm going to roll these sleeves up.
You got it, Mikey. You got it.
Our first one we played a lot of. What, sir? You turned it off.
How did I turn it off?
Because you're highlighting the
eyeball.
I see.
The
Sorry.
Oho. We're new to us games.
Scout.
With it. Scout.
Scout is one that we played a ton of. This
like,
is a
most played game of the year, maybe?
probably. I mean, I played a lot of Turing Machine. That's more my thing. This is definitely the game we played the most together, because this is a card game where you are trying to put together a hand of cards that's really great, where you can play pairs and three of a kinds and runs of cards. It's a ladder climbing game.
Oh, hi, Mary.
And ideally, what you need to do is play something that's more powerful onto the table than what was played before.
Yeah.
It's really fun because it's easy enough to get into. It's in a tiny little box, and it's very playable.
Still talking about Scout?
Yeah.
We have like
I know, but I gotta give you a little sense of what the game is. The point is, I really like Scout.
Scout is outstanding. Hi, this is Mary, by the way.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
Scout is absolutely shout-standing.
Down.
We got to play Ark Nova. Ark Nova came out last year, but we finally got to play. We played it the first time at Dice Tower West with our good friends Nate and City. And
oh my God, that was March of this year.
That was this year, yeah. Ark Nova, it's like the hottest game in the last couple of years, pretty much. It's very, very fun. Got a lot of different mechanics, a little bit of Raj the Ganges, a little bit of Terraforming Mars, a little bit of Civilization New Dawn in there. Really, really fun about building a zoo. See, I'm done already.
Yeah, it's a really great game. It lived up to the hype. Wayfarers and South Tigris might go mess around and become a top 10 game. I don't know.
It's the best Garfield games, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, it's the newest in the Garfield games new trilogy, the South Tigris trilogy, and this one uses dice placement and worker placement. And then you build this massive tableau of cards. It's just so fun to explore synergies and combos between cards and get your resources. I just want to explore this game more and more and more.
Yeah,
it's
very excited
so good.
For Scholars of South Tigris too.
I can't wait.
We got to play a Decorum. Decorum is a new game this year. This is a game, a cooperative deduction game where everyone's decorating a house together, but you will not talk, because you're very bad at communicating in this game. You will not talk about what you want in the house, but you are very specific about what you want.
Yes.
So you're constantly moving stuff around, painting walls, changing the rounds, and you're trying to get everyone's conditions to be met, again, without you talking about what your conditions are. It's very, very fun. You get into the role-playing of being very, like, petty about things, being like, I hate that lamp.
Yeah,
that lamp
you're
is
like, "Why do you
stupid, and I
hate my
hate
lamp?"
you because you like that lamp. It gets very, very fun.
It's all about passive aggressiveness, and it lives up to that title.
Yeah.
Game we played a bunch of is Framework.
One of
This
the most
is,
played games this year.
Yeah, an Uwe Rosenberg game, kind of similar in the line of like Sagani, Nova Luna, Framework. They all do a very similar thing. We're going to place tiles. We're going to hope to surround that tile with certain colors, in this case, certain color frames, to complete tasks, because this tile might need 4 silver frames around it.
Yep.
And there's this kind of flow through adjacency where if there's a silver frame and another silver frame on this side, it counts as adjacent to that. This one does it the best of them all because it's really smooth to draft tiles, and it's a game you can play over and over again.
really
Love
good.
this game so much.
Lots of people just got here, asked if we could start over. No.
No. We're only 4 games in. Basically, it's been love, 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 love so far.
I'm curious, if someone in chat's going to be here the whole time, count the negatives. I don't know how many negative reviews there are going to be.
There's a couple where we got in the chamber, but not many.
We don't dislike
It was a
that
good
many
year of
games.
gaming, to be
Truly,
honest.
we don't dislike that many.
There's
We
some
played,
meh in there.
Boon Lake. Boon Lake is a game by
Trash.
Alexander Pfister. Trash game. No, it's really great. We love
really
it.
great.
This is a game I feel like we like more than most other people. It seems like a lot of people don't tend to love this game, but we really do. But this is a game where you're building out kind of like a engine of cards, and you're going down this river, and you're putting out like settlements into this like uninhabited area, kind of like old pioneer town looking.
Yeah.
And it's really, really fun. It's the main gripe for it is it's just too long.
It's too
but
long.
with 2 players, like I don't mind it at all. I don't think I'd ever want to play with like 3 or 4 players.
Nah,
because
it's
I don't
about
think it
2
would
hours
make
with
the
2
game.
players.
Yeah, I don't think it'd make the game better,
Nah.
but it would make the game longer, which I don't want. But Boon Lake, we really, really love.
I think it's fantastic. I can acknowledge the flaws that this game has and still have so much fun playing it anyway that I'm like, I'm fine with it. I got no problem.
Yeah, absolutely no problem.
Yeah, really great.
Legacy, I still haven't played this one yet.
It's so good. Legacy of You is a solo resettable campaign
get back
game
on this.
from Shenfield. I know, I really do.
Yeah.
I almost played it yesterday for my birthday.
Oh, really?
And then I was like, it's a bit too much stuff. You know what I played? Black Sonata, which we'll talk about later.
Did you play it?
I loved it. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Let's talk about it now.
No, it's not up yet.
But it's really
Legacy,
fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. Legacy of You, dude. Black Sonata though, man,
so good?
It's so good. Such a good
Is it
deduction
so
game.
good? Yeah.
Legacy of You is also a great resettable campaign game where you're trying to build out these sections of a canal, not unlike Shakespeare looking for the Dark Lady in Black Sonata, and you are dealing with barbarians that are kind of threatening you constantly. You are it's just this kind of efficiency puzzle with all of your resources, both workers and the actual resources. How do I eke out as much as I can with the stuff I have?
It's
if you
tough.
like Hadrian's Wall, you might like this because it's a similar feeling of like, I've got this pool of stuff. What do I do with it? Legacy U is incredible. It is so fun. As you play through, if you win a bunch of games, the game gets harder. If you lose a bunch of games, the game gets a little easier, and it kind of self-scales, and you're trying to win 7 games before you lose 7 games.
What a good cover.
Fantastic.
What a good
Super
cover.
cool, because there's this flood coming. You're constantly getting flood. That's why you're building canals, because your people are dying because of constant
Just
flooding.
a great cover. We played Paris, la Cité du Lumière.
Suck it, Foster the Meeple. Did we nail the pronunciation?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is Paris, City of Lights.
In English,
or
like
City
it
of Butts. I
freaking
can't remember which
should
one
be.
it is, but it's
City
one of
of
the 2.
Butts.
But nonetheless, this is a 2-player only game where it's kind of this interesting like half and half game where the first half of the game you're like putting out these like cobblestones and stuff like that, and you're essentially doing kind of like area majority. You're trying to have like your color cobblestones in certain places and kind of have them together.
Large
and stuff.
swaths of your color
Yes.
because it's going to give you more flexibility later.
Whereas next turn, you're next round essentially, or next half, you're putting out these like are they polyomino
They're
tiles?
polyomino tiles that are buildings that you will have drafted in the first half
That's
of the
right.
game because you can either place a tile or draft a piece, but you need to be able to put them only on your color
Yes.
cobblestones.
So you're trying to build it out and trying to think ahead, like, okay, if I build this like this, I can put this polyomino tile there. Super puzzly, super fun. There's also a decent amount of variety in the game because there's like these kind of like postcards that give you like
these
little special
actions,
powers and action stuff.
And we have
very
the,
cool little game.
We have the Eiffel expansion, which gives you just more actions and
Yeah.
stuff.
Really
it's a
cool.
really fun 2-player game that you play in the box.
Yeah, Devere per usual kills it. Yeah, really, really fun the game.
Good game. And we nailed the French. Thank you, Foster Meeple. We're
Thank
blessed.
you. Cuphead Fast Rolling Dice game is really fun.
It is. It's a mass market game 100%. You're just rolling dice. It's just frantic and stuff, but it is super duper fun.
It's really
For a
fun.
game where you're not making a ton of like deep strategic
No, it's luck.
choices. You are having to choose like what dice you want to hold back and roll some more, but you're just trying to roll the certain dice faces to dodge the attacks of whatever boss you're in front of, like the root pack if you're playing, the first one.
Play a big old
but
carrot.
as you play more and more packs, there's like 8 of them, you get more and more kind of things you have to manage, like against the dragon, and start stacking your dice, because in the game, you're jumping from cloud to cloud, so there's a dexterity element.
That dragon sucks.
It does a good job, dude. That's where I stopped. I never beat it.
Yeah.
It does a good job of feeling like Cuphead. Obviously, it has great art, because Cuphead has great art, and just the franticness of rolling the dice feels like Cuphead, as much as you possibly could by making something so completely different than a video game.
Yeah, totally.
It's really, really
cool.
fun. It's a great box, great art. Honestly, it's fantastic. You should give it a try.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Elena said, I take these are not alphabetical. No, we're doing all of our new games first, new to us games, and then, but they're not in any kind of order.
With them, they will kind of go alphabetical at times, because the way that our app does, it goes by number of plays, and that'll be alphabetical, and then it'll be alphabetical when you go down to like 1 play. So it sort of is and isn't.
Yeah, not really an organization. We played Glenmore 2 with Linnea actually in chat. Played Glenmore 2. This is Glenmore Chronicles. This is a tile laying game where you're putting out these tiles, and there'll be different Scottish stuff. And when you put down a tile, you get to activate that tile and all the tiles around it, which are mostly going to give you kind of resources. They might allow you to move around your Scotsman around your little area. Yeah. And you're trying to essentially score a couple different things. You have like whiskey that you can get, and you can turn in, some of the tiles will be like, hey, you can turn in these resources to get these points. So you're activating those. But the thing is, once a tile is completely surrounded, or there'll be a time where also you can't activate that tile anymore because it's completely surrounded by other tiles. And so it's constantly this interesting.
You need to kind of keep building out, but you also want to be efficient.
You don't want to build out, because if you have the biggest area at the end of the game, you will lose points. So you actually want to keep your kingdom as like small as possible.
Overbuild if you can.
Interesting for a tile laying game. Usually tile laying games, you want to go as big as possible. This one you actually don't. There's a whole bunch of different modules. The ones we've played have been really, really fun. Like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really fun. Great tile placement. If you like tile placement, you'll enjoy that one. That's what I say.
Yep.
Great Western Trail, Argentina, man.
Indeed.
This game is dope. If you like Great Western Trail, you'll probably like this game.
Pretty much.
If you don't like Great Western Trail, this probably won't change your mind, because it's like 80% the same. The whole body and soul of Great Western Trail is very much there, where you're going on a rondelle, you're going down a trail, stopping off at various buildings, and ending up at a location to drop off cows and starting again. It's all about that hand management. Great Western Trail Argentina kind of adds to the, I guess, like, when you ship off your cattle, then they go onto ships instead of just on a train, and then you're done with them. You put your disc on a ship, but then those ships might ship out to these European cities, where then you can bring your disc down into a different area where there's some area control, and you want to kind of get, you know, onto these little spots which will give you points or give you money and stuff. So there's just more to kind of do there. You can, as you move your train down, get shortcuts. You can start making routes quicker and quicker. There's a lot of fun changes to the game that we really prefer.
really like.
And so, yeah, it's, I think, a fantastic addition.
Yeah.
And that I would probably play over Great Western Trail.
At this point, I like it a lot. It's very, very good. Yeah. Played Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King, keeping the Scottish theme going through Great Western Trail.
Another Scottish-themed tiling.
The next game will also be about Argentina. Yeah. And so this is kind of like Carcassonne and Cartographers had a baby, where you're laying out tiles like Carcassonne. They'll have different things on them. You have to make the landscape make sense if you can. But then there is scoring like Cartographers. We're going to have 4 scoring conditions. In the first round, you score like A and B, then B and C, then C and D.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but I think everything will score 3 times.
Yeah, it's similar kind of scoring like that.
Exactly that kind of vibe, yeah.
And so it's just really, really good. Also by Alexander Pfister. Really, really fun. We liked it a lot. We just got the Druids expansion. We heard is really, really good.
Yeah, we haven't played with it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, so if you want like Carcassonne, but like thinkier, because now you have like different scoring conditions every game, it's great for that.
It really is a midpoint between like Carcassonne and Cartographers.
Yeah.
You know, like where, because of this scoring thing, I want to get a bunch of small areas of water completed, or, you know, get a bunch of this type of building or this type of animal. So it just gives you different things to focus on as you play. And there's like bidding mechanisms for, you know, I know Nick's going for this thing, so I'm gonna make this tile cost more, so when he buys, they get more money and stuff like that. Just adds a few things to like a Carcassonne type game.
It's really, really good. Really good. Like it a lot.
Really fantastic.
Okay, Mike, talk about this game.
I'm gonna play Wax Sonata.
How you play Wax Sonata? I'm so excited.
Good,
I've been wanting Mike to play it because it's really good.
It is so good. This is a solo deduction game.
How does it work?
Where you are, I don't know, man.
I get how it works.
You are walking around England, London, and you were looking for the Dark Lady, who was like basically Shakespeare's muse for all of Shakespeare's sonnets.
Yeah.
Shakespeare kind of alludes to this person who clearly had captured his imagination. Their imagination is probably a group of people that wrote all these things, but it doesn't matter. And so like there's always been this mystery, like who's the Dark Lady? Who's this muse figure? You know, was it someone who was from the history? Was it an acquaintance?
In his mind, yeah.
Someone in his mind or whatever. And so you are basically searching out for a certain person based on the various aspects traits that they have. Like they're married, they have kids, they have some sort of tie to Shakespeare, they are a historical figure of some kind.
Yeah.
There's all these different traits, and you're kind of like whittling down to 3 of them, which will point to one person specifically. And so you are moving around the board, and the Dark Lady is moving from location to location, and what you have is basically this deck of cards that will show you a feature of that location, and from that, kind of like Stop Thief, you can probably get an idea of where she's going, and you hope to land at the same spot, same time to confront her. And then if you make a correct guess, who are you? And she runs away in the shadows. Yeah. But you might have caught a glimpse to give you a little bit more information.
You saw a wedding ring as you were running away.
Oh, she's married. Okay. You know what I mean? And so, like, and through this, you just then start to make leaps of logic, like a Search for Planet X and stuff. Yeah. It's really, really fun. I love, of course, like the historical theme of this.
Yeah, it's cool.
It is so cool. And the fact that you make this deck of cards, which basically is a sequence that she's walking around, and it works. It actually works. It's really cool.
I'm so glad you played it. I've been wanting to talk to you about it. It's so much fun. Yeah, I like Black Sonata a lot.
It's really
good.
Cool.
K-Tree said, with the 285 unique games in a year, how many did you play more than once? A decent amount. I'm not entirely sure the exact number, but a decent amount.
I don't know. I can try. I'll do a quick see look here and see.
I'm gonna play Kites. Kites is a really great real-time game by Floodgate Games, great bestseller art, where you have these sand timers and you are cooperatively playing out these cards. Whenever you play out a card, whatever color kite is on there, you will flip that color sand timer, so like red, blue, purple, green, that kind of thing.
You gotta keep sand in the timers.
And you gotta keep sand. If a sand timer runs out, the game is over, you lose. They also have different amounts of sand in them, so the purple one is like 2 minutes long, but the red one is only like 30 seconds long, but there's also more red cards. And so you wanna try, you play a card and then you draw a card and it goes to the next person. And you win the game once you get all the cards down at the table. So you're constantly just playing and switching, and it's really, really fun.
It's so fun.
It's way more fun than it.
It's just an excuse to shout at people that are sitting 2 feet away from you.
It's great.
And don't we all want that?
And it's got great bestseller art that you unfortunately will not pay attention to because you are screaming at people to play cards.
There's just
but afterwards, check out the art. It's great. Kites is really fun.
Yeah, it's underrated. You'll see that in the list tomorrow. Speaking of. We played a game called Leviathan Wilds, which won't be coming out for a little while.
Yeah,
they launched a campaign,
Kickstarter,
and then they will launch it again. So Leviathan Wilds is a cooperative game where you are playing these climbers and you're climbing up these, like you can see like in the cover right here,
big old
these giant creatures. And you're basically trying, they've been like, you can see like the blue crystals there, they've been like corrupted essentially, and they're kind of like all agitated and wild now.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to like remove those crystals to kind of bring them back, because these creatures are naturally very docile and stuff like that. And you're kind of moving around and dealing with these attacks. They're going to target, like I'm going to do an attack like this. You're trying to get out of the way of their attacks. And it was a fun cooperative game that probably still needs a little bit of polish.
Yeah, it was good though.
And it seems like they're going to do that and relaunch the campaign. But there's a fun core here for a cooperative game that uses climbing, and your grip strength is your deck of cards that you have. If you ever run out of cards in your deck, you fall, which isn't the end of the day necessarily.
Leviathans, because they're all different shapes, stuff. They really do feel different, and so I think there's gonna be like 20 in the campaign.
You kind of play through that campaign, and every Leviathan is different.
It was very, very cool. We're gonna play Mists Over Carcassonne. This is like the spooky, like Halloween-y version of Carcassonne, but it's cooperative. And so it's normal Carcassonne. You're playing out tiles, you're trying to finish cities, finish roads, and stuff like that. But then there's also these mists, and these mists have ghosts in them. If you ever run out, whenever you have ghosts, you have to put ghosts on the board. If you ever run out, you lose. And then if you ever close off an area of mist, all those ghosts will go back away. It's really, really fun. It's fun to kind of be like, hey, like, what should we do? What should we do here? Also, like, if you both end up on a road, instead of you have no one getting the points, you'll get double the points. So a lot of times you're both trying to get into cities and then close them, because then you'll get like double the points, because you always have points thresholds that you have to hit.
You're trying to get to a certain amount of points before you lose. I mean, you're trying to hang on.
Really, really fun. I like it a lot. There's like a whole bunch of different difficulty levels. We suck at this game, so we play on the easy one and we still lose all the time. But I really like it. I think it's an outstanding version of Carcassonne.
I think so too. I think this will probably become a default way that we play it, especially during like Halloween time. It's really cute.
It's
really like this version.
Really, really good. Like it a lot. Played this last night and the night before.
We played 2 days in a row. I played again today. I don't know.
Planet Unknown is very, very good.
So
Planet Unknown is a polygonal tile game where you are putting out different types of terrains onto a planet, kind of terraforming it. And you're bumping tracks because we love bumping tracks.
Bump them tracks.
How many games
baby?
will we feature that have bumping tracks? Probably a lot.
A bunch.
And it's just like this track allows you to bump this other track, and now you can do this one. And it's cool because they're all different. Everyone has like a corporation. You can all play the same corporation.
Yep.
You can all play different corporations.
Yep.
They're async. We started
Same
playing
planet,
with those
different
ones.
planets.
They're nuts. It's so good. I hope they keep printing it because I think it'll just keep selling.
I agree. I think there's just high appeal. It's all simultaneous play, so it goes down smooth.
Yep.
This would be the game that, above all, I would play at 6-player because you play it all at the same time, so it's not going to take forever.
Indeed. We played Pusheen Perfect Pick.
Pusheen the Cat Perfect Pick.
I don't remember much about this game.
It was a game where you're ultimately kind of moving around to different locations.
That's right,
and you're
yeah.
collecting cards.
That's
You're kind of
right.
like collecting stuff to have like a great day, like to go on a picnic or whatever. It's a very mass market game. It's very cute.
Yes.
Pusheen, it comes like a little Pusheen figure. That's adorable.
She is cute.
We played it. This is not like our
This is
type of
literally a
game per
Pusheen
se.
beanie.
You
I'll
do.
put this
That
on
you
for a
got
bit.
from when we played that right there.
Put this on for a bit.
This game is super cute, especially if you have people like Pusheen. Get this game for them.
Yes.
It's adorable. It is a fun little game that's ultimately fairly simple, but there's
And
some
it's a
like
real game.
There's some stuff to consider about where you move and like how that blocks people and things like that. So there's a real game there, but it's ultimately very light with very high appeal Pusheen.
Very
So
fun.
great
It's
for
a good
like
little game.
families.
Again,
and
it's
stuff.
like it's not our favorite, but it's good.
Yeah.
Ready Set Bet was a very good. This is a horse racing betting game where the kind of person running the horse race can be rolling out these dice, and all the horses are going to be moving up the thing, and you have kind of looks like a big roulette table. And you are putting down bets over what horse you think is going to win, but again, it's all done by rolling dice.
Are they going to win, place, or show? Meaning, are they going to come in first, second, or third?
If you roll like a 6 and then you roll 6 again, that horse then gets a boost of speed. And it's just one of those things where you're putting down your bets, and eventually everyone has their bets down, and then everyone is just screaming over who they
rooting
want
for
to
the
win.
horses that you bet on.
And it's such a simple game, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It is so much fun.
But it's really cool because every round you get like prop bets. There's extra special bets that are only there for that round. You get these little cards that might give you an extra betting disc or this kind of bonus. If an 11-12 gets rolled, you get $1 and things. So it gives you like all these fun little things that get the game kind of just gets crazier and crazier. But it's so fun to have someone who's just rolling these dice and moving the horse and rolling these dice and calling out the race.
And
And
I
like,
think, I don't know if the app is out yet. Is it out yet? But they will have an app that can run the horse race for you.
Yeah.
Just in case you don't want to. But it is.
I prefer to like play
really
and call
Yeah,
out
I
the
like
race.
it. I think
This
it's
is
really, really fun.
We played some Sky Mines.
We did. Sky Mines is
AKA Moon Bassa.
Moon Boss. I know, real
A
miss on that one.
space version, reskin theme of Mombasa from Alexander Pfister.
Yep.
This one sets it on the moon, which is preferable because, as so far as we understand, there are not people up there. And so when you're cutting up the land and stuff, you're not cutting up people's neighborhoods, which we love.
Which is great.
This one is really fun. We'd never played Mombasa, but we'd always heard really great things about it mechanically. Like from a mechanism standpoint, it's a fantastic game.
And this is just that, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this
There's these
interesting
4 corporations basically investing in their stake on the moon. And you're trying to kind of get in with those companies.
Yeah, you're trying to get shares of those companies, so you want a lot of their stuff out on the moon so that your shares are worth more money. It's got this really interesting kind of way of deck building where you're putting cards into various discard piles, but at the end of your turn you get to grab one of those discard piles back. So it's nice because you get a really strong hand, but then you have to split the hand up. So you can't like keep spamming these really, really strong hands. And it's a very interesting kind of way of doing deck programming. That's really, really fun. I liked it quite a bit.
I liked it a lot. It's cool, and there's like a whole other side of the board we haven't even explored. KT says, race that bet, not for introverts. Probably not as much, because it's going to be loud. And I'm sure that game will annoy people at conventions, but I love that fact about it.
Don't care at all. I got to play. I don't know if you played Parade this year.
I played it once a long time
I
ago.
got to play it a couple times this year. I played at Dice Tower West with a whole bunch of different people, and then I played it with Matthew in Manchester. This is a great little kind of like line management game where you are putting Alice in Wonderland folk at the end of this line.
Also, low-key, one of the coolest covers.
It's a good cover. And you essentially are trying to not take cards. You don't want cards. Cards are worth points. You don't want points. Although you can kind of try and like shoot the moon with of the color of card, which you can do. And this is a game where it's like you definitely want to play it with more people because the more Matthew and I played it 2-player, and it was way too easy to just never take cards.
You need to have a little bit of the chaos from like what people are playing, and you're like, how do I now deal with this? You want that blend for sure.
Yeah, and it's really, really fun. It's a classic game for a reason, been around for a long time. I really like the Alice in Wonderland one. It's really, really cool. And yeah, this is a game that honestly, if I saw it in like a shop, I'd probably pick it up for us because I think it's a great like, hey, let's play a quick, easy game that most people really like.
I'd love to pick this one up. Ziv says, I'm really torn between Long Shot the Dice Game and Race That Bet. If you don't want the hooting and hollering play, Long Shot the Dice Game gives you similar vibes.
Yeah.
Without the zaniness.
Yeah, and they're not similar.
Both great.
They're not even. So is Ready Set Bet a bit like Camel Up? Not really, honestly.
No, because it's just the real-time element makes it feel very different.
Played Terracotta Army. This is a new game by Board and Dice.
You really like this one.
I really like this one a lot. Yeah, this is a game very Board and Dicey where you are choosing an action. You'll get to do multiple actions, but those actions are constantly changing.
Yeah,
and
so
so
these rings that you'll ultimately do 3 actions kind of from the middle of the ring
and
out.
each round the rings will turn, so the action setup is going to be different. So sometimes you're like, oh, this is a really good combination of actions. I want to make sure I go there first.
Yeah.
But you're ultimately building up the Terracotta Army and putting it in the mausoleum. Whenever you build a new Terracotta Army statue, you will then put your base on it. You'll put it in the mausoleum. They will do some special powers while they're in there. But most of what you're trying to do is like make groups of them, essentially have like area control. But the thing about the mausoleum, which is interesting, is you could really influence the mausoleum. You can move stuff around. There are these inspectors going around, so you're constantly trying to like move stuff and make it most advantageous for you. It's really, really fun. I like it a lot. We've only ever played it at 2-player, I think. I would like to try it at more, but I actually also really, really like it at 2 players. So I feel like it's gonna be a game that like I don't really need to play it more because it's just gonna make it longer.
Yeah.
And you just get a lot done in 2-player. You get really high scores.
Yeah, you get more actions per round at 2-player.
Yeah.
I think you get 5 versus like 3 in a 4-player game.
So you get
So
so
the
many more
mausoleum
points.
still fills up and stuff. There's still a lot of intrigue around like who's building where. Really like Terracotta Army, and it's very like simple ultimately, like compared to a lot of other Board and Dice games.
Indeed. We're going to play Viticulture World. We played this on New Year's Eve.
We did?
Not for the first time, but again,
We
really,
lost
really
it for
good.
the most recent time on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, this is the expansion for Viticulture World. Makes it cooperative. This is what kept Viticulture as my #1 game when we did our top 100 this year. Spoilers, I guess. I really love Viticulture. It's my favorite game. And this kind of just cemented it there for at least a couple more years, I think. I really like Viticulture World because it's just viticulture where you're building out your vineyard, except for now everyone is working together to try to get a certain amount of points, a certain amount of influence points. But it's cool because you do really have to like discuss what's happening because you do not have much time. You only have 6 rounds to do it.
Yeah.
And so you can like trade some stuff sometimes, be like give people some wine, be like, here, you have this, you can fill this wine order. And you're really having to discuss it and discuss like how do we want to do this, try and make this work.
Because there's
really
so
fun.
little time.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard. You only have 6 rounds. And, like, I feel like a normal game of viticulture is, like, probably 6 or 7 rounds. So it's not, like, that different. But with the other things you have to consider and the events that are happening and, oh, man.
Yeah.
You feel like crunch so hard.
Very good.
Yeah, it's really good. We're very bad at it.
Oof, Woodcraft. I think in a redraft a couple years from now, I feel like Woodcraft is going to be our favorite game from this year.
Yeah, we'll have to see
It wasn't when we did our list, but like the more we played it again the other night, and this is another Vladimir Suki game in Ross Arnold, and it's just super, super fun. It's kind of like that. A lot of their games where it's just like you have a very interesting action selection system. The longer you wait to take an action, the more bonuses it's going to have attached to it. You're doing this, you're manipulating dice, cutting them in half with saws. It's a very well thematically integrated game, I feel like.
The idea of like splitting a 6 to a 2 and a 4 is a completely abstract idea, but the idea is like you're sawing that piece of wood in half and you have a bigger piece over here and a smaller piece. Like to me, I'm like, that is so satisfying to do something that is purely mechanical.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
And I feel like we're just scratching the surface. Surface with. I feel like we're both still very bad at the game. Scratching the surface with the strategies and stuff. It's so much fun.
It's so fun. Gosh. You're making wooden crafts and beautiful things like guitars.
We had to play Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fire Nation Rising, a very long name.
Yes.
This is another one of the Rising games, like Thanos Rising or Plankton Rising or Batman Who Laughs Rising, a whole bunch of Rising games.
Bunch of them.
They're all very similar, but this one is the Rising series is very good. This is actually the first Rising game we played. Yeah. Neither of us have watched Avatar, although I've always wanted to.
Watched bits and pieces.
But it's really, really fun. It's kind of like a crisis management game. That's a term that you've coined a lot recently, and I think it's a great one. Kind of like Pandemic in that way, where you're just like, you have crises, and you're constantly trying to manage them. You're rolling out dice. There's kind of 2 halves of the game. And I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really fun to build up that pool of dice. There's a nice ramp up that happens in the game, and it's legit difficult.
Yeah.
We got wrecked.
Very good. Very, very fun. You played Boop.
Boop. This is another little kitty cat game. It's an abstract kind of strategy game where you are putting kittens and cats onto a bed, and if you put a little kitten down, it will boop all kittens, yours or the opponent's, 1 space away in the direction. So if they're diagonal, it'll go 1 space diagonally away. What we try to do is get your little kittens 3 in a row to make them into a cat. Cats are cool because kittens won't boop a cat. And ultimately, to win the game, you need to get 3 of your cats in a row on the bed. So it's just all about placing it down, saying boop, and throwing cats off the bed for them to hop back up on and stuff. It's really adorable. If you like kind of pure abstract strategy, get the stuff where it is chess-like games. This one has high appeal from the theme, which for me helps out because like I don't love those types of games that much. Yeah. But this one is so cute. that my wife and I will play it, and it's just fun to boop the cats. So this is great because the theme for me really helps. And you're actually playing on this like little cloth.
Yeah.
That's like this little tufted, wonderful little bedspread. So yeah,
I'm excited to play it. It seems cool. It
it's
seems
really cute. Really cute.
Like give me abstract strategy with cute. Oh, another cat game.
Cat in the Box.
This is an interesting trick taking game where there are kind of there are suits, but every card doesn't have a suit when you play a card.
Assigned when you play it.
You assign a suit to a card when you play it, which is super interesting. I am not sure if I like Cat in the Box. I think there's too much going on.
I think jury's still out for me on this. The times I've played it have always been at like a convention. We got it at Gen Con, played it there, or played it at Strategic Concepts, so we're always playing 5-player. I do not recommend playing this game at 5-player. It's too much. There's just too much chaos and craziness. I want to try it like 3 or 4 and see.
We still need to try it some more.
Because there's this whole thing of like, you're going to choose, you're going to play a 4, you make it a red, you're going to put this little token down on the 4 red in this middle board and stuff. You're trying to like not create a paradox.
No one else can play a 4 red.
Exactly. And so it's all about like having, your options are dwindling. If you ever throw off suit, which you can do, you lose. Like if red was or say yellow was a suit and I play blue, I then take a token off of yellow. I can no longer play yellow this round. So you're trying to stay in the round as long as you can. I love that aspect.
Yeah.
There's also bidding for how many tricks you think you will win.
Yeah,
I agree. There's a few different things with the board. You're trying to make a big grouping of your things in the board. I think it's cool. I just think 5 players is too much. And you also play 1 round per player in the game. And then you're playing 5 rounds of this. I just don't think it's worth that. But I think 3 or 4 would be a great player count.
Yeah, just like with the bidding, and then you can only play each color and number once. You're also trying to get multiple of your things next to each other on that board. There's so many things going on. I'm like, take out 2 of these things, and I think I'd love this game. I still need to try it some more, but I don't think Cat in the Box is going to be for me. I think it's going to be too much for a trick taking.
Jury's out for me. I know it's not for me at 5-player, which is I think pretty much the only way I've played it.
We played Dead Reckoning. I really want to play more Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning.
This game is tight.
This game is tight by John DeClaire. Shouts out. This is another card crafting game but you're a big pirate card crafting game where you have different pirate crew, and you are giving them different abilities, which give them different symbols and stuff, which allow them to do actions better, essentially. And you're moving around to these different islands, trying to have like different stuff on this island, have like control of these various islands. It's got this really cool battle symbol where it's got this kind of like cube tower type battle system.
Drop it into this like little tray of
and then kind of where the cubes land depends on what you do. So it's no different than rolling dice. It's just random, but it's just more interesting and more like fun. And it's a really fun game. This is a game where it's a big long game. So I don't know when we'll ever get to play it. But I do love that we have a couple of the Saga expansions too, and I'm like, I want to play them, but we just don't play these games very often.
Open those, but I'm excited.
But I really like Dead Reckoning.
The art is, Tool. It's just dope. It's a cool game. It's a game that it takes a while because it kind of meanders. You can sort of just like take your time with it, which I think is super cool. But this is like we're gonna do this afternoon. Yeah. This is our whole evening right here, which I think is
if you're
awesome.
playing a 3-4 player game, it's probably gonna be 3 hours. Yeah, just because you're having a good time. Yeah.
Oh, if you're playing a 4 player, it's a 3-4 hour game for sure.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah,
but it's really fun stuff.
And card crafting, I'm like, okay, this is interesting card crafting to me. Yeah, I really like Dead Reckoning. It was cool.
It's fire.
Ooh, Dreadful Meadows. This is a nice game by Arcus Games. I feel like there's more and more games that are coming out around Halloween nowadays, which is great. But this game is
here for it.
A candy growing game. You are candy confectioners. You are spooky confectioners. And you are building out different tiles. And these tiles are going to be patches that will have candy on them. And then you can harvest those fields and harvest that candy. The candy is going to be your points in a lot of ways. They're also going to be the way you pay for stuff. The candy is kind of like your multi-use resource.
It's everything. It's what you're going to spend to get more stuff, but it is also your points. So it's like you're investing.
Because you're using
some of my points here to grow more points.
You're trying to fulfill contracts, and so you need those candies, which have different values to them, to buy these new patches, but you also use them to fulfill the contracts. It's a tough little balance. Every confectioner also has a little special power that all seem very minor, but actually make you play very differently. Yeah. It's really, really fun. It's got great art. It looks great. I love specifically holiday themed games. Yeah. It's very, very fun. I'm really excited to bring it out.
I'll play this off season, of course, but this will be played every October for as long as I can picture the future.
Yeah. Jeff Meadows is great. Very, very happy.
Yeah. Steve says I played Cat in the Box with the Murphs at 5 and it was too long, and 2 of us had a clear like runaway lead, and so the last round everyone's like, we're not going to win. I think that is part of the problem with that game.
We played Escalation. This is a little
The Suburban Wars.
Yes, that's an old lady with a bazooka. What do you do in this game again?
You're basically you're trying to like one up your neighbors. So you're ultimately trying to play higher cards.
That's what it is, yeah.
And I think you can play sets of the same number to make a 2 twos or
kind
a 4.
Kind of scouty in that way, yeah.
Yeah, or kind of like a Fuji flush vibe. and you're trying to like it's like basically you're escalating these
escalating petty neighborhood like squabbles. Basically.
And so like I think the old lady's like the highest card, so it's like the end game is like she has a bazooka, but it starts off with like less overt things, and you're trying to basically be able to keep playing cards. I think if you can't play cards, you have to take cards and stuff.
That's right.
And you're trying to like a lot of Rhino Finiscia games, your cards are negative points. You want to have collected as few cards as possible by the end of the game. And that's how you win.
It was a fun little game with like really weird theme that I liked, but it was like a little tiny little game.
Yeah, it's a cute little game.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. Yeah, that's right. It's a good time. Played Fife. Fife is a new game by Pegasus Spiel. This is kind of right in that area of like those kind of Calico games, abstract kind of games. Very, very simple rules. But as you go, your options get less and less and less. You basically have a 5x5 grid. You will have 2 little tiles. The tiles will have a color, a number, and a symbol on them. And then you will put one out on a turn and then draft a new one, and that's pretty much it. And then throughout the game, you'll put out these different scoring conditions around your board. And the scoring condition will be like, in this row, I want it to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In this one over here, I want to have all one color. This one here, I want to have 3 of one color, matching. 2 of another color. Yeah. And so you're putting out these scoring conditions. You're trying to make your grid work for the 2 scoring conditions. And it just is destroys your
And there's
brain.
also 2 diagonals.
Yes. So it's a game that's really fun, crazy simple, but like Calico in that way, it just destroys your brain because you're thinking so hard trying to make it work. And as you're filling this in, your options are getting less and less and less. I like this a lot more than Calico because Calico feels too brutal and too restrictive.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, at least, you're getting to choose where you're putting these scoring conditions, which to me opens it up a little bit more.
Yep.
And I really like Fife. I think if I want like a very tough, thinky, kind of abstract-y game that has low rules, I'm going to pick Fife over Calico all day.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This completely replaces it.
Yeah.
Sabi, should I try Teotihuacan?
Yeah.
Yes. It's great.
18
Lilliput. Nick, give me your thoughts. Hit it. First negative review. Inbound.
I don't like 18xx games. I have no interest in playing them. This is a kind of card version of an 18xx game. It's Gulliver's Travel themed for some reason.
I love the cover. I honestly think it's dope.
It just looks like
it's adorable. He's like a big man being like, hey, little people.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you kids?
Yeah, it's an 18xx.
But it's card based?
Yeah, it's a card game. You're laying out track and you're trying to like run down these tracks, and it's just like there's just a ton of math. And it's like one of those things where I didn't like it. I tried it because, again, I still want to try a full 18. Actually, no, I don't want to try an 18xx game. I will hate it. I just don't need to do it.
So Nick's tried an 18xx card game. We just backed an 18xx roll and write. Yep. Maybe that'll be the one.
Maybe that'll be the one.
But this did not convert you.
It's a card version of it. I didn't enjoy it. I don't think I'm ever going to enjoy those kinds of games. You're getting stocks. You're running your things. You're having to do tons of math. 18xx, the XX stands for the year, so it's like 1830, 1867,
so there are a bunch of train games that take place in the
1800s.
19th century, so 1830 is a version. And so
yeah, I didn't like it at all. I never want to play it again.
Math?
I never want to do that.
Foster and Meeple, you ain't wrong. Evan, is Teo worth mostly for solo? No, I do not think so.
Yeah, you don't think so.
I do not like the solo of that. It's too much to manage.
We played the Granja. This is the deluxe version. We also played the Granja, the older version, for the first time this year. The Granja is a potential top 10 game of all time. Once we get it and we're able to play it more, this is great.
Look how beautiful the farm looks. I want to live there. Can I get $10 million?
This is a game where you're building out your farm, trying to fulfill contracts, trying to send stuff kind of into town. You're building out your farm, but they have quad-use cards because they're not cowards who only do double-use cards, quad-use cards. The bottom part of your card is going to be an ability. The right side of your card is going to be some kind of farm extension. The top part of your card is going to be a contract,
barrow.
And the left side of your card is going to be some kind of farm, like a vineyard or something like that.
Yeah.
And every card, you have to choose, what do you want it to be? What do you want it to be? And it is so much fun. The decisions are so juicy.
Delicious.
This one is super pretty. The old one is also great. This one, mechanically, is basically the same. Got an upgrade. Also has a ton of new modules that we haven't had a chance to play yet because we're still waiting on it.
Yep.
But this one is,
so
the Granja, when we first played it, we were like, whoa, that's really good. I think it has potential to be a top 10 game for me. It's so freaking good.
Is fire.
La Granja is dumb, fuego,
So
fuego,
good.
dumb, good.
As is the initiative, was super duper fun. This is one.
Play more of it.
I know. I think it's the one we can actually like play through, and we should play through like with the fam.
We should do it like where it's like you come over like one day, or if you want to play with
we
the
can
fam,
do it one long day.
Yeah,
You're right.
Or you come over like once a week and we play a
let's
couple
do that.
episodes.
Let's
You
do
do
that.
one and we'll do it after over a span of a month. We'll finish it.
I love that. That's a great plan. This is a campaign game where we love the theme so much because it has a comic book that you're going through a story. So you can only play through it once because you'll learn the answers as you play. You're going through the story, and it's these kids like set in the 90s, and these kids go to a garage sale and pick up a board game from a garage sale.
Yep.
That they realize like someone has like customized a bunch of ways, and you're playing like The Key, I think the game is called. And so there's this like mystery that starts unfolding around this game. So you are playing a game as kids playing a game and like figuring out what's going on because there's all these codes and stuff you're trying to solve. It's super duper fun. It's really approachable gameplay. You're mostly going around picking up these tokens and stuff, and then you can get based on these weird symbols, and you kind of like are doing these ciphers and figuring out the answers to puzzles and stuff. But as you go through the story, there's like little details that you might have missed.
It gets weirder and stuff.
Fun.
And it's an interesting. It's very cool. Very cool game that works really well.
Yeah, just super. I just love the comic, the story that's going on because they're like these kids. It's really really entertaining.
We're gonna play It's a Wonderful Kingdom. This is a 2-player only version of It's a Wonderful World. I did really like this version. This has, instead of just drafting, this has an I Split You Choose portion of it, which I really love, the I Split You Choose mechanic. Yeah. We both still like It's a Wonderful World better because the drafting is just easier. And this game is also calamity cards, which are negative points.
I don't care for the calamities.
And you're constantly throwing those in, being like, hey, you can take this, but you're gonna have to take negative points. And to me, I just don't really feel like that's needed. There's already so much of like, I Split You Choose is already a tough mechanic because you're like, I don't want to, I need Mike to take this, so I need to give him what he wants, but I don't want to give him too much of what he wants, and I just don't need the negatives. But there's a couple different like modules you can kind of play with, which are cool.
So ones that give quests.
We should just try playing it without the calamity. Do you think it'd break it?
I don't know. I think it's worth trying. I wonder if it does. But I have so much trouble scoring points in this or It's a Wonderful World already. Then like, I don't need 4 negative points.
And
I'm
also,
only going to score 4 positive points total anyway.
I still really liked it, but the thing is also, It's a Wonderful World is also just great at 2. Like, so it's like, I still really like this one. We still have it. I want to try it without the calamity because I do like the I Split You Choose. But it was good, but we like It's a Wonderful World better.
Jury's still out on this one.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but still good. I got to play Elden Ring, the board game. I got to go out to Jolly Old to play this game, and it was very fun. I really liked the Elden Ring game. The scenario that we played, and I think most of them are like this, the first half of the scenario, you were out exploring, you're doing all these different actions, you're kind of getting these like small little fights and skirmishes, and you're essentially trying to fulfill objectives. Once you fulfill the objectives, you can then find the boss, and then you find the big boss, and the whole second half of that scenario is you in the boss fight. It's got to
say you in the boss, and just like
in the EU, and you're having to like punch your way out. But no, it's the whole boss. The fighting in this game is cool because it's not like dice-based games.
It's all card-based.
It's all card-based, and everything
better.
is telegraphed. So like you're basically gonna lay out what the boss or the enemies are going to do, and then you basically have to be able to deal with that. So to me, the fighting is more of a puzzle than it is a fight, because you're like, okay, they're going to move here and do this. How do I keep hitting them without getting hurt? And the bosses, of course, hit very, very hard. And to me, that puzzle was really, really fun. Some people are not going to like that. They want to have the kind of like more rolling dice kind of dice chucking thing. I don't want to have that kind of game. I actually really, really liked it. Yeah. It was very expensive. It was very big, but like I thought the game itself was really, really good. And this is from someone who's never played Elden Ring, never played Bloodborne, never played Dark Souls, don't care about any of those games.
It's for nerds.
But I liked the game. I really thought it was very, very fun. It's big and expensive, but I thought the game itself was actually really good.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that. Like, oh yeah, it's actually really solid.
I think you would like it a lot. Yeah, it was really fun.
I'm stoked to try it.
We're gonna play Campfire Chronicles Nightfall. This is another campaign game.
Indeed.
This is a good intro to campaign games.
It is. What this does is if you get the box and you open it up, it's going to hold your hand through the setup and through the first couple scenarios, which is what we showed to y'all in our live stream and playthrough video. It holds your hand. It goes like, this is what these things are. Grab these pieces out. These are what these pieces are and stuff. And now here's a box to open this box. That's going to give you your first character. Here's how a character works. I love that fact. Because if you just get gifted Gloomhaven and you have no idea what this type of game is, you will never make it to the beginning of the game. You won't. It's just too much. And so this one really teaches you how to play a campaign game. And that's something that I really appreciate. There's fun stories and stuff, really interesting characters. We fought this wyvern, this dragon.
It's cool.
And got our
super simple
kicked.
gameplay. Yeah, but it's really cool. And then we got to the point where the story then opens up. And you can do side quests, you do stuff. There's gonna be a ton of content.
You get to this village, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we can make choices now because it's now held your hand through a couple things. Now it gives you a little bit of freedom. It's super duper cool.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was cool. Again, we don't really play campaign games, but I thought this was a great one to get people into campaign games. I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a good way to approach a campaign type of game.
Yeah.
Mountains Out of Molehills.
Mountains Out of Molehills. This game was surprisingly very good. This is a kind of a mass market game by the Op. This is a 2-tiered game where it's a big 3D board.
Yep.
Because you are moles and you're underground doing mole stuff. Just crawling around underground. But as you're crawling around, you are programming your movement on the bottom board, and you're moving around. But as you're moving around, you're pushing dirt up, and you're pushing dirt up to the top board. And the top board is a whole bunch of
these little hills.
These kind of like big old dirt hills, and that whole part up there is area control. So you're programming your movement on the bottom, but doing area control on the top. And it's a really interesting mix that's ultimately very simple, but it's really, really fun. And so you're trying to have like more of your dirt on the top of the stack than anyone else. Also, if it gets too big, it'll fall over, which can actually be a benefit because then you're adding dirt to other stacks. And I actually thought it was really, really fun.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think the game scales for player counts in terms of how much space you have to operate underground. But I think I would like it at a third player.
Yes, I think so,
Just so there's more toppling of the mountains. Yes. That was one thing that my only note I could say was that, like, depending on which round you're in, the mountains can only be so high, the molehills. And then they topple over. And at 2-player, it was actually legitimately kind of difficult to make them tall enough so that they would topple. And I'm like, that seems super fun because all of a sudden you mess up people's stuff, and all of a sudden I'm on top of the mountain, so I'd want a third player.
Like a lot of area control games, usually 2-player isn't as good unless they really scale it.
But, and I appreciate they scaled it down so that you have less room to operate, so it gives you a similar feeling. But yeah, honestly, this game works really well if you like program movement. If you don't mind like a Robo Rally where like your movement's going to get messed up. If you don't mind that, we're both pretty bad at those types of games. But I enjoyed making the attempts and stuff. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Cool game. Cool game.
I thought it was a good game that kind of got overlooked. I got to play Dimension with my good friend Nate.
I want to play this.
Dimension was very fun.
This game is at the next Strategic Con, man.
Yeah, we should. I
really want to play this.
It's really fun. It's a little abstract game. Absolutely, the theme is the balls.
It's not even that little. Those balls are big.
That's the thing. This game is kind of expensive because it has these really nice like wooden balls, and basically you have these different like objectives each round, or basically different
schematics.
What's the word? Different.
Blueprint?
No, when it's restrictive though. Different rules you have to follow. That's not what I'm trying to say. But
restrictions.
Basically, what you have to do. And so basically, it'll be like you have to put all the balls into a stack. You have to try and use all of them, but it'll be like orange cannot touch black. Yellow cannot be above anything. It has to be on the bottom. There's all these different rules, and so you're having to build this puzzle out while
trying
following
to assemble
all the
your
rules.
thing that makes does not break any rules.
Yeah, you're trying to do it faster, and it's really fun. It's a really fun little puzzle. Very, very simple, obviously, in terms of what you're doing. But you're like, oh crap, no, I can't put that there because green can't touch white. Crap, I have to put it over here. No, but that messes up because now yellow's over here, and it's a really fun little spatial
3D puzzle, yeah.
That I thought was really, really, really fun. The problem is it's one. I don't think they're making it anymore, but it's kind of expensive because they're really nice.
Constraints.
Like, really constraints. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you so much, Sergeant.
Thank you.
You have all these constraints, and it's a really fun little puzzle. You just play a bunch of different rounds, and then and every time you just have a different amount of constraints that you have to follow, and then you just go, and it's really, really fun. But if we found this somewhere for cheaper, I'd buy it immediately.
I really want to get. I think it's just a really interesting.
But it's like a really big box. It's a really fun game.
That might be great for like Logan later in life. Obviously, like as a puzzle spatial thing. If she's like 4 or 5, it's a ways off. Of course, but.
Super fun.
Museum Suspects.
This is a great game by Praise B.
Praise be Harding. Praise be. There's some more Praise be games right there. Look at that. Cacao and Llama Land. Look at that right there. Praise be.
So much praise be behind us there.
Museum Suspects is a Guess Who kind of game.
Yeah, kind of.
Where you we are suspecting people of stealing from a museum.
We're like security guards, like
and there's like a little grid of characters. I think a 4x4 grid. Who did that?
Don't you touch that painting?
They're like 3 inches away from me. Like,
don't you touch that painting?
I can see you. And you are going around investigating. There's all these clues around the display of characters that are in the museum today.
Yeah.
And you are going to, as you go and check out these cards, you are going to get information that will basically rule out certain people. Make sure that these people are innocent. Anyone wearing this purple hat like this, and many characters will be wearing a purple hat like that, are not the person who's stolen anything. And then you're going to make a bid. You're going to put like a little kind of token down, and it'll have a basic different values based on how confident you are that this person is who stole. And at the end of the game, you're going to see who stole stuff or didn't steal stuff, because this game can have multiple outcomes. It could be that based on the types of cards that are around, that multiple people were stealing. There could be one person who stole, or there could literally be nobody who stole, and there's an option to choose where you can bid saying, I don't think anyone stole anything, based on the information that you get. So it's very light, but it's just a little more fun of the kind of bidding than like a straight up Guess Who type game.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think very underrated game that like no one talks about. I think it's great.
Great for families.
We played Port Royal, the big box. Cool. Push your luck game, Pirates game, where you're trying to get points and stuff like that. It's really fun. We played it a little bit. We haven't played really too many like the modules or anything like that.
There's modules where you can play stuff solo, co-op. There's a kind of quicker version of Port Royal, which is not a long game anyway, but some push your luck. The first couple times I played some stuff wrong here, and it really hurt my enjoyment of the game. I was like, this game is just sort of short and easy, and it's lucky, and I mean, it is lucky. It's a push your luck game,
sure,
but then with some of those changes, like, oh, this is really fun. You're trying to like basically spend your coins to get stuff, and your cards are coins on the backside.
That's cool.
Fun
That's
game.
good. We played Rise. This game is about bumping tracks. There's 10 different tracks.
Tracks.
You got to bump all those tracks.
Baby.
This track lets you bump this track, this back track, and then you bump this track, and then that track, bump this track, that track, then bump this track. It's great. You have 10 different tracks.
It's basically the entire game. Is you bump a bunch of tracks. I don't know how you really score points, but you get to bump a lot of tracks.
You do bump a lot of tracks. All the tracks are different, but they mostly, if you move up this track, and now you can choose, you can move up either this track or this track. You move that track, you get to do what's on that track. That's literally, there's a kind of like an industrial theme going on. Yeah. Sure. But really, it could be just nothing but bumping tracks and cymbals, and it's really fun. If you like it, I don't know how much staying power it has. I think after like 10-ish plays, we'll probably be like, cool, we're done. But honestly, at this point, like if I get 10 plays out of a game, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I think that's great.
I don't think this game will last forever for us, but it is really fun to bump those tracks and make these cool combos. That's something that's really exciting. And there's like these action cards and events that happen and stuff. And I like that as you build up your industry, your conservation track takes a hit, and you have to get that back right. You have to make sure that you're not like wrecking the environment for the sake of industry. Or if you build up your banks, guess what? People get mad because you're taking money out of their pocket. They start rioting. So you got to make people happy. It's a lot of fun stuff to balance.
Cool. It's really good. I liked it a lot. Just bumping tracks. We love bumping tracks.
It's a solid bump puzzle.
We got to play the new Star Realms Rise of Empire. It's mostly still just Star Realms, except for now you can like upgrade your cards. This is the legacy version of it, and so you can put stickers on cards and make them better. Yeah, it's really cool. It's Star Realms, Hero Realms, really fun deck building game where you get right into the thick of it, being really cool right away. Yeah. But then you get to change up these cards, and it really did make a difference. And you can actually just like buy essentially sticker sheets and make kind of your own, because you can reset
you can basically play with the stickers and stuff, or you can get this kind of thing where what we played with, where if you're going to buy an upgraded card, they have a pre-printed card that has that upgrade on it. So if you do that, you don't have to actually sticker anything, and you can just reset your game over and over and over, which is really cool. Which is what I would probably vote to do.
It was very good. If you like Star Realms, it's a very cool version of that because it's just a legacy version where you kind of just get cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler. It's great.
Fun game for sure.
Sorry. Yeah, really fun. Liked it a lot.
Yeah.
We played Tidal Blades, Rise of the Unfolders. This is the second Tidal Blade. This is the dungeon crawl version of Tidal Blade. Tidal Blade 2, Tidal Blade Banner Festival are all set in Tidal Blades, but they're all very different games. Yes, Tidal Blades indeed. This is a dungeon crawl game that kind of takes place right after Tidal Blades.
Problem?
Exactly. That's right. And so it's got this interesting kind of...
Norman Reedus in that film? Chris Christopherson?
Sure.
Pretty sweet.
Sure. So, but this is a game where you're putting out cards into a row, and you're activating like rows and columns are your cards. Kind of this interesting deck building. We've really only ever seen it similarly in like Monumental.
Yeah, but in this one, what you're doing is you're adding cards to your rows and columns. And it's the way I look at it, it's like you're building up a combo.
Yes, exactly.
You're building up like a combo attack, and if you ever fill up your row, you get to do like all sorts of stuff.
But then that row goes away.
Then that row goes away. So you kind of like are building up your combos and then doing a major thing and then like resetting. So it's a really fun way to kind of go about doing
it's cool, and because you're doing different scenarios. Again, it's a campaign game and a dungeon crawling, and so it's like you're trying to do stuff and trying to do these big things and going around and trying to like crisis management. It's really fun. I like it a lot. Again, it's nothing like the other Tidal Blades, but the world is like one of the best, probably the best board game world ever.
Look at it,
Tidal Blades. It's awesome. So cool. I really like the puzzle in it. It was really good, and it was awesome.
Yep,
it was awesome.
Tidal Blades Banner Festival, another game we played set in the Tidal Bladeverse, Naviri. And this one is a game where you are playing cards and stuff, and now you're in the perspective of like these merchants that are basically like the events of Tidal Blades, that kind of like more the events that are happening in the first Tidal Blades, where you're watching people do challenges. We're all now selling stuff in the seats as people are watching.
Hot meat in the stands.
Yeah, we're selling like literally like meat and smoothies and stuff to these people who are watching the events, and it's really fun because it feels like a trick-taking game while being different, where you're all going to play a card simultaneously. And based on where this trade gate is, a certain suit is going to be the most valuable suit. And then kind of working counterclockwise or clockwise, it'll be, orange is most valuable, then purple, then yellow, then blue are kind of less and less powerful as you go. And depending on how you play, you'll get a different effect. If you win the race, you get to move your jet ski to wherever the trade gate is. If you're one of the middle cards, the second or third most powerful card, you get to put a little disc down and do some area control stuff. And if you have the least powerful card, each card comes with an ability. You get to do the card's ability. The only way to do it is to have the least, to lose the trick, essentially. Yeah. That's really interesting where, depending on where you are in the game, what's going on, where the trade gate is, where you're trading, I might want to sort of win this round, or I really want to win this hand, or I really don't want to win this hand. And of course, we might all be gunning for these things. There's a lot of that cheeky, like, I'm going to play this, so it feels kind of trick-taking-y, but there's no, like, have to follow suit. There's just like the suits and the value of cards is ever changing, and based on that, you might change your strategy.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Really cool.
I think it's absolutely outstanding. I really do. I think it's so much fun, and I want more people to play it. We played Teletum, another board and dice game. This is
What's up, Board Game Geek?
This is a great game. It's really, really fun. It's got a great action dice selection system where you roll out dice. They go out onto this little wheel in order of 1 through 6. And then basically wherever you grab a die from, it will be attached to an action. Whatever the die is, you'll get that many resources because the dice are a different color, but then whatever the opposite side of the die is, that's how many actions of that type you get to take. So there's a 4 down there, 4 like food, one of the pink dice. You'll get 4 food, and then you get 3
action points.
So it's a situation where you're like, ooh, do I want 6 stone, but then I only get to do 1 action, which is like nothing. Or do I only want 1 gold, but I get to do 6 of this thing. So interesting in terms of the choices in that. Yeah. And on top of that, you get these tiles that you can turn in, which essentially will give me like 2 action points for this kind of action. So you turn in these crazy combos. Yeah. And every time you play this game, you'll have 1 turn that's just like bonkers.
You basically do like 3 turns worth of stuff in one.
Absolutely
and it's
bonkers.
Awesome.
And it's
so
but the
good.
resource management's really tight. It's very, very fun. I wish it looked better. The cover looks great. The board, I think, looks incredibly bad.
All looked like this cover, it'd be so
great.
Cool. I'm definitely more forgiving of it while being completely
I think it's
aware
one of the worst looking games
that
on the
it's
planet.
not pretty. It's not pretty, but it's so good.
It's very fun though.
Good.
Yeah, the mechanics are crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy
Savvy says, great Western Trail, which version to buy? That's really up to you. We prefer Argentina, but it's a little heavier, so maybe I'll go original.
Hey, Chaz Murphy, that's our father.
Hey,
my boys,
Pops.
Nick, what's your number now?
Pop it out online. Tell the people.
I'm not going to tell you my number here online.
He'll text
Thank you.
It's the
though.
same number as before.
I will. Yes, my number hasn't changed. Hi, that's our dad, Chaz Murphy.
That's our father.
Hi, Pops. We played Twilight Inscription. This is one of my biggest surprises of the year. I was flabbergasted how much I liked this game. I picked up this game at Geeky Tees, a great game shop.
Shouts out to Burbank.
And then I soloed it, I learned it, and then I taught it to you. We learned it we played it super late at night in our hotel
the World
room.
Series of Board Gaming.
Yeah.
Like, we started it I don't know, right before midnight.
Really fun. It plays nothing like Twilight Imperium, but it's this big, giant, 2-hour roll and write where you have these 4 different areas that you're working in.
It's super fun, man.
It's really fun. It's just you're rolling these dice, which allow you to mark off stuff, and you're marking off stuff, and then trying to build these things. You can really focus on 1 or 2 areas, or try to do a little bit of everything. Yeah. All the ways you can play the game are pretty valid. You'll also have some kind of faction, which will give you some kind of ability. It's really, really fun. We've kind of been looking for these big, heavy roll and writes, and the couple that have come out are okay. But this one is really, really fun, and I like it quite a bit. I'm glad that you liked it too. You played it a couple times.
I was like, yo, this is tight.
Yeah. I played Bora Bora. Bora Bora I played with Naveen. Before you play it, we're best friends. And so Bora Bora is a Stefan Feld game that I thought was fine. This is a game.
Yeah, you weren't enamored.
It was okay. It's kind of got a.
Did it feel old?
Yes, it felt old. In my opinion, yes, it felt old. It's got kind of a Grand Austria Hotel dice selection system.
Pops asking, what's your number? Nick's at 0.5.
I am you can see my scar very good.
Nick's at a half.
I'm at a 0.5, not even a 1. Taking it all the way down.
I was confused. Like, how do you not know?
It's like, did you lose my number, Dad? Okay. Yes, I am a 0.5.
And you took it down for this video. I could see. This is fresh.
This is for the chat. But nonetheless, it's kind of got this kind of brutal Grand Austria Hotel dice drafting kind of thing where when you're putting dice out, you have to put a dice, I think that's either larger.
You have to outbid,
You have to outbid, and so if you put down a 6, basically, no one can really outbid you, and you can just get really, really stuck in the game. I thought it was pretty good, but I thought it was fine.
Sure.
I don't need to play it again. It kind of felt old, honestly. I do think it kind of felt old. It was okay. I thought it was okay.
Having not played this feels like a game that were to come out today would flop. Just be like, nah, we've kind of moved on from this, you know.
I don't know if it'd flop. I don't think it would get any kind of
I've declared that
recognition.
it will flop.
Mike has declared that it will
Therefore,
flop.
it's flopped. The game's a flop, folks. Village Rails. This is a fantastic, very contained size-wise. We played this at PAX Unplugged most recently with Linnea and chat. Compact size-wise game where you are building out these little tracks of trains and stuff, and when they reach the edge of your grid, because it'll only be a 3x4 grid of cards, you'll have 12 turns in the game, that track is now complete, and what you can do is put trip cards on those tracks, which will basically give you scoring conditions. Like if you have, for every forest landscape that you have on this track, you'll get a point or 2 points or whatever. So you're trying to like lay it all out in such a way that works for your trip cards, and then you have these terminus cards, which are basically the people's needs, and based on how well you meet those needs, you'll get some money, which is very important. To get those trip cards, you got to pay for them. If you want cards that are not the first one in the order of drafting things, you have to pay money and stuff, kind of like Small World. So it's a really fun, tight resource, little puzzly game that fits in a box like yay big. And I love how small it is. In a world where games are sprawling more and more and more, which is fun and exciting, it's fun to have something that just lives right here in front of you.
It knows what it is.
And you don't have to be like, I just need to get, can I get 3 coins from over there?
It's true.
You know,
true.
It's
It's
so
so
nice to not have to do that.
Village Rails is outstanding. Outstanding game that I think we will probably bring pretty much anywhere. Anytime we're traveling, whatever.
Just need a die. Just need one die.
Voyages. You played Voyages. I have not played Voyages.
This is a print and play,
right?
rolling
Yeah,
right
that's
that
right.
I backed. And thank you, Father.
It was Mike's birthday, by the way, yesterday.
Thank you, Daddy. This is a game where you are rolling dice and you're kind of building out like a trail as you're going around waters and stuff, and you're encountering different things that are on the map that will give you stuff to do. It was honestly really fun. It's one that I think with the Kickstarter we backed, we got like 3 maps, and they all feel a little different. There's ones that are a little bit more kind of straightforward, a little bit more fun, a little more combat heavy and stuff, but you're kind of just going around and trying to maximize what you do. Really fun rolling right. Honestly, it was like, I don't know, $10 for the print and play. It was great. So I enjoyed it.
Great value.
Yeah.
Absolutely great value. Yeah, I really want to try it.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe BG.
Played Wild Style. Wild Style is a game of Panasaurus games. This is a game where you are tagging, you are graffitiing around town. You're a delinquent, and you're tagging around town, and you're trying to tag different places.
Tagging around town.
Tagging around town. And you're tagging different places, and different places will be worth more points. Tagging a park or the train tracks is very easy. Tagging a police station is very hard.
A little harder.
But you can do it. And it's a real-time game where you have these 4 different discard piles, and you are putting things in the discard pile or picking them up, and you're trying to make sets of 3. If you make a set of 3 like park cards, boom, you get to put them down, and then you can take one of your tags and you put it on a park. And then
this is my tagging character.
Oh, okay. You do look like a scoundrel. Get cigarettes in your right here. You know?
Hey, we're gonna rumble later.
You do look like you're in Greece, like real talk. But nonetheless, every game you'll have different objectives out, and the objectives will really change up the game because now you might want to connect these 3 things. Like, hey, connect the 3 train stations with your tags, or have big groups of tags, or have a lot of small groups of tags.
You'll definitely have to refocus based on what those are going on and stuff, but it's ultimately like a really quick real-time, you're kind of playing cards, trying to get sets of cards going, and I think each round you're trying to get like 5 or 6 tags out, and that's what, you know, so
really
ideally if you
fun.
get all of yours out first, you also like deny other people the chance to play. Now they could try to play them in a future round, but now it's just more to do and stuff.
I thought it was good. It was a real-time game that was not too stressful for a real-time game, but I thought was really fun.
Yeah, great for like great appeal for like families. You can explain if they played Uno. You can be like, yeah, it's kind of like got this Uno-ness to it. Yeah, really good. Dimitri, have a great day.
We played Witchstone.
Good pull. How did this happen? Witchstone is a Reiner Knizia game about witchcraft, and you're brewing a
There are a lot of people in that movie.
Oh, dude, that movie is stacked.
Sorry, the Flintstones movie? Anybody with...
Halle Berry, Rosie O'Donnell, oh God, there's so Elizabeth Perkins.
There's a lot of people in that movie.
Rick Moranis, John Cleese, no, John Goodman. So good. That movie's dope. Witchstone is basically the same game where you are putting these little hexamino, these
Yep.
little dual hex tiles down into your cauldron. And based on what actions are there, you're going to get to do those. I think you choose one of the 2 actions to do.
Yep.
And what's really cool is if I do this one that's like the wand action, and I place it down in my cauldron in such a way that's touching this like unbroken group of wands, however many wands you see in that now group that you've added to,
so many times
you get to do that action that many times. And so you get these like bigger and bigger versions of actions. You're moving witches out onto the board. You're working down this wand thing, which gives you a bunch of bonuses. This is a game where, again, you get these like crazy ramped up turns. And all of a sudden you're doing a ton of stuff on an action versus just like one thing at the beginning of the game. So it's this kind of spatial element. You don't want to like make it so that you block off a group and now we can't add to it anymore. That'd be bad.
Which I do all the time.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. Great for kind of Halloween.
It's
and
really
like,
fun.
Kind of fun and thematic in terms of like, just in terms of the art. Like it's pasted on, but like, it's much more kind of like boisterous than a typical Reiner Knizia game in a great way. So like, wow, this is a fun world to play
Crazy
in.
combos. It's great. Super crazy combos. Wonderland's War. This is a great Druid City game. Many people's favorite game of the year. People love Wonderland's War, and we like it quite a bit as well. This is a kind of a battle Quacks of Quedlinburg kind of thing, but you're battling over different parts of
Battle Quacks first.
Wonderland. And you're bag building, you're putting these chips in there, and you're pulling them out while you're battling. They'll have different strengths and different abilities. It's really, really fun. The deluxe version is like awesome because it's got these incredible miniatures. It's just a very fun game that I always say, like, it kind of feels like it would be coasting on its production value, but it really isn't. It's really,
it's a solid
really
game
good.
as well.
I think it's absolutely outstanding.
What stone? Why stone? Which stone? That's good. That's good. That's good.
We played
Yak. This is a super light game that is produced
To the Stars.
To the stars. This one I think does coast a little bit more on its toy factor than like a Wonderland's War. However, it's very appealing.
How cute this yak is.
This yak is amazing. This game is really fun. It's ultimately you're building out the stone pyramid. That's the main thing that you're doing, and you want to have groups of the same color stones. You also want to have like a bunch of different groups of different color stones. So you're getting pulled in different directions, these kind of objectives and stuff. But there's these carts ultimately moving around the board that are carrying these stones and also carrying resources. And when a cart comes in front of you, that's your cart to deal with. Whatever cart's in front of Nick, that's his cart to deal with. And you can basically do like 1 of 3 actions. You can swap some stones, I believe. You can grab some resources, or you can turn in resources to buy stones and then add to your pyramid, your pyramid. It's just really kind of fun and light. And there's like a couple things to think about because like, man, I want to turn in meat to buy these carts, but this cart in particular does not take meat, it only takes bread and milk. So you're like, okay, well, I got to like wait to get the right resources in front of me at the right time based on like how these yaks are moving. They can turn around and go the other way.
It's really fun.
It's a really fun light game that I think is great for families and the toy kind of factor because they're the actual yaks with carts behind them that you put the little stones in. I mean, like, I could just give that to Logan, not now, but like to play with.
Yeah.
Just as a pure toy.
Yeah.
The first player is like a little baby yak. And so it's really, this would be another great game, kind of like a chai.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you're getting into board games, I might bust this out because you can be like, whoa, this is so cool looking. And there's some fun decisions to make that's ultimately very light.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah. Good game to make board gamers.
Indeed. Good game to make board gamers. Wait, Age of Civilization. So, like, that I think is the end of all the games we played more than once.
I think so.
So these are now starting. Someone asked earlier. These are starting the games we played once this year.
For the most part, yes.
But Age of Civilization, which was a little kind of like civ building
game in a little card game.
Yeah.
So it's very contained and stuff, but it has a lot of the civilization flavorings to it.
Alien.
I wouldn't do that.
It's not Alien.
It's not Alien.
I'm not gonna touch it. Don't worry.
Age of Civilization was okay.
I thought it was okay.
I like that you're changing kind of nations really often, and depending on which nation you are, you're going to get a boost. It's kind of like got some small worldness to it, where you will basically, whatever resources you get from being like Rome or whatever it is, you will kind of like run out of stuff to do with them, and you'll need to like freshen up with a new nation. So like that's something I enjoyed about that, was it has like a little bit of that small world vibe. And it has like all the theming of Civ games, which I do enjoy. It was fun.
It was fine.
It was fun.
I thought it was okay.
I liked how contained it was. For
I feel like I liked it less
I'd pick it
than
up on a
everyone
sale
else.
probably.
But Alien Faith and Nostromo, this is a cooperative game about Alien. And it's a game where you are fulfilling some kind of mission. There are different missions in the game. You are different characters. Different characters will have different abilities. And there's a big old xenomorph wandering around trying to get you and popping out of vents and stuff like that. It was a fine little game. This is a game that I thought was a good cooperative game. I think this game would be elevated significantly if you love Alien.
Yeah.
I think Alien is fine. I didn't grow up on it or something like that. I think it's good,
not
but it's
part
just
of
like
our-
it's
part
not
of our-
part of our normal zeitgeist or anything like that. So I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. But I think if you love Alien, this is like a smash hit. So if you know someone who loves Alien, knock it out of the park because it was a good game. Kind of like a lot of Ravensburger's games where they're very family weight.
They're all well designed.
and they're all good. And this kind of falls into that.
Yeah, not our favorite just simply because of the theme, but it's a solid game, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Played Alma Mater. Jury's very much still out on this game because
Yeah.
I feel like probably we're going to like it more, but my
think we need more plays.
prevailing memory from playing this game a few months ago was that like it was so incredibly tight.
Yes.
I was like, I can't get anything done, man.
this
I
is
don't
a-
have the books. I don't have the money.
I don't have
I
the
had
books.
nothing.
This is a
And
game where
I don't know how you get resources.
you're running a college, a
Yeah.
university, and you're trying to get different teachers to put on lectures. You're trying to get the
borrowing
best
books
students.
from neighboring universities.
And
like
every
my opponent
university
here.
produces their own books, your color of books.
Yeah.
And certain like contracts, certain things you're doing are going to take different colors of books, and so you're going to need to buy books from the other player. It's very interesting. Yeah, we both were kind of like, that wasn't quite as much fun as I thought it was going to be. Didn't dislike it, but I think we need to play it more because I think
Yeah.
once we get the engine going and we get to work the game better, I think we will like it more.
Some games that are tight resource-wise like that, you just have to get over the hump and
Yeah,
figure
the
out like
first
how
game
do I
can be rough.
actually have stuff to
Yeah.
use, and then you're okay. I think this will fall in that category, but I remember being like, oh, I didn't like that much. I was thinking I would like it a lot more.
It's cool. It's
So
got a good look. I like the
hopefully-
theme.
Hopefully we get there.
God, Bag of Chips is good.
It just doesn't have a right to be as fun as it is.
doesn't have a
It's
right.
it's just silly because it's definitely a gimmick that
It's
works
in a
because
bag.
this is in a bag that looks like a bag of chips. The little tokens you pull out are going to be like shaped like a little chip, and they're just different colors and stuff that represent different flavors of chips.
Teriyaki chips
And
or
yeah,
sour
and
cream and
it's,
onion.
and it's sort of like a like you get these objective cards. You're like, I'm going to have more potato chips than salt and vinegar chips. Okay, there's many more basic chips in this bag. There's a breakdown. There's like only 3 of the chicken and like 7 of the potato chips. So like the likelihood that this objective will be scored is much higher. But as you pull out chips, you might see that, you know what? A bunch of salt and vinegar has come out and no potato chips. So like
Yeah.
maybe it's not as likely that this will score, and you're going to be getting rid of objectives
Yes.
from your hand. You'll start off with 6. You're ultimately only going to have 3. So based on how the game is progressing, you are going to then change maybe what you decide to keep and what to
Yeah.
go for.
It's really fun and it's tough and it's funny because like the one where it's like they'll have more potato chips than chicken chips. That will be worth like 5 points.
Yeah,
'cause
'cause
that is
it's very
almost guaranteed.
likely to happen.
But the opposite, the scoring card that you'll have more chicken chips than potato chips is literally worth like 250 points.
Because this is going to be so hard.
So you have this wild range of these cards,
Yeah.
and you're constantly throwing away, being like, "Oh, do we think it's gonna happen?"
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It comes in a little bag. You keep a little bag, put it in your pocket. It's such a great travel game. I think it's one of the best push your luck games out there. I think this game is so good, and
It's
I'm
just fun to
obsessed
pull
with
the
this
little
game.
chips out of the bag.
It's great.
Just like it's
and then
just got
everything goes
appeal.
back in the bag at
Yeah.
the end of it. It's outstanding.
It's just adorable. It's just straight up adorable.
Suck it, Ube. You can't
Get
design this. No,
wrecked.
you're great. You're the best.
could
Thank you.
Never.
Love bag of
does.
chips. It's great. Paired beer and bread.
Bag of
Two-player
chips goes
game.
well with beer and bread. Tell you what.
In a couple weeks, we'll have a playthrough of this on our channel, so
Yeah.
keep an eye out for that.
Stay tuned.
Really like Beer and Bread. It's a 2-player only game where you are
So good.
2 families and you have a yearly competition who can make the best beer and bread. And so you are using these cards. These cards are tri-use cards.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not cowards, they only do double-use cards.
duh.
The top of the card, you can harvest them for their different goods. It'll be like wheat, barley, rye, bread, and beer stuff. The middle of the card will be some kind of order, so you turn into certain things to make this kind of
Like
bread.
a recipe, yeah.
And the bottom is going to be an upgrade for essentially your game. And so you're playing out these cards. The first rounds, you're going to be drafting them. The second rounds, you're going to be just using the cards in your hand because you're going through fruitful years and dry years where there's more or less resources.
Yep.
Really fun game that I feel like this is a game you can get into it pretty easily because it's a pretty simple game. But as you go, you just start working that
tricky.
engine, and you're like, oh man. And as we play it more and more, I think we're gonna get better and better and better at working that engine, and it's
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, really fun. It's interesting. And it's just great. Anytime there's multi-use cards, you're just left with like really tricky decisions of like, oh, do I forego this to get that? Love this game so
Yeah,
much.
really, really good. I'm super excited to keep
small
on
box.
playing it.
Birds of a Feather,
we play Birds of a
Western North
Feather?
America. I did.
Oh, I never played it. Okay.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there.
We did
apparently.
a stream with a bunch of people online? No? I think you were doing something else.
Maybe I was. I'm confused now. Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it. I don't think you were there.
don't
We
think I
got
was
this
there.
game. It's over there.
Yeah, I know.
This is a game about bird watching.
Where was I?
Where you are trying to observe birds based on you're gonna play a bird with a certain like symbol
Fly around.
and color and stuff. And if someone else has played that kind of bird around, you will then get to be like, I've observed this bird. And then those cards will move into the inner rung, and then we'll play another. And so now you know some information about like, oh, I could observe this bird because I know this card's over here. There's predator birds that might scare off other birds and mess some stuff up.
That's right, yeah.
But you're trying to like basically get as many things observed as you can. And I think for each suit or something, the more birds you see of that, you get points and stuff. And then you're also trying to see all the different types and things.
Now. Yeah,
it's very light, very easy to play. I actually enjoyed it a lot.
That was good. Yeah, I do remember this now. Yeah, the whole
nice light, kind of like party adjacent game.
It was good. Good little light game.
Very easy.
Played Bitoku. Played this at the beginning of the year at Die Star West with Dwayne from Black Board Game and Mick from Our Family Plays Games. Played this like late at night. Played it a long game of it.
Yeah.
Really fun game. Really big. Lots of stuff going on. Humongous game where you're doing essentially dice placement. You're having your dice and you're constantly trying to like unlock your dice so you can constantly use them, and you move them to like one side of the river, and then you can like push them to the other side of the river, but they'll lose value. It's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do in this game. It's a really big, complicated, but not. It is complicated, but it's kind of not at the same time.
There's just a lot of stuff, and so the game looks really overwhelming. But like none of the specific parts are that complicated, but there are a lot of them. So it kind of adds up into like, what do you focus on? I think you can get like really scattered
going down these
this
different
game.
paths and stuff. Yeah, you really can do a whole bunch of different stuff. I really liked it. We don't have.
I'd love to play it again.
At some point, I'd love to pick it up. I think we want to try. We want to play with Paula. Paula wants to play with us, and so I think we're going to try and play with Paula Deming soon. But yeah, I really like Bitoku a lot, and shout out to Dwayne for teaching us.
Bitoku.
Play Burn Cycle. This was my favorite game of the year. I really like Burn Cycle. It's a chip theory game where you are robots staging a robot uprising, but you're doing it through sleuthing and stealthing rather than killing and murdering and harvesting of organs.
Yeah, well, you do that after you've broken in.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a cool game. It's a big chip theory game, so it's complicated. There's a lot of little rules. A lot of these kinds of games I tend to not like as much because they just kind of be hard to play because there's a lot of like edge cases. Like, well, in this situation, what do we do? But for some reason, Burn Cycle really grabbed a hold of me and just never really let go.
Yeah.
I love playing Burn Cycle solo. I actually have it at my place. It's not even here because I play it mostly solo. Yeah. But I really like it. All the robots you play are different. They do different stuff. They're good at different things. You can go into 3 different corporations. Those corporations each have like 8 different scenarios. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you can play with. I really like Burn Cycle a lot. Yeah. I thought it was good. It's my favorite game of the year. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great production because of chip theory, obviously. I think big games like this really are best solo because like
they are.
It's a little fiddly, it's a little this. It's like I don't mind that if I'm by myself. Like whatever, I got all the time.
I'll just cheat when I'm solo. I'm like, whatever. Who cares?
Like, it's this.
I'm just not gonna do that. It's great.
Who cares?
Burn Cycle I really liked a lot.
Yeah.
I played Caper Europe.
God,
that's the first time we played this year, huh?
Yeah.
It's another 2-player game.
It's another 2-player game where you are on either side of the table and stuff, and you have this kind of band between you that's going to have 3 locations at it.
They're like,
and what you're doing, there's playing on the corner, playing some bluegrass in Paris, and based on what city you're in, like Paris, you are going to have 3 locations, and you're going to be trying to put like a crew and have the most kind of strength, I'll say, at each of the locations. If there's more strength on your side, this little caper
like influence token or
whatever
whatever
will be on your side. It's a bit of a tug of war between that, and you can get points that way. You're also stealing these artifacts, which is a simple set collection of like, or I guess anti-set collection. You want to have a set of all the different icons to get points and stuff, and then whatever city you're in will provide a few different items or a few different crew or a few different scoring opportunities that are specific. So like Paris, you got extra points for all of those artifacts that you steal. It's really fun. Great back and forth card drafting game where in odd number rounds you're going to be drafting and getting crew. In even number rounds you're going to be, and those crew will give you money. In the even number rounds you're going to be getting gear, which you can put on to your crew members and stuff that costs you money. Really fun, quick game.
I like it a lot. Yeah, it's
really
great.
Cool. Great production. Keymaster does not mess around. Their production
Keymaster always crushes. Played Carcassonne Hunters and Gatherers. This is actually a pretty old game. It's like from 2002. I didn't realize it was quite that old.
Very old version of Carcassonne.
This is a great, it's kind of one of the, there's many versions of Carcassonne. It's like South Seas and Gold West and all stuff. This is one of those where it's still very Carcassonne-y.
Yeah.
Except for now you have a couple different things. Since you're finishing out forests instead of cities. You're finishing out, we still have roads. But you have like rivers and stuff like that. Oh, so it's rivers instead of roads.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I actually liked this more than normal Carcassonne. One, because it's prettier. Normal Carcassonne's like pretty boring looking, at least the older version of it.
Yeah, I guess there's newer versions now, but yeah.
But like I really like this one. I also I hate playing with farmers in Carcassonne with like every fiber of my being. I think they're way too annoying and complicated. But this one has something where you're instead like hunting animals on the thing, and you can put a hunter down. I just think it's way more intuitive than like the farmers are in Carcassonne. So I actually really like playing with like the hunters in this one. But it's just normal Carcassonne for the most part. The slight changes are pretty cool. Where you're getting like fish out of the river. Really, really fun. It's kind of nice. Nice to have a little twist on Carcassonne that looks a lot better. So, like, honestly, if I was playing Carcassonne, I would probably just play this one rather than normal Carcassonne because it's still mostly the same.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you said, it's fantastic.
Boom, done.
Next thing you're going to see is another Carcassonne. Stand by, it's Carcassonne the Castle.
Boom.
This is a 2-player Reiner Knizia designed version of Carcassonne. Yes, where you are in this, you build out this castle that has all these different kind of like little cuts and wider spots and narrower parts and stuff. And then you are going to play Carcassonne within the castle walls and building. And this one is much more different than like Hunters and Gatherers is to Carcassonne, where now you don't always have to match stuff and you're kind of building out, because it's a 2-player game, you're trying to build out things that are really beneficial to you and kind of block your opponent. It was really interesting and fun the way it works, trying to build out these kind of like matching rooftops and stuff. But I remember playing it, I was like, man, this is definitely thinkier than a typical Carcassonne game. But I enjoyed it a lot.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You played Catan the Dice game.
I did.
You randomly bought this.
I was waiting for a prescription. I had like 20 minutes, and I got into Starbucks, and I was in a Target, right? So I was like, well, I'm going to go get Catan the Dice game and play it.
Yeah.
It's fun. You're rolling out dice and stuff. You're building out little roads and your settlements and stuff like that. And it was, as you can see, you roll out like the resources of Catan. So it gives you some of the flavoring of Catan without all this butt part that I don't like. Part, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. You played this horrible game?
Clever Forever, man. It's the latest in the Clever series. It's the 4th Clever game.
How they made more than one of these.
It's a roll and write, a pure puzzle roll and write, where you have basically those different colored dice as you roll them will pertain to different areas of the game sheet that you're crossing off. You're trying to get basically as you want to fill up as much of each area as you can. They all have different rules for how they work.
Okay, yeah.
This one is fun because it's more flexible than the other ones.
Are there more foxes in this one?
There's about the same amount of foxes, yeah.
Why are there foxes?
Because you're clever like a fox.
Oh, whatever.
I don't know. German folks, they'd be thinking of stuff. But this one I really enjoyed. It was just definitely more flexible. These are games I play completely on the phone. I will probably never get them physically. Don't need that. But I'll play them over and over on the phone. And I like this one. It's a great addition to the series. Feels a little bit different than like 2 and 3 to me.
Does it?
And I like it.
I'm sure it feels different.
Yeah.
Probably real different.
Different-ish.
Probably real different.
While being very much the same.
Played Creature Comforts. Shouts out to Foster the Meeple. Jamie, who loves some Creature Comforts. This is a game where you are trying to get cozy. This is kind of we're in a cozy renaissance right now in board games where there's a lot of cozy games. This one might be the coziest because you're literally making cozy points, which are just points. But this is
be as comfortable as you can.
A dice worker placement game. Where you are drafting, you're rolling out dice, so it's kind of like communal dice and your own like family dice, and you're putting these dice out on different spots, and certain spots will require certain amounts of dice. There are different people coming into town, but most of what you're trying to do is trying to prepare for winter, and you are getting as much cozy stuff. You're trying to pair stuff up, so you can get like some bread. Bread is cozy, everyone loves bread. But if you can also get soup and put bread and soup together, you get even more cozy because bread and soup is great together.
Oh yeah.
So it's really, really cute, but it's a game that looks like it's to be a very cute, very light kind of game, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually got a lot going on. Again, it's not like a heavy game.
Yeah.
But it's definitely got some choices, and there's different people coming into town that will, essentially for that round, there'll be a different spot you can go to. It's a great little game. I don't know like how much I love it, but I do like it a lot.
I want to play it again though. I really want to play it again because I love the world. I love that they made another game that's in the same world in Maple Valley.
Maple Valley.
And so I'm like, this is cool. Let's just keep this going.
Kids Table Board Game crushes it. Yeah, they really do.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's really fun though, and I want to keep playing it, and especially like during the winter. Just it's a very cozy game.
I agree with that. I agree with that very much. I played Dark Ages Holy Roman Empire. This is from Board and Dice. This is a kind of a folks on a map game that has a bunch of Euro game elements in it because it's from Board and Dice. And so this game was interesting. You're putting folks on a map. You can fight, but you can also get like buildings out and get little things and basically uncover a bunch of stuff on your board, which gives you powers, abilities, and points. So I played this game where I didn't fight anybody ever. Never got into a scrap. I just laid low and I basically uncovered my entire board and I just like rolled everyone at the table by playing a pure Euro game. I was like, no, I'm not going to do any of that Amerithrash. I'll not be needing dice today. And
away with you.
Crushed everybody. So I love that I have the ability to do that. It was interesting. I didn't mind it. There's a game where you get these cards and you can basically like almost anti-aquatica where you like raise them up and get techs almost like. And so there's interesting stuff. I wouldn't mind playing this again, but it's never going to be the game I'm going to be drawn to because it is kind of an area control, conflict kind of game.
It's just not our jam, generally.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? I got to play the game I wanted to play within this, and I like that you have the option to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try it at least once.
Yeah, it's not bad.
We played the Dark Quarter.
Dark
So this was on Kickstarter. This is by Lucky Duck, who sponsored our channel. Thank you, Lucky Duck. Sponsored
Lucky
Daddies. This is in their kind of very story-driven game where you are scanning QR codes on cards and you're going to different places. In this one, you're trying to solve. You're in kind of like a really dark New Orleans kind of like very supernatural areas with that. And it's really, really cool. Again, I'm not really into story-driven games. I don't really need a story in my games. Just give me hot mechanics and hot art, and I'm there.
Yeah.
I don't really. That's why I don't love like campaign games. A lot of times they're big story-driven games. These games are like really, really story-driven. This is a great game for like Paula. Paula loves story-driven games.
Paula was watching our stream. She's like, I
need that
play
game.
That.
Yeah. This game, again, it's not my kind of game. I thought it was super cool for what it was because I'm like, this is cool, and some people are gonna love this. It's not for me because it's just a story-driven game. You're definitely doing stuff. You're playing the game.
Yeah,
but
you're going
to me,
around,
I'm
you're
like,
scanning stuff in as you're seeing things. There's a mystery to unfold.
yeah,
and,
it's very cool for that. But it's just these really heavy story-looking games are just not for me personally. But this is one of the games where I'm like, I don't personally. This game, it's like one of those things where I'm like, I can say this game is not for me, but this game is going to be super for a lot of people.
Heck yeah,
it was very cool, very cool.
Yeah, and they're cinematic. Like each game's like 2 hours. It's like a movie unfolding in front of you. And I thought the structure of it was cool.
It's really cool, really cool.
Yeah.
We played Dark Souls. I'm gonna let this one roll because I'm guessing there's gonna be two of them.
No, it's just the one.
It's for the one.
It
Okay,
represents
it's two
both.
different games. So yeah. We played the Dark Souls games. We did a Dark Souls race. There's this one, the
Tomb of Giants, and then the Painted World of Ariamis.
And these are essentially the same game with like different bosses, slightly different encounters. But we played a head-to-head version of this game. We did a whole video about it. You can check out.
Yeah.
It's really, really.
We raced against each other.
And we raced against each other. See who could beat their big boss first. This game is not really for us because I didn't hate the game in terms of like the way it played. The problem with this game is it comes down to you're rolling dice. Both of us suck at rolling dice. So there's going to be multiple turns where you just like
I missed.
roll nothing. And you're like, well, cool, that didn't do anything right there.
Yeah, and the items you equip and stuff will give you like better dice to roll and things like that. And it's not that you're missing so much. You might not have done enough damage to kill them
do
and
anything,
stuff. So I enjoy like the way you get your dice and all of that, but it's just like ultimately like I always constantly would roll one hit,
less,
so they had 1 health point, and then I get like whacked, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Then I do it again, and they have 1 health left. I'm like, neat. I'm gonna use a whole other turn to hit them for 1. You're like, this is great. So I got frustrated for sure in that.
For sure. And there's like a lot of situations with games like this where there's like a lot of scenarios where like, what do I do in this situation? How does this work? And it's just not mentioned anywhere.
Rulebooks could have been better.
Yeah, they're not. I've heard they're a big improvement from the old Dark Souls rulebook. It's just not our kind of game. I think they kind of like, you go and you die and you have to kind of reset and you're kind of doing that grinding. I think it's an interesting concept. And I didn't hate these games, but we didn't love them.
They make for like a long night because I'm like, okay, I went through all these 8 things. Now I have to go through them again. I'm just like, I know what's coming. I'm not that interested in doing that. I'd much rather do that in a video game. So this one for me did not work great. I don't need to play it again.
I think I liked it more than you, but like it's I thought it was fine. I don't need to play it again, though.
I mean, I think it did what it was trying to do well.
Yeah. It makes me happy that the Elden Ring game, they did not do like a similar
when you said it was all
thing.
card-based, I was like, tight.
Yeah, it's cool. I played Pipeline. I really, really want you to play Pipeline. I think you would love Pipeline.
I want to play it.
Pipeline is a game, kind of a logistics game where you are building out pipelines, oil pipelines, and you are getting oil and you're trying to upgrade that oil to different things to do like contract stuff. It was really fun. It wasn't quite as, the puzzle was tough in this game, but the game itself wasn't as rules heavy as I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I had it in my mind that Pipeline was like this
super
crazy heavy game.
Yeah, apparently it's not.
And maybe when it first came out, we weren't as expert gamers as we are now.
Boom.
But I really, really liked it. I think you would like it. You're building out this network of pipes. The pipes are different colors, which give you different colors of oil, essentially. And you're building out a big network. You have to build out in all these different ways, and you want longer pipelines, and it's very fun puzzle, and you're drafting out these tiles. I thought it was outstanding, and I think you will really, really like it. This is a game where if I found it for cheap somewhere, I would just buy it immediately. I think you'll
really
absolutely
want
love
to try
it.
it.
Yeah,
Really,
I liked
really
it a
wanna try
lot. I thought it was great.
I'm keen.
Play Deja Vu.
Deja Vu.
This was a good little spot it kind of game.
Spot it kind of game where you're going to flip over cards. You have a bunch of items, these little different cardboard tokens around that will depict like a rubber duck and a traffic cone, a whole bunch of stuff. And a lot of them look kind of similar to other things that are out there. You're going to flip over a card that's going to show one or more of those items that are in the middle of the table. And then you're going to flip over another card that might show some items as well. And you're going to flip over another card. And the thing is that you have to pay attention because the second time a certain item shows up on a card, you can snatch that item and pop it down in front of you. And you are hoping that you were correct and that you saw that correct. And I think you can call each other out and say like, check that.
No, I think...
Or is it at the end of the round?
I think it's the end of the round is when they find out,
And so you're always looking for the second time something appears. And the thing is that certain things, like there's a vest that's like red and white stripes, but the traffic cone also has red and white stripes. There might be a third thing that's like red and white stripes. It's a shirt. The kind of vest and the shirt are going to look really similar at a glance. You're like, did I see a shirt? Was it the vest? Which one was that? And so you start doubting yourself.
That looks like it,
Yeah, you're doubting yourself. It's a really fun game, and it just gets into your brain of you're like, I don't know what I've seen or haven't seen. You're just going off of vibes.
It's good, especially playing back to back to back. It's very good that way because you get in the meta game.
Really fun, really light, end of the night kind of game.
I'm going to play Daxu. I played this with our good friend, Matthew Jude. Daxu is an interesting game by J. Alex Kevern where it's kind of a Hanamakoji push and pull game where you essentially you have markets out there and you're essentially trying to have more people in your side of that market than them. But it's interesting because you want to barely win the market. You don't want to crush it because if you have too big of a difference, I believe you either get no points or the other person gets points. So you're constantly trying to manipulate
you really gotta thread the needle perfectly.
Yeah, and you're trying to win by one, basically, is what you're trying to do. And then you have this like action selection system where simultaneous selection, and you're just getting into each other's heads, trying to think like, okay, what do I think Mike's gonna play? Okay, I'm gonna play this because I think he's gonna play this, and this is gonna counteract that and stuff. Really, really fun game that I thought was really good, and we both liked it quite a bit. Really good game.
This is the Wandering Towers. This is I think Kramer and Kiesling game. Wolfgang Kramer and Kiesling, or at least Michael Kiesling. Anyway, this is a game where you have all these like sections of towers that are 3D and stuff, and you're putting your little wizards, you're kind of walking them around this board in a clockwise fashion, putting them on top of towers, and then you can move towers and put them on top of that and stack them together and then move the entire stack of towers, which now has your wizards inside it and things like that. And you're ultimately trying to, I think, drop off your wizards into this this raven's nest to get points and things like that. And so it's this interesting, fun puzzle of like, you want to get your wizards covered up because if you cover up wizards, you get like certain like potions unlocked and you can then use those. So it's just this interesting kind of fun puzzle. And I think if you play a card, you can either move towers a certain distance or witches, your little wizards or witches. And so you have to move that full amount. So it's actually difficult to make sure you get your person dropped off in the right spot. So maybe you want to have them ride around in a tower, but then if they're covered up, how do you get them exposed so you can get them out and drop them in? There's a bit of memory with that because you're like, where are my people? I don't actually know. They're all covered up. And so it's a fun kind of family weight game that was really just interesting. It has some kind of fun toy factor to it.
Interesting.
But ultimately light.
Cool.
Yeah,
all right, we'll keep on. I gotta play El Grande. El Grande is kind of one of the first area control games. Kind of classically thought as like one of the Godfathers of area control games. I thought it was good. I think there's way better area control games out there now, but I really respect this game because again, it brought in this kind of new genre of games, and it's still very good. As an area control game, it's still good where you're choosing out cards. Those cards will give you like supporters and some kind of action, stuff like that. And you're doing basically area control, and it's cool, it's good. I'm glad I finally played it because it's a classic. I don't need to play it again because I think there are better games out there.
I played on Board Game Arena and had no idea what was happening the entire time.
It's cool. Again, it's a classic for a reason, but I think there are better games. So I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I got to play this because now I understand what this game is, what this game did for the hobby.
You respect it for what it is.
I don't need to play it again, especially because it is supreme.
Super base. Bro, you talk about Tillitum, I'm like, talk about
We played Gargoyles Awakening.
Disney Gargoyles Awakening.
This is like a
Reawakening. Awakening.
Awakening. Reawakening is a sequel.
Here you go.
So this is a 3D game where you have a kind of a 3D city and you are doing some kind of scenario. You are the gargoyles from the Gargoyles TV show.
Dope, rip out. Shout out to the Gargoyles. Grew up on it.
Indeed. We love Gargoyles as kids. And it's a cooperative game that was fine.
Yeah, you can play through different scenarios, which are like different episodes using some of the characters, you know, that you loved from the show. It's got cool stuff where you're running around, you're playing these cards out and like whacking people, and you can get up on a building and glide down. So these are gargoyles. But to me, I'm like, I don't need to play a board game about gargoyles. It takes a lot to set up this like 3D
because you have to take it down every time.
Yeah, but you have to take it all down. I'm like, oh, it's a lot. But it is cool.
It's a cool game.
Again, great and glad that these games exist because for
It's
someone
in
who might get this
Target.
game, it's a fun game. It is a solidly designed game. It does work just fine. But, you know, it's not going to be our cup of tea, but I'm glad
But
it
it was cool.
exists.
Glad it exists, though.
Yep.
Really glad it exists. We played Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. This is a Richard Garfield roll and write game. That was you don't like it near. I like it more than you did.
I like it.
It's a game where it's a kind of a number game where you are putting in numbers, building out these different paths in these dungeons.
Yeah,
and there's
'cause
danger.
as you go through and make numbers, you can basically go into
farther
the
and
room that
farther
has that
in.
matching number, and you're doing a dungeon delve. I think for me,
I liked it way more than you.
I enjoyed. I felt like I just feel like I should have enjoyed it more, and maybe we should try some of the different maps.
Yeah.
There's like 4 of them, and they're like really well rendered and colorful and cool. I just wasn't grabbed by it or intrigued at all. I was just kind of like, I don't know.
That's
yeah,
okay. I liked it more than Mike.
Punched
I thought
a rat.
it's a little roll and write. I don't think it's the best roll and write, but it was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got to meet Richard Garfield for this game. Which
That was
cool. He was a
tight.
very nice man.
That was
But
dope.
I thought it was a good one. The thing is, at this point, there's so many roll and writes that it's got to be really outstanding to kind of stand out. And I think this is a fine roll and write.
Yeah, I
but
love the
at this
idea.
point, it doesn't. If this came out 5 years ago, I think it'd be a huge hit.
Yeah.
At this point, I think it's fine.
And I know I'm kind of in the minority. I know a lot of people really like this, but I just just didn't grab me.
Finally, going to play Fantasy Realms.
Yes.
Fantasy Realms is a great kind of hand management game where you are going to have a hand of 7 cards. And by the end of the game, you're going to have a hand of 7 cards. You are going to draw a card, and then you are going to discard a card to the kind of open market on the board. When you draw a card, you can draw from the deck or from one of the face-up cards here. And then at the end of your turn, you will discard a card. The cards are going to have a whole bunch of different stuff on them. They're all going to score in different ways. And then a lot of times you want certain cards with other ones. It'd be like, if you have this kind of like wildfire, you want this like other fire dragon card, because wildfires
Or
and
I had
fire
a bunch
dragons
of
go
flood
together.
cards, so fire's not good with water,
Yeah.
so I didn't want a fire
And
card.
you're just trying to make the best hand you possibly can.
The
We
most
had never
valuable
played it.
7-card hand possible.
I think it's so dang good.
It's
It is
super good.
Outstanding.
Perfect filler game.
Yes.
You can play it so fast. You can play it multiple times in a row,
Yeah.
and it's just fun to try to like really combo cards together.
Yeah.
And it does it in such a way it's just streamlined. There's nothing else going on. It's just pure and wonderful, and really like this game a lot.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Classic for a reason.
Yeah.
You played Feudum.
We played Feudum.
I'm so glad I didn't play Feudum.
Yeah, it was okay.
I watched you
Here's
play
the
Feudum.
thing. It looks so great. Like the art and stuff, I love the look. The board is beautiful. There's just like, this game feels like
too much
a
going on.
million different things going on. And I was like, when was the meeting that didn't happen where you pare this
need an editor.
down?
You need an editor here.
Yeah, there was just like so many things, and it's like, oh, there's like all this movement around, and you can be in a submarine, but they can only go on spaces that are connected with bubbles because you're underwater, and there's like 2 of those spaces on the board. I'm like, what do I need a submarine for then? Like, where am I gonna go? There's just so many things like that where I'm like, this is just
You did not like this game.
lot.
I showed up too late. They're having a game day. I had
missed
something
out,
going on. I showed up late, so I didn't get a chance to get into this game.
Yeah.
So I mostly watched everyone play it, and I am so happy I was
It's
not
a
in that
wonderful
game.
production of just like a mess.
I got to hang out with my friends and puppies, but
It's
I didn't have
Cats
to play
the
this.
musical. We're like, look at this hot mess, and it's like pretty and interesting, but also I'm like, what is
Yeah,
going on?
It was wild.
And I didn't know how to score points at all. Did not like that game. But I love the company. The day was great. The game was not.
I played Gift of Tulips. I played this with Paula and Matthew. And this is a game. It's kind of a stock kind of game where you're gifting out tulips and you're
market
different
manipulation.
Tulips, your different tulips will be worth a certain amount of points, and you give tulips away, but you're kind of like whatever value the tulip is when you give it away, you'll get points. You actually do want to. One thing I like about this game is like
You're
a lot of times
best
when you're
at sharing with
a
people.
lot of games when you're giving cards to other people, you're trying to give them not great cards. In this case, you actually do because you're gifting them good cards, so you want to give. Points from that. I thought it was a cool little game, a good little filler, but like it's beautiful. It's a good little filler that falls into a lot of good little fillers. So I don't think it was like outstanding.
Okay.
And it didn't
But
like.
solid.
But solid. Yeah, it was not outstanding, but solid. But very, very pretty.
Jason Dunham got himself. They got themselves from Tales of Glory, hoping to play it. Rip added it to Shakespeare History Extra Libris and Pagoda that we've suggested. You're welcome.
Blessed, indeed. We played Firenze. We played this with Before You Play. We played this with Monique and Aveen. I feel like I like this game more than you because I did. I won.
We've discussed this. Monique and Naveen on their channel discussed this. Monique and Nick experienced a certain game. Naveen and I experienced a very different game.
Monique, we're here. We're here.
Monique and Nick got off to a lead.
We had like double your scores.
And then Naveen and I were sitting there like halfway through the game like, there's no way we can come back. There's no way. Nick got off to such a quick start, and we're like, oh, we're hosed. This is a game where you have to get up and get some points going fast because there's basically these towers that you're helping build up, and if you get high up on the tower, they're worth more points, and then once that section is taken, it's gone.
Yeah.
So by the time Naveen and I got our little pieces of brick together to build something, they're only like worth like 3 points.
Yeah.
There's no way to catch up. This
It's a
game
tough
is brutal.
game. Yeah.
The game itself is brutal. Like you can like steal some from each other,
Yeah.
but there's like not that much of it. It's just the game is like
Hard.
if you don't add on to a tower that you're building in front of you every round, it crumbles and you lose half your stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool.
It's
An event just
rough.
happened where it's like, hey, do you have any white towers? No? They all crumble then. I'm like, cool. This game is terrible. I hated this game. This game is trash. This game
Here's the
is
thing.
trash.
I thought it was fine.
It was out of print forever where it should have stayed. And they're like, let's bring this back. I'm like, why ruin my day?
It was okay. I thought it
game
was
is
fine.
awful.
This game, at least for us, had such a there was
I had so much fun.
Monique
Naveen and
and
I
I-
were sitting back there like, dude, our life is
yeah.
we
Monique and
can't
I
do
were.
nothing.
It was a fight between. I think I beat her by like 1 point, but it was
Like 3 turns in, you're like, I'm not winning. There's no way.
It was
There's no way
there
to
was-
catch up.
Mike and Naveen were
Runaway
there was
leader
no
problem.
way. It was rough. It
That
was
game
very
is
rough.
trash. I hated that game.
Hot takes. You played First Class.
I like that game.
This was not on your new to me games. I was surprised it wasn't on your top 10 new to me games.
It was on the short list, and I can't remember. I think it was my like
a bad
11. No, it's really good, but I only played it once, you know. So this is a game that's made by at least one of the designers that did Russian Railroads, and there's definitely some Russian Railroads-ness to
Right.
it, where you are. It's all card-based, and you're playing out these cards around your player board. And depending on which card you're drafting, it's just pure card drafting game where there's like, I think 16, 18 cards, and you're pulling a card down. And then when like half the stack goes, the rest goes. So it's kind of like Carpe Diem, where it's just like, oh, I needed that other card, but now those cards are gone.
Right.
And depending on what you get, you might get additional cards for your train that are like level 0, so they're not worth anything, but you can then upgrade them with these action cards you can draft. There's these cards you can draft which add track, which go on the left side of your player board. You can move your little choo-choo train down those to get a bunch of bonuses every round. There's a lot of fun stuff to explore, but it has that ramp-up feel from like Russian Railroads where you will upgrade your cars that are now worth like 4 and 5 and 7. And so in the last round, you might get a ton of points because everything's been built up all of a sudden. So yeah, really, really
Seems
fun.
really good. I do want to play it.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I do want to try. I know you really liked it a lot. I played Rumble Nation.
Nation.
Honestly, like I was when I put this on the list, I was trying to remember. I distinctly remember playing this game because we were at John DeClare's house, and I was playing.
With Amanda Panda and others.
yeah, it was really fun. And at this point, I can't. It's an area control game.
Area control game.
It's an area control game where you are.
Oh, let me guess. Let's see. Hey, we're going to the Rumble!
Yeah, it's exactly. It's about outsiders theme. No, it's not. But it's a really interesting game where
Give me a knife for the knife
every
fight.
spot on the board has a number, and it's like 1 through I think 12 maybe. And they're going to activate in order. So you're putting out area control stuff, but then as you activate, when you win something, you then get to move your troops to like adjacent places. So it's this tough game where you're trying to win things so that you can then influence other places and maybe try to win those. And you're playing out these cards, and it was really, really fun. And I remember right after I played it, I messaged Matthew because I was like, "Have you heard this game?
Yeah.
Because I think you will really like this game."
He's like, yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I have that game." And I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." It was really, really fun. I liked it again. I do want to try it again because we kind of played it quick. And it was a good time though, and I do want to try it again. Rebel Nation was awesome.
Lene, I agree. Runaway Leaders, it's a bummer. You're like, why play?
Played First Rat.
First Rat.
First Rat's game where you're a rat trying to get to the cheese moon.
Yeah.
It's a fun little game that I feel like kind of went under the radar a little bit, despite having a really fun
You hear us
theme.
talk about it tomorrow.
But you are moving up a
You're kind
essentially
of working your way through the board. There's like a path that winds through the board.
Yeah, exactly. And throughout that path, you're going to be getting different resources, which you can use to build rockets and stuff. You can stop at like little shops and stuff. You're going up this ideas track. You can get like a little bit of kind of player powers going. But you can do a couple of different things in the game. And one of the main things you can do, of course, is build rocket parts. Because again, you're trying to get the cheese moon. But you're rats, so you're doing it all with trash. And it's great.
It's literally like baking soda and vinegar bottles because that makes the propulsion. You're getting like bottle caps and
It's great.
things. It's adorable.
The game itself is like fine. I thought it was a good game, but not like a great game.
Yeah.
But the theme is just so
It's
fun
adorable
and silly that I love it.
There's some fun decisions. So this one is like, it's a game that feels like a little bit like adjacent to a mass market game where there's some familiarity with like you're moving down this pathway and stuff, but it gives you more interesting choices to make. So it's like a board gamer version of those kinds of games, which I think is super dope. And the rat, I think they're ratronauts, like, you know, rat astronauts. There's like player powers you can get if you want to do like modules and add stuff onto the game. It is really adorable. It probably won't stick around for us forever because it is kind of adjacent to those games. It's much better than those kinds of games.
Yes.
But
it's
yeah,
cute.
I really liked what
fun.
it did. I was like, kudos. It's like one of the best themes of all time ever done.
Yeah. Played Fit to Print. This is out on Kickstarter. This is a real-time, well, I guess you don't have to play it real-time, but real-time game where you're building out a column of a newspaper.
Yeah, you're putting together your front page.
For cute factor, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you're building out the front page of a newspaper. You want certain things next to other things. You have articles, you have photographs, you have like headlines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're trying to build out a well-balanced newspaper. And all of these articles, all this kind of stuff will have certain things like this picture is like a blue picture, so you want blue articles around it. You also can't have pictures next to pictures, that kind of stuff.
Ads next to ads.
And then as you do 3 rounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every round, your newspaper gets bigger because you're going into the weekend. It's a really fun game that I liked a lot. I think personally for me, I don't know how much staying power it's going to have. I'm really, really excited to play it more though because I thought it was a very fun game. I just worry that it'll get samey.
I think it will, but I mean, I think it's going to be great for just like the real time aspect of like grabbing yourself and putting it together. So it's like I don't need it to be that different from game to game, but I don't think you're wrong about that.
Yeah, I think it'll be great with newer gamers. But I thought Fit to Print was great. It's obviously got tool art. They're cute animals. It was awesome.
Yep, it's great solo and stuff. There's lots of ways to play this game.
Yes,
lots of ways to play this game.
I still haven't played Flamecraft.
Nick, how dare you?
I know. I want to.
Flamecraft is an adorable little game where you are in this little town and there's all these dragons around helping out, and you're going from like shop to shop and getting resources, and then you can turn in resources to enchant those shops, which will make them more valuable, more powerful. You'll get more and more stuff out of them, and that's really the kind of cadence of the game. Is like you can either gather or you can enchant. Those are the 2 actions you can do. If you're going to gather, you go to a certain store. If there's someone there, I might have to pay you a resource. So a little good day to you. And then once you have your resources, you can turn them in. Each shop will have these little dragons that will get put at them and stuff that will give you, if you're going to gather stuff, you get to make use of one of the dragons. That's there might allow you to draw a card, get an extra resource, do things like that. If you go to enchant a shop, you get to make use of all the dragons there, which is really fun. And then there's that nice ramp up because these buildings get more and more mobeta, and then you'll add more buildings as things start to fill up. So interesting stuff. It's produced out the wazoo. It's really adorable, really well rendered, beautiful. Again, in that era of like cozy games, this fits right in perfectly with that.
Yeah. Really want to try it. Seems super cute.
Enjoyed it.
And add that we have Fork. Fork was a trick-taking game. We just talked about it last month. But it's
Food chain trick-taking game. That is correct.
Fork stands for fox, owl, rabbit, and kale. And basically, you're playing out tricks, and then the tricks will essentially eat each other because rabbits will eat kale, owls will eat rabbits, and then foxes can eat basically anything. And so you're playing out cards, but then they will eat each other. So you're kind of basically trying to have your thing be not eaten. And you're playing in different like biomes. So you're like, okay, we're gonna play in desert. So there's different like desert owls and
kind
stuff like that.
Suits of cards you gotta play.
Kind of suits you're having to play out. I thought it was fine. I thought it was, it's one of these, we played it, we were like, okay, that was good. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't actually know how much I liked it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. I want to play it again.
It was kind of frustrating because it felt like you didn't have much control over what happened.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, I put this out. Well, I have nothing. Like, we're going to do in the mountains now. Like, well, I only have kale, so I have to play a kale. Oh, Mike had a rabbit. Cool. My kale got eaten. It just felt like you didn't have control over anything.
That's where I kind of felt. I felt a little stuck, but like, this sort of game just sort of plays out in front of you. And it's like, you're going to play these things. Obviously, if you have an owl, you're going to play an owl.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a little bit of like, Nick might play an owl, then I can't eat that. So there's like some thought there, but I just wasn't grabbed by it very well.
I think I was buoyed by the fact that we were playing with Paul and Matthew, like 2 of our best friends. So I was having a really good time.
Yeah.
But now that I've reflected more on the game itself, I'm kind of like, I don't think I really liked it that much. Unfortunately.
It's cool though. You have like it's not just trick taking, but it's like, oh, some of the cards got eaten and everything. It's interesting, but yeah.
I watched you and many other people, including Foster people in chat, play Fuji Flush.
They're the ones who taught it. Fuji Flush is
really
awesome
cool
Friedman Freeze card game where you are trying to play a higher card than what's been played before you. And if you do that, you're going to flush all those other cards out. And what you're trying to do ultimately is play a card or a set of cards that's so powerful that no one around the table can beat it. And then if that happens, you get to get rid of your card, and you're trying to get rid of all your cards. If you get flushed out, you have to draw a new card to replace the one that got flushed. And now you're still at 8 cards or however many. And the cool thing is that you can get on is like, There's like numbers like 2 through 20. 2 is obviously very low, but there's a lot of 2s in the deck. And so you can get on a 2-chew train or a 4-chew train or whatever.
2-chew train.
2-chew train. And the reason you do that is if I play a 2, that's not very strong. But if someone after me plays a 2 as well, we get to now combine our forces. Now we have 4. Then a third jumps in, we have 6 and 8. And so if you do that, you might be able to get to a point where you do overcome a 13 or a 14, and then everyone gets to throw their card away and stuff. So it's really fun to try to be like, I'm gonna throw down a 6 and be like, come on, play a 6, let's hop on this. And of course, maybe they do or don't have a 6 to hop on, but there's this cool way of like combining your efforts.
It looked really cool,
Yeah, and so you get into like the whole chant of like, one of us,
3-chew train. 3-chew train. It
great.
was a really cool game. I want to pick it up once we find it somewhere.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I played Ping Yao. I also played this at John DeClare's house, a different day at John DeClare's house.
Look at the humble brags from this guy, John DeClare's
I know, John DeClare, just name dropping. I played this with Candace and Amanda Panda again.
Yes.
And Ping Yao is first Chinese banks. This is everyone describes it. It's a weird economic game. Shay has played this game. And he's like, it's a weird economic game. Then I was sitting down with Amanda and Candace to play it. And they're like, it's this weird economic game. I'm like, okay, and here's the thing. It's a weird economic game. This is
like
a game where you're
dice in there. You're like, what?
Yeah, you're like, it's dice placement and you're placing out dice to do these actions and you're opening up these different banks. But there's this whole like, you're like taking out loans, but then like paying back loans, and you're trying to get silver in your banks because silver is kind of like always. It's like gold.
Like,
gold is
it's a silver standard.
it's
right?
going to hold
like
it's going to hold its value, right? So you're trying to get silver in these banks, but each bank can only hold so much, and then you can have like special actions on your bank. You have to put like workers in them. It's hard to describe, but it was very fun. I thought it was very cool.
I'm intrigued to try it. We do have it over here.
We do have it because Shay gave it to us because like, I think you guys would like this game, and so I do want to try it again. I want to teach you it. But it was really, really fun. But again, it's just kind of economic and it's hard to describe. So everyone's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just like this weird economic game. But it's really fun. But Ping Yao, the first Chinese banks, is it's a cool one. But yeah, you're trying to have just a standard of silver in there and kind of to hold down your bank, basically. And it was cool, though. I did enjoy it a lot.
Foster People says, I chanted 2-chew train with us. Heck yeah, you did.
Heck yeah,
You're the one who taught us the chant. Of course you got to participate.
We played Fun Fair, which is kind of an easier, quicker game version of Unfair.
Less mean than unfair.
Yes, indeed. But this is kind of just a tableau building game where you're building out a theme park. I love it. And so you're building out a ride, and then you can add stuff to that ride. You can add like a photo place, and then you can add like a big old flag to it, and so people can see it. And essentially, the more stuff you add to these things,
the more points
it's going to be worth. You're going for objectives, which would be like, you want to have a certain amount of pirate themes. You want a certain amount of like space themes. You can get employees, which will give you special powers and stuff like that. You're just trying to score points. It's ultimately like pretty light, pretty easy. And I actually liked it a lot. I thought it was a cool little game. Little tableau game. Not quite a filler, but maybe filler plus.
Filler plus, but it's got great art and stuff from Mr. Cuddington. So like really appealing looking, and I love like the theme of like a theme park is just great.
It's cool.
So.
Like, oh, this ride's got a loop. Yeah, that makes the ride better.
It's more exciting,
cool,
right?
So
it's a cool
it was
like
a fun
ramp
game.
up as you build up.
I love theme parks, and so theme parks is a thing.
Cool. You played Bandana.
I played a game with Nate, our good friend Nate, who we've brought multiple times. Bandana is apparently it's a lot like Biblios. I've never played Biblios, but I hear it's a lot like
dice
Biblios.
Manipulation game ultimately. You're trying to flip dice, rotate dice,
Flip dice, rotate dice. It's a dice manipulation game. I thought it was cool with birds, and it's got cool like public domain like kind of art, like nature art. But it's a cool little game. I liked it. I thought it was fine. I don't think I need to have it, but it was a good little dice manipulation game that I would play again gladly. We don't need to have, but I thought it was good.
Gotcha.
We played Get On Board.
We did New York and London. This is a roll and write kind of game, or flip and fill, I should say. A game based on Let's Make a Bus Route. The main thing that changes is just sort of some like quality of life stuff.
Yeah.
In Let's Make a Bus Route, you're going to flip over a card that's going to give you a sort of like shape that you must draw, and that's your bus going through town, and you would actually draw on the center board.
Yeah.
So this game does the same exact thing. Instead of drawing on the center board, you're going to put down these like little wooden sections that are showing where you're driving. So it's a little nicer and easier. And then based on what you're passing through at all these intersections, you will cross off things on your little sheet. You're trying to pick up old people, sell them off later. You're picking up tourists and taking them past sites and stuff. You're taking, I think, students. You're like basically picking up people and taking them past things often to cross off and work your way down these kind of little tracks. Very kind of classic roll and write type of things. We loved Let's Make a Bus Route when we played it way back when. And this one, I'm just glad to have it more easily accessible and to be able to, have just like the little wooden pieces.
The quality of life stuff is great.
Yeah, and if you go over the same thing that if I drive where Nick drove, now we're adding pollution, so that's hurting. So you're trying to go away from each other and stuff like that. Really fun game.
It's good. It's a good looking game. I like Let's Make Restaurant a lot, and this was good. I played Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a pandemic system game. This is like Star Wars pandemic kind of, in the same vein of like Fall of Rome or any of these other games where they're very pandemic-y, but kind of have something different going on.
Yeah.
This one feels more pandemic-y than like the Wrath of the Lich King, the World of Warcraft one.
Sure.
But it's cool. You have all these different planets on the board, and the planets will have droids. Those are kind of like your disease cubes. You're going there as Jedi, and you are fighting them and trying to kill them and get them out of there. You are also going to have some kind of big bad, like General Grievous or something like that, and they're going to be messing stuff up, and they're going to be increasing the, I think it might be called the threat tracker. It's whatever the threat track is supposed to be called. But essentially in that, you can like time out. It can end the game for you and stuff like that, and eventually you're trying to do these missions, and these missions are going to have you turn in different sets of cards. So that's kind of pandemic, but the missions will be different. So it's going to be different. It's not always like you turn in 5 blues.
Yeah, I like it's more dynamic.
Yeah,
there.
and so you're fighting all these droids, and you're using your cards to get these missions. And once you finish these 3 missions, then you go into like the fight, and then you actually have to fight this kind of boss, and you're going planet to planet and fighting him and stuff like that. I thought it was really, really fun. I liked it a lot. I like Star Wars a lot. It's weird. It's kind of a mix between like the movie Star Wars and then like the show the Star Wars, Clone Wars. But I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. It's nice because I really love Pandemic, but it's nice to have kind of a twist on it. And the game changes a decent amount depending on what kind of big boss you're playing against. And so I was like, oh, this is kind of nice because it makes each game of it even more different than the normal game is with just like how the cards come out. Yeah. I thought it was really, really cool. If we found it somewhere for cheaper, I'd definitely pick it up. I thought it's a great, if you like Star Wars, you like Pandemic, give it a shot. I thought it was really fun.
Nice. What do we got next? What do we got? Glasgow.
This is a 2-player only game where you are kind of going. Hi, what was that, Pippin?
Pippin.
Hi, Pippin. You're going around. You have your little architecture. You're going around this stuff, stopping at different spots. The spots are almost always going to give you resources. You're going to use those resources to put buildings in the middle of the table, and you want to have certain buildings. You want to have buildings pointing towards you. That means your buildings. We need to play it again. We both played it. We're kind of like.
We didn't get to finish the game, and so we were like, I think we need to play it a couple more times, finish it out, because I like the idea that you're kind of like working your way around, and if you go way forward, it's kind of like patchwork. Yeah. It's not your turn until your opponent passes you, so it might take a bunch of turns in a row.
Yeah.
It was all right. It didn't like snag us at that play, but maybe it will a little bit more.
The buildings and the factories you put in the middle didn't feel that impactful, and I was like, oh, I thought these were going to be like,
that's what you're doing in the game.
And that's kind of like what you're doing, So other than that, it's really just you going around getting resources. So I don't know. Yeah. We'll play it again.
We'll see.
Green team wins. We also played with like Foss and Meeple and Raina and Phil and Jenna and a whole bunch of other people. Sam,
so good.
We played it when we filmed Fire and Ice. We got to hang out with a bunch of our good friends.
Just know if we weren't on screen, we were playing this or Fuji Flush.
Pretty much, doing. This is a game where you want to be on the green team. It's kind of like Just One or any of those kind of like mind. You kind of come together.
Except for infinitely better, and I like those games. This game is amazing.
This game, I think, is honestly one of the best party games ever. I think it's absolutely incredible. Basically, there's gonna be some kind of prompt, like something cake.
Might be a fill in the blank. It might be like a multiple choice or this or that. Yeah.
And so basically, it's like a fill in the blank, like something cake. And so then everyone writes down what they think is what they want to put down. So birthday cake, chocolate cake. Whatever kind of cake, carrot cake, and then everyone shows it, and whatever the majority answer is, that is the green team. You want to be on the green team because the green team wins.
Green team scores points.
If you move from the orange team, which is the crap team, to the green team, you get a point. If you were on the green team and you stay on the green team, you get 2 points. You're just trying to stay on the green team. It's so fun because you get to be so smug when you're on the green team. You're like, how's it feel, orange team? You feel like you're not on the green team. Yeah. It's great.
And so it's all about trying to like guess. The thing is, you ultimately will go with your feelings about blank mustard.
And you get so upset.
That's not where you need to go with what the group is going to say, but you get so like, no, but I'm right. And you're like, no, you clearly aren't because you're not on the green team. You're wrong. And it's so fantastic.
So much fun.
So much fun.
This game is crazy good as a little party game. We played Le Havre, the Inland Port. This is a 2-player version of Le Havre, although it doesn't play anything really like Le Havre. No. This is a game where you kind of have a warehouse of goods, and you're kind of moving those goods around as you go up and to the right. You're getting more of those goods, but then you're spending those goods by going down and to the left. It's a really interesting way to do like resource management that I thought was very good.
There's a whole spatial aspect to it now where if you go all the way to the right, then you have to find ways to move up because that's the only way to do it. And if you move up a row, that counts as 3 of that resource. You move to the right, it's 1 of that resource. So it's actually very interesting to try to get the brick and stuff you need, and then you're spending those things to buy buildings and doing
which do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Really fun.
I liked it a lot.
It's super out of print, but it does have an app. It has an online version on Steam
That's
that
how
works
we were able to play.
really well.
Yeah, it's pretty
and yeah, I thought it was great. If we ever found it somewhere, I'd totally pick it up. But it's like $100 because someone asked a while ago if we ever played Heat.
We did.
We have played Heat. We played this with Fox and Meeple in chat.
Thank you for teaching us.
This is a really fun racing game that I liked quite a bit, where you're racing around trying to take tight corners slower.
Yeah, a Formula 1 race where you are shifting up and down gears, and whatever gear you're in, 1 through 4 or whatever it is, that's how many cards you must play, and those cards will have a certain amount of value, and that's how many spaces you're going to move forward. And that's great on straightaway. You want to play 5 5s or whatever, as much as you possibly can, and really rip ahead forward. But the problem is if you hit a turn, there's a maximum amount of speed, basically a maximum amount of number that you can go through that turn on without having to pay heat in the excess of whatever that turn is. The tighter the turn, the slower you should go. But if you're still in 4th gear, you still have to play 4 cards. Now, some cards, you have a couple that are zeros, which is great because I can play a card, but it doesn't add to my total value. But then if I'm like kind of stuck with my hand, I have like a 4 and then a 3. Now I have 7. This turn can only handle 3. I have to pay heat in excess of that with 4 that I built up on my engine. If you can't pay that, you spin out. So there's this kind of heat mechanism where it's like you need it in your engine to be able to spend it. How do you then kind of slow things down to get heat back into your engine and spend all that to manage the turns? And then you want to be like open and burning up when you're going straight and play all those high cards that you can to really hit it. So it's all about shifting up and down and stuff like that. It does some interesting stuff.
It's cool.
And that was just in the base most version of the game, which is like a more easy map to navigate. There's 4 maps in the box, and there's all sorts of modules. There's AI racers you can add in to make the game more competitive. There are like weather effects and all sorts of different things that I would really want to add in because I think that would really ramp up the excitement.
The base box has a ton of stuff, and they're going to expand it.
Yeah.
It's done very well. Really I'm happy. We played Hey Yo. This is a little oink games. By the way, we're 2 hours in, Mikey. We're doing all right here.
Doing all right.
We're probably trying to speed it up, but
once we get to the old stuff, it'll be like
we're going to move quick. Hey Yo
see.
is a game where you are trying to place stuff down in a sequence, a cooperative game, but it's done through this little song that's called Hey Yo, and then you're playing things on the it's something like that. And then on the downbeat is when you have to play a card, and you're trying to play them in order.
Yeah, you've got like kind of 2 rows you're working with.
You're trying to essentially finish the song, and it's a really fun little game that like you can pull out and play. It's got a tiny little speaker in it. It's a cool little game.
Or you can play. There's a YouTube video just with that song. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah, it's like, actually kind of difficult, but you're kind of
everyone's just kind of like, and you can't miss the beat. And so it's a fun little game. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game. I played The Banishing. The Banishing, I played with Legends and Slackfish from our Twitch chat.
What up, Rosie?
Oh, hi, Rosie. Our sister and our father have been here. One of our other brothers is going to come in.
You better.
So I played this game. This is I'm trying to remember. This is Dice Tower West, and we played it. I'm trying to think of exactly how it works, but this is a game where there's like, it's got this really cool like black and white art, and there's like devils and demons and stuff like that.
Tight.
And I'm trying to remember, gosh, it's like, it was so long ago now.
Well, there's like some colors, and you're trying to like get rid of certain colors and things like that.
It's a cooperative game, and you have different abilities, and I honestly don't quite remember much else. I remember enjoying it though. I do remember enjoying it. But gosh, I can't remember. I just remember now. It's kind of a crisis management. I do know that it's like crisis management where you're essentially trying not to get overrun by like undead and stuff like that. But and everyone was different, and everyone was really different. Like you did feel different, and I remember liking it. I don't quite remember much else about it, but I remember it being cool.
Don't ask questions. Nick liked it.
I liked it. It's hard. We played a lot of games this year.
Poplamachus Remastered. This is another Chip Theory games. This is an old Chip Theory game that they're bringing back and kind of spruced up some of the rulebooks. From the 70s and stuff, pretty cool. This is a game where you're doing gladiatorial battle using your little chips and stuff and running around. This game is cool because it can be played competitively, cooperatively, solo, of course. And there's different modes of play. So we played one of the cooperative modes where you're basically going up against these immortals, which are interesting because you can't actually hurt the immortals directly. If you go and swing a sword on them It won't damage them, but it
like,
gets the crowd riled up. And you're trying to deal with like arena animals and stuff, like a tiger is going to get introduced. You have to fight the tiger and all sorts of stuff like that. And it was interesting because I enjoyed what you were kind of doing, but we just definitely didn't have like the best strategy for like how do you actually get these immortals, and you're trying to knock out like 6 of them ultimately. You're trying to go through like waves.
To be fair, they say it's very difficult to do that all. It was cool.
We got halfway through then we died, and I was like, I'm happy with that.
It was fun. It was cool. It would be one of the things that we could just like pull out one random immortal, try to beat it, and then that could be the whole end of the game. Yeah. I thought it was a cool little game. I liked playing it cooperatively. I don't know how much I like playing this game competitively because it's just like
you're just like then you can just do like a skirmish.
I was kind of like, I don't care about that.
What's fun is that you have like a different faction and stuff. So like I think I was like the Amazons or something, and you were like a minotaur and a bunch of different creatures, and they all kind of have different styles and keywords and things. So I really love that there's all these factions to explore.
Yeah, it was cool.
If you like chip theory games and stuff, I think you'll enjoy this one. And I like that you can play it co-op or solo or competitive. Never need to play competitive ever. Yep. But the co-ops was interesting. There's 2 modes of co-op too.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, played Horrified American Monsters. Was that the first time this year?
Yeah.
Wow. Great game. We love Horrified.
Apparently.
This is with kind of like American cryptids, like Bigfoot and the Jersey Devil and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's still just Horrified where you're playing against one of these monsters and you are trying to, all the monsters work differently. You're trying to essentially research them kind of and then defeat them. I really like American Monsters. I think I like it more than normal ones just because I think the monsters themselves, the way they work is more interesting.
A little more funky
but
and interesting.
Horrified's great. Horrified American Monsters is also great.
Yep, it's fantastic. You can up and
I like kind of like the green-yellow aesthetic of this one. Yeah,
me too.
Dude.
Igloo Pop.
Talk about the greatest game ever made.
This is a game that's like super old, and our buddy brought it up and stuff, and it's like probably like not the most sensitive
at this point,
depictions. It is a super old game, but the game itself, what you're doing is you actually have a bunch of these igloos that have like a little bead in them, or a certain amount of beads. And what you're doing is you're picking them up and you're shaking them, and you are trying to get like I think. There's cards and stuff that will have different numbers, like the 7, 8, and 2 or something, or 7, 8, and 9, or one might have the 12, and you're trying to get the igloo that has that many of those beads on it. On the bottom, it'll tell you. And so it's one of those things that, like, if you have the lightest one and the heaviest one, you can hear the difference there.
But if you have 11 and 12, you're kind of like...
Can you tell the difference? You're like, I don't know. And so cards that have, like, 3 options, it's much easier to get it right because you have a range. And if you have one where it's like you need specifically the 5, it's worth more points, but it's like it's so hard to get it right. And you're trying to this like you're just shaking up things like randomly, and of course everyone's doing that around you, and stuff. And you're trying to
really
listen.
fun.
It's just a really adorable like kids game.
I would love to see someone else reprint this, because it could be anything, and it's like it was a super fun little game.
Yeah, and it's funny. You're like, I think that's a 7.
You're like, oh god, is that too many? Is that too many? It was fun. I like.
So this is
Shouts out to Maybeth.
Oh girl, we're not even through the new games.
Not even through the games. We played Jaws, another game by Robin's Brothers. This is a 1 versus all game that neither of us really liked.
I liked the first half.
I liked the first half. I thought
the second half got repetitive, and I was like, it's so different. But this takes you through the movie Jaws, which is cool.
One person plays the shark, everyone else plays the like townsfolk and stuff like that, like whoopah and stuff like that. And you're going around the first half of the game. The shark is kind of going around eating people, and then you're going around trying to like find them and stuff like that, and spot them. And then the second half of the game, you're on the boat. You're on the what's the boat called?
The Orca?
The Orca, that's what it is. I was going to say the Beagle, that's Darwin's boat. You're on the Orca, and the shark is eating the boat, and you're trying to get those big buoys on them and stuff like that.
So still hidden movement, like where's the shark going to pop up? But it just felt a little more, and the shark's eating sections of the boat, so it was all fun stuff. But I really loved the first half where you're going around the island and you're trying to go out on different types of boats and different types of movement and stuff. That part was just so much more interesting to me than like the second half is fun because you flip over the board and you set up the boat and stuff. But it was just sort of like up and chomp a part of the boat and go back down. Oh, I got hit. Up and chomp a part of the boat, and like it was just too samey for the second half of the game. So
for me, like
it was like a tale of 2 games.
I was like the townsfolk, and it felt impossible. Like it felt like there was no way you could win.
Sure.
And maybe with more plays it'd be different. I like the concept of it because I think it's a really cool game, and I think the way it works. Well, this is actually pretty darn interesting. But yeah, the first half, at least for us, was so much more interesting than the second half, and so I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
But yeah,
halfway there.
Indeed. King of 12. This is a great game by Lucky Duck Games, where you are essentially trying to have the highest die in each round. You're going to roll out the die and say, I have a 7. Like, well, I got a 7. You can play off these cards, and that can manipulate the virtual value of your die. It can add amounts. It can actually decrease amounts. And essentially, at the end of that little round, you want to have the highest die. So if I have a die that's 12, everyone else is lower than that, I win that one. And you're trying to essentially win, I think, 2 rounds.
Yeah.
It's everyone has these cards, but everyone has the same cards. So when you play them out, you're constantly trying to keep track, being like, okay, I know Mike has already played this card, so I know he can't beat me in that way. But and there's
Someone
also
else
one
play a
card.
night, though? Yeah.
There's one card that's always. This is the card that like drives everyone crazy because it's like this is the one where now this round the lowest die is the one that wins. So everyone's constantly like, when are they playing it? When are they playing it?
Yeah.
When are they playing it? And it's so much more fun. This is one of the biggest surprises for me ever in a game where I thought the game would be fine, and then we played it, and I thought it was so much dang fun.
Yeah, and it's cool because, it's like if anyone plays the same action card, you eliminate each other.
Yes.
If you have the same value of die, those eliminate each other, and the next highest die will win.
Yes.
So there's all these things of like, you just do not want to be the same as anybody else.
Yeah, it's super fun.
It's really fun.
The meta is bonkers.
Yeah, it's got the Libertalia feel where you're like, what's been played? What are people hanging on to?
I played Kariba. I played this with Matthew when I was in Manchester. And this is a Reiner Knizia game, but where you're a bunch of animals at a watering hole. There's one watering hole, there's a mouse, and there's a big old elephant. It's got this really cute art style.
I love the style, yeah.
And essentially you are animals, you're trying to put sets of animals at the watering hole. The different animals have different values. So like elephants are like 8, mice are 1. But basically, because you're at a watering hole, everyone's at the same watering hole, you're constantly scaring away other animals. So once you have 3 of an animal, it'll scare away the next lowest animal. So if you have 3, if you have like 6, which I think was cheetahs, if you have 3 cheetahs, whatever 5 was, which say it's zebra, they will then scare away, and then you get to collect those cards. You want
like
those cards.
Almost a Fuji flush-ish knit.
Kind of.
To it. But
and so you're constantly trying to put them there, but you don't want to set someone, like I don't want to put someone with 2 down somewhere because then Mike can come in and put a 3rd down and then scare somebody and get it. And so there's all this kind of manipulation going on. And I thought it was a really fun, it's a little filler game, comes in a tiny little box.
Yeah.
And I thought it was good. It's made by the same company that makes like Bandito and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's the
I'd
same
love to
kind of
try
box.
this. Yeah.
It's a very cute little game. I actually liked it a lot. If we ever saw it somewhere, I'd probably snag it because it was a good little filler game.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bandito.
Same size box, different game where you are trying to...
shouts out to Cindy and Chad.
Yeah, this game, there's a robber's digging a bunch of tunnels trying to escape. What you're trying to do is just desperately cut off all possible exits from the center of the board where this jail is. So you're playing a card, but oftentimes the cards are just going to have like 3 or 4 sides that have exits and stuff. And so as you're connecting these tunnels, you have to make the tunnels make sense, kind of like a Carcassonne. You are constantly getting close to closing off all things and then opening them back up because you have a hand of 3 cards, but you might have 3 cards that are all horrible to play and you have to play one. So it's kind of this constant like, sorry, y'all, I'm going to ruin our day now. And everyone's like, why would you do that? You're like, I have to. And if you get everything closed off, you win.
Yeah, it's so hard.
This is a game that's really fun, despite like, you're beholden to the cards. You're either going to win or not because the cards are lucky or not. But I don't care. It's fun.
I don't care. Who cares? It's a little filler game. It's great. I love Bandito.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Bandito.
We finally played Labyrinth for the first time. This is not a new game.
No, it's a very old game.
Ravensburger, where you are trying to get to certain treasures that are in this labyrinth, and you are taking tiles and pushing them, and you're constantly
sliding a whole row of them.
You're sliding a whole row of them, and that is going to change how the paths make up. And you're trying to move your person to this, like, there's like this gold crown. You need to get to that. So you're pushing them around, trying to move them down to get to there, and then you draw another treasure card, and then you're trying to get to that treasure card.
That's it.
This game's been around for a long time, and I'm like, we played it. We were both like, wow, this is a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Super fun. It's super fun.
Super fun.
Perfect family weight game, but it's actually puzzly where sometimes you're like, what do I have to shift to get down here? And it's like, it's tricky.
And you're trying to shift this, and then someone moves it, you're like, oh, I needed that there to go over here.
To the ghost.
It was great.
Yeah, it's really great.
Labyrinth was a good time. Very good time.
Lacrimosa.
Same game, basically.
This is a game where Mozart's dead. We don't know why. Probably
killed him.
We probably killed him. And you are trying to kind of like remember your times with Mozart and prove that you were sort of the most influential person on Mozart's life, on Mozart's works and stuff, and the journeys that Mozart and you all went on. And you're trying to do this all through memories and stuff, and you're also trying to complete the Requiem de Lacrimosa, the final piece that Mozart passed away before completing. So you're hiring additional composers and working on different movements of that piece. This is a great action selection system game where you're going to play 2 cards, one on top, one on the bottom. The bottom is, at the end of the round, going to produce resources for you. The top will give you an action you can do. And that action might be going on a journey or working on the thing, getting an opus or performing an opus or getting upgraded cards. As you go through the game, the cards get kind of more and more powerful, so they might do multiple actions. Really smooth gameplay, really fun, and it does beige prettily.
Yes,
it is possible to make an old-timey game look good. This game does that.
I did it. I really like Lacrimosa.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to keep playing it.
Yeah.
I played Rome. I played Rome at the World Series of Board Gaming. I played this with Paula. I think Cindy was there. And then
Cindy was there.
A gentleman whose name just left my head. But honestly, we played Rome. This is a Ryan Lockett game where you essentially are. Oh gosh, what are you doing in this game? I remember not really liking it very much.
Dice stuff?
No.
Card stuff?
Cards. You're doing card stuff, and I think you're trying to put stuff in a grid of cards. And I remember being like, and you're getting people, the kind of Ryan Lockett above and below people, and they're doing stuff. God, I don't remember you doing card stuff. I remember not liking it though. But it's Ryan Lockett. It's very, very pretty. I remember afterwards being like, I didn't really like that. So sorry about Rome. What the heck do you do in this game?
Again, if you can't remember, it didn't leave that big of an
That's
impression.
the thing. It really did. My apologies. We played a lot of games. It's hard to remember them all. I don't really remember how Rome plays, but I remember not liking it. So boom.
There you go.
Get
Not
wrecked.
the high watermark. Play Land versus Sea. This is
We
a
did.
hexagonal tile laying game that are going to have some amounts of land and sea.
Weird.
And if you're the land player, it's a two-player. You can play it in teams away, but I would consider it a two-player
It's a
game.
two-player
You can play a three-player. I consider it a two-player game.
Two-player game.
If you're the land player, you're going to try to complete big areas of land, kind of Carcassonne-ish. It'll be completed when it's fully enclosed by water, pinched off and stuff, and then you can get points and stuff that way. Don't worry about it. There's different scoring things you can add, like mountains and coral reefs. So now, not only are you trying to get your land areas complete, you want to get a big old mountain range or a big old contiguous coral reef done. So there's a lot of things to explore, but it's this game where it's just like a bunch of like, I don't know quite how to do this, because you have two tiles you can flip over either side. So there's a lot of options.
Yeah, there really is.
But it's a really fun game. And as you, inevitably, every card's going to have, or tiles can have land and sea. So if I do this, I might just complete a sea thing for you. Now you get some points. So you're trying not to give points away.
One thing that's super interesting for Land vs. Sea, in my opinion, is like most of these kinds of games, you want to have like giant areas. And this one, you actually usually want like a lot of smaller areas, which is kind of a nice change too. I thought Land vs. Sea was a great little two-player game.
Really fun, really fun.
Yeah.
Alexander, you're here just in time. Hang on out.
We played Legendary, the James Bond one. This is the Legendary Encounter system that I think started with the Alien one.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of more, the cards don't come out, the villain
narrative,
cards don't come out randomly. They come out, again, kind of more narratively, which actually makes the game better because then it scales up. You don't get like hit with a huge villain, but it's still just Legendary. Neither one of us are like Bond fans.
No.
But like the Legendary Encounter system is very fun. I think Legendary is very fun, so we still enjoy playing this game. The slight changes they made for this one, which was cool, and the keywords were cool. If you like Bond and you like Legendary, this will be a smash hit for you.
I think it's a really solid game and a better version of Legendary than Marvel Legendary, but we like Marvel more, and so that gets away. But I wish there's something where you kind of like the game
if they
sort
took
of
all of that, but then somehow transfer it into the encounter system.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That'd be great.
That'd be the bomb.
But yeah, it was a fun game. We're just not huge Bond fans, but it was still Legendary, which means it was still good.
I still enjoyed the game.
I'm curious about the Matrix one that's coming out.
Yeah,
because
I like the
Matrix stuff.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
Why not?
You got to play the new Libertalia.
Libertalia Winds of Gale, Crash a Crush So Hard. But this is a game that's based on Libertalia. It's just kind of more of a thematic change, and a couple cards are different and stuff. But you are given, kind of like you're talking about King of 12, the same hand of cards, the same type of action cards. It's all about like hanging on because certain cards you want to be played when none of that other card is played out and stuff. And you're trying to kind of time up when you play cards to get the most kind of these little booty tokens that'll give you things that might be good or bad. And you're only trying to get as much money as you can, because from round to round, whatever money you manage to get, you'll get to then kind of sock away, and it's safe, and and you get to keep it. But in round, any money you gain might be coming and going based on what's going on. So it's all about trying to read the minds of your opponents and do pirate stuff.
Indeed. Yeah, I like the old Libertalia. I want to try this new one.
Dutch Yoda, you have not missed Party Planner yet.
It'll come up. Longboard, this is a Little Reiner Knizia game where you're essentially building out very long surfboards.
Yeah, kind of doing like a Lost Cities thing where you're trying to build like numbers that are
very
going
Lost
in
Cities.
an ascending format, and you're building out longboards. You want to build them as kind of as long as you can, and ultimately they're going to have stickers on those longboards. Stickers are sweet, stickers are points. But you might want to go for an objective that you want to have as, certain
colors.
certain boards, you have to be a certain length, like 5 cards long, before you can consider it to be complete. But then you can choose to kind of have it be complete. This game was okay. I don't think it was anything special. I'd rather play like Lost Cities if I was going to do that. So it was just kind of like a.
I like the theme. It was cool. The theme was cool. It was fine.
Yeah, Reiner Knizia recycles his ideas a lot, and this is one like you didn't need to. This was a worse. This is a copy of a copy.
Yeah,
it's a little fuzzy. You know what I mean?
It's getting a little fuzzy.
Not bad, but you're like, it was fine. I'm good. Don't need it.
It was fine.
I played a game of Lord of the Rings, the card game with Jimmy, who like our buddy Jimmy loves Marvel Champions. So he's like, I want to play Lord of the Rings, the card game, to kind of see like, you know, the game that kind of sparked Arkham, you know, Arkham Horror and stuff and all that. So we played a game of this. I was very rusty on it, and I kind of like quickly got back up to speed with it, and we played a scenario, and it was fun. Yeah, I like driving locations. Love the theme, of course, but I'd probably rather play like Journeys to Middle-earth or something at this point. Yeah. There's obviously a newer version of this game coming now. Yeah, it's still fun to play.
It's still good. It's still good. Yeah, we finally got rid of our copy because we're like, we'll just never play
this wasn't truly a new game, but it's the first time in a very long time that we
might as well be new at this point.
Might as well be new.
We played Marvel Dice Throne. We played a couple games of this. And yeah, this is Dice Throne, which is a kind of Yahtzee style game where you have a character. You have all different abilities. All the characters are very, very different.
Battle Yahtzee.
You're rolling out dice, kind of Yahtzee style. You're trying to make matches. Once you make a match of a thing, you then get to do that ability, and you're trying to take out your other person. I really like Dice Throne. I feel like I like Dice Throne less than seemingly everyone else on the planet.
Me too.
Like there's many people who Dice Throne is like their favorite game.
That's great. I'm stoked on that. I don't get that.
I like Dice Throne, but I like Dice Throne. That's pretty much it though. I think Dice Throne is fun. I think it's great for a lot of people, but I think you and me are weirdly in the minority where we both like this game, but don't like love Dice Throne.
It's ultimately like a super light game and stuff, and so yeah, it's just interesting that it's not our favorite thing.
Yeah, it's good. Still like it.
It's objectively good.
Would gladly play it, but like we just don't seem to like it as much as everyone else.
What's up, Spike and Ziv? Yeah, Scout was the first game we mentioned, and we love it.
It's outstanding. And what's up, Jenna?
What'd it do?
We played Mobile Markets. We played this with Brandon Char, Miguel, and Benita at Dice Tower West. This is the kind of the sequel to Smartphone
Inc. Yes, it's a Smartphone Inc.
And I actually liked it more than Smartphone Inc. Smartphone Inc. is a game where you're trying to make a big old, you're selling smartphones, you're trying to make a big industry of them and stuff. And this one was super interesting where there was like bidding in terms of like when you were going to get to go and get stuff. And I just thought it was I thought it was just better than Smartphone Inc., honestly.
Yeah, the markets and the values of types of phones go up and down much more wildly, and it gets rid of the whole kind of board where you're trying to go into different regions of the world. It just kind of deals with more like the types of phones, and you can play out cards and stuff to sell them and everything.
You're getting technology on the phone, like this phone's got really great gaming on it, and this phone's got this, and it's like...
do you sell a bunch of cheap phones where you get them, like a bunch of them sold and everything, and
kind of fill up that market?
Yeah, or you try to sell like really high-end phones, but you can probably sell fewer of them. Yeah. So a lot of fun decisions to make. I really want to pick this one up and play it again.
Me too, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely was like, I'll play this over Smartphone.
Yeah, Smartphone was fine, but I thought this was really, really good.
You can do a lot of the same stuff that you do.
I'm going to play Endeavor Deep Sea at PAX Unplugged. This is coming out, it's going to come out on Kickstarter at some point this year. I'm not entirely sure when.
Sure, yeah.
But this is a sequel to Endeavor, where it's a lot of the same system, but it has a different theme, which is good for us. But this is one of Deep Sea, where you're exploring the deep sea. And you have like different specialists, essentially people, and they have discs on them. And they essentially can all do different actions. There's like 5 different actions, and this specialist can do like this action and this action. This specialist can do like this action and this action. And you're putting out these discs, and you're exploring the sea. You're like doing research. You're like publishing papers. You're doing a whole bunch of different stuff to get points. But basically, once you run out of discs on your specialist, you're done for the round. Yeah. Your specialist, you can then upgrade to their better sides, which means they can usually do more actions. They might have more discs on them. But the cool thing is like every single round, you're going to get a specialist. So every single round, you're going to get to do more stuff.
You get to go cooler and cooler
stuff.
And
it's cool. I really, really enjoyed it.
I want to play this so bad.
Yeah, I think you were out taking a nap, and me and Shay were like,
absolutely.
It was open, so me and Shay were like, we're gonna go play this game, and it was really, really fun.
I have no regrets, but I am bummed I missed it.
We learned it and played it in like 45 minutes to an hour.
That's crazy to me, man.
So it was really fast. I really liked it. I think you're gonna really, really like it, and I'm very excited for that campaign.
Very excited for this game.
Yeah, it was quite good, quite good.
What was your favorite grocery they got? Board Game Garden, hit us with it. Moonrakers, we played Moonrakers Cooperative. There's a way to play cooperative using the materials of Moonrakers and stuff. It's something that
IV Studios.
That they release and stuff. You play it like on a browser, I think, on your phone and stuff. And so it turns into a cooperative thing where now you're playing out, like in Moonrakers, you're playing like a card pyramid.
Yeah.
With your thrusters and your thises and your that's. And you're trying to kind of play out as many things as you can to like overcome these challenges that are being presented to you, similar to like Moonrakers. But now, in Moonrakers, you might be like, hey, you want to go in with me on this thing?
There's a whole bunch of
We'll
negotiation.
split the loot and blah, 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 and then you just end up screwing them over, which I could not be less interested in playing this game competitively.
Yeah.
But cooperatively, we're all trying to like, work together to overcome these challenges, and you're kind of working your way, Slay the Spire-ish, through a pathway.
Yeah.
And there's different branching points, and like this one's going to require a little bit more of this color of card, this one's going to require a little bit more of that color of card. Based on what we have, you're like, you know what, I can do purple a lot better, maybe let's go with the purple route. You're getting rewards and upgrades and
was
cards
really
and
fun.
stuff.
It was tough, too.
It was really fun, really tough to play cooperative, but I actually really enjoyed that game. And that is a
like,
way that I will play this game.
Big shout out to Ivy Studios because they made Moonrakers and then they just released this whole cooperative expansion for free.
For free, and they're like, it doesn't require anything. You need to have the game, but you don't need like extra stuff for the game. You don't have to purchase anything. It's just a new way to
They
play
just
it.
did it. I'm
And
like, wow,
great.
you could have charged for that.
I don't want to play competitively this game at all,
Yeah.
but I will play that. That's fantastic.
So great. By the way, Mikey, Jenna got ingredients for creamy chicken quesadillas.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good. I'm not gonna lie.
I want that.
We play Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. This is by Glenn Drover and Forbidden Games. This is a civilization game with all the civilization same stuff where you are moving troops around, you
Building
are
technology,
building
wonders of the
technologies,
world,
you're getting wonders of the world.
military, yeah.
But it's the game is not fast. It could be a long game, but the actions are crazy quick. You're just like, cool, I'm gonna get this card, this technology, boom. You're trying to get tags. Tags will give you points and stuff like that.
Yep.
You're like, I'm gonna run my production, run my stone production. You go now. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this card. Cool, you go now.
Every turn in this game should take 8 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Like literally make your decision and go, and then
It's
it'll be
fast.
back around to you in 45 seconds. Take another turn.
So the game can take
so
a
it's
while.
smooth as butter.
Like it can be like an hour and a half out game, but your turns are we're so often like, oh god, it's my turn again. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Boom. Oh god, it's my turn again.
Turn to 5 ideas and get another technology.
Quick.
Boom, throw that down.
I really like it. We played the kind of Kickstarter version of this game, which is very, very big.
It's not
There's
the one with the minis,
smaller
but it's
one.
the same size board and all
Yeah.
that.
I kind of want a smaller version because this game is very large,
there's
and you
a
end up getting like 50 cards by the end of the game.
At least in a 2-player game, you get 1,000 cards.
It was really fun. Though.
Yeah.
I liked Mosaic a lot.
But
It's got
I-
a really pretty look to it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I like civilization themes, but it's very abstracted.
Yeah.
Like you have like troops on the board, but you're just like who has the most influence? And that's like who has the most troops there, but you're not actually like fighting, you're not kicking anybody out, you're not
Yeah.
rolling dice or anything like that. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but this is one where it's like I think there's like a more pared down, smaller version of the game, and I'm like, I want that version of this game and that version only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just too humongous.
Yeah,
I'm
Brant
like,
said, this game, my only issue with the game was the length. It's like even 2-player games like 3 hours. It can go long.
go
For
long.
us, it was like 2 hours.
But the turns are quick, but it
Yeah.
just, yeah.
But it's still a big game, right?
Yeah,
But I
still
do
large.
like. I think I'd only ever want to play it 2 just before the length alone.
Yeah.
Played Namiji. which is-
Namiji's a follow-up to Kaido,
Kaido, yeah.
where now you are going around on a little boat and stuff, and you are doing similar things. You're getting cleaning panoramas and doing some set collection
Here's
stuff.
the thing. It's Takedo.
It's Takedo. If you like Takedo, you'll probably like this. If you don't, it won't change your mind. And we are fine with Takedo, and we were fine with Namiji.
Yeah, I thought it was
Very beautiful.
Thought it was fine. Thought it was good, but it's
There was slightly more going
90%
on.
the same game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have a boat and you can like build out your little thing, and so you're trying to capture different fish and different colors and stuff. So it was all the things were fun. It was kind of like Takedo plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. Though. It was just fun. Played the Nightmare Cathedral, which is a game by what's his name? The artist. Something Bashevsky?
Yes, Bashinsky.
Bashinsky, that's what it is. Who makes this very creepy art, makes you very uncomfortable.
Existential dread
Yes,
kind
just
of
like
art.
that's not what Notre Dame's supposed to look like.
no,
And so you are. This is kind of an area control game where you have these action cards and you are putting out like your followers out and you're trying to build the Nightmare Cathedral.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the game, like kind of like one of like essentially like the old ones, kind.
Yeah.
They're not
the
Cthulhu.
nightmares that are based on this
Yes.
art.
Come out, and then you kind of want your followers to get devoured by them, which is kind of interesting. I feel like I liked this game a lot more than
did
you
not
did.
like it that much,
Yeah,
no.
you didn't really like it. I thought it was interesting. Your cards that have the actions on them, you can upgrade throughout the game, and then you can upgrade them where like they actually start doing different stuff. It's not like we all have the same upgrades. I actually, despite the theme didn't really do much for me. I'm not really into like horror themes like this.
Yeah.
I actually liked it a decent amount. You didn't really like it that much.
I think this game, you know, because we were playing a prototype and stuff, and it's probably gonna get more polished, and it even got polished in the time that we had, and we got upgraded versions of the Nightmares. It just wasn't complete yet, and it wasn't Kickstarter and stuff, so of course it's not complete. So I'd be curious to try the fully complete game and see what's going on.
I think some of the crew out here got it.
What's that?
I think some of the crew out here got it.
Okay, cool.
So I think we'll get a chance to try it.
Yeah, because like I mean the art and stuff was like really interesting and all that, and so I'm just curious to see like what it's done when it's finished and how they kind of round out some of those things.
And the cool thing is like they can tell you like have this nightmare and this nightmare playing because it'll be this kind of game. This nightmare and this will be this kind of game.
That a lot.
Which was really cool. I actually liked it much more than I was expecting to.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, Mike's wrong.
I can be wrong.
Mike, no, thanks.
No, thanks.
Great.
It's an anti-bidding game. We're going to have cards like 33. That'd be 33 points. You do not want points. And so a very high card like that, I think 35 is the highest card. You have these little black, like little resources, and what you can do is if you don't want that card, you can throw a resource on and say, no thanks, and it passes to the player to your left.
No thanks.
If they don't want it, they'll throw a little chit down and then pass to the player on their left. Eventually, someone might decide, I'm going to take this card, because if you take the card, you get all the resources on it, which are basically negative points for you, which are good, and they also help you avoid taking other high cards. But if you have something like a 33, you now have 33 points. But if a 32 comes out and you get that, you get to cover your 33, and now 33 is 32. And you can run that all the way down if you make a successful run of cards, and you can reduce the harm that there is and stuff. But if someone ever doesn't have resources, they have to take a card. Yeah. So you're just kind of messing with people, and it's just a great anti-bidding game. You're bidding to not take a thing. It's beautiful and simple. This game is wonderful, classic for a reason.
Yeah, it's
really
a classic for a reason. It's super good. It's very fun.
It's so fun. The Game of Why.
I played the Game of Why. This is a game that Matthew brought out when he came out here during the summer, and it was this interesting game where you can see this board. It's like this triangular board, and you basically
wooden board.
It's kind of one of those games where they have this board, and you can play like a couple different games on this board.
Okay.
So we played the game of Y, where basically you're trying to make a Y because you want a line of your pieces, either black or white, to touch all three sides of the board.
I see.
So go here, here, and then there.
An unbroken line. It can wind.
Yes. If you touch a corner, you're touching both those sides, and so you're constantly just trying to block each other and get in each other's way. And it was really, really fun because there were so many times where I was like, oh, I'm screwed. There's no way I can stop Matthew. And then I was like, oh, I can put this here, and I was able to stop him. And then he got to the point where he was like, oh crap, I can't stop Nick. And then we kind of go this back and forth, and this is such a Matthew game, very much so.
100%.
Really fun. Again, it's very simple. You put down a piece. That's what you do in your turn. That's the whole game. Try and touch three sides. It's one of those crazy simple abstract games. That was really fun. The boards are it comes like a cloth bag. It's like a very pretty game.
Nice.
Really fun, but you're just trying to get your pieces to touch all three sides in an unbroken chain. That's how you win the game. It's really fun.
Boom.
Game of Why. Shouts out to Matthew.
Game of Why. Paleo.
Paleo.
Whoa. Right there. Whoa. Paleo. We played that copy of Paleo. This is a game. It's a cooperative kind of survival game. Got some. It's got some Robinson Crusoe vibes, but less brutal. You're kind of dealing with things. What you're doing is you're uncovering cards on your turn. We're all sort of playing and uncovering our own different cards. And what you can see on the back will give you like an idea of what you might run into, but you don't know what's on the other side. So you're kind of like trying to make sure you have a crew ready to like fight if it's like an animal or something, and dealing with stuff, gaining resources. And you're trying to ultimately complete these 5 sections of a painting, and based on which scenario you're playing, you will have different ways that you achieve that. You're trying to do that before you die out. This was really fun. I really enjoyed the kind of, me too, the cooperative survival. There's a little bit of kind of storyness to it, where it's like you have a choice to do this or that, and we did like one thing, we're like, oh man, we're bad people, we're monsters, we got punished by the game. I was like, good. We should be punished, because we were hunting mammoths and stuff like that. So I really enjoy this game, and I want to play more because there's a bunch of scenarios,
tons of them,
and things to explore.
That's cool. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
Okay.
I'd be lying, Nick, if I said I didn't need to pee. I'd be lying.
We could take a break for a second.
Let's take a break for a second.
You want to take it? Let's talk about Paradox Initiative.
Okay,
first.
Paradox Initiative.
Then we're going to take a quick break because I also need to pee.
This is a game that you are trying to collect kind of sets of cards. These 3 cards were like different planets and stuff. And you have this like grid of tokens, and you're trying to arrange it. It was a very interesting, ultimately difficult spatial puzzle to get the right things lined up to allow you to take these cards. And this game was ultimately, I think it's a redo of I think the Paradox. A redo of the game where they basically got a bunch of different board game artists, like every kind of known board game artist contributed to this game.
Pretty much, yeah.
In a way, and my main thing with it was like the art was like so within when you're playing, like an afterthought of
Yeah.
like you don't get to see it very much. You're not focusing on it because you're focusing on this grid. And I was like, why have all these artists? I don't even get to look at their art in the game. So I
Yeah.
was like, I was bummed out by it. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
the
game
why?
was fun.
Like,
The
I'm
game
like,
was fun, but the whole
I don't get to
kinda-
do the thing that's the point.
the whole gimmick of like each planet a different artist had, and it was really,
And it was
really
every
cool.
artist kind of take on
And
like
that just, like,
aliens and stuff.
Didn't matter at all, and
Yeah,
it was
I was
just kind of
bummed.
the game itself was fun, but
Yeah.
like that whole part, I was just like, man, I feel like they were really banking on that part of it.
Yeah, and it just
and
didn't-
like it just didn't matter at all.
Nah.
But the game itself was fun. I'm like, I kind of wish they'd focus more on like the game than like this whole art, because they had all these art reveals.
Yeah.
Every day a new artist got revealed. I was like, this is a cool
I
concept.
just wish it was a more impactful part of the game.
Yeah, they
like
just
literally, when you get a
didn't-
set collect, you flip it face down. I'm like, I can't even like look at the art
Yeah,
that
it
I
was-
just made a panorama of.
But the
What's
game
the
itself
point?
was fun, honestly. But yeah,
Yeah.
the
Fun game that missed the mark on what it was trying to
that
do.
part was very odd. Okay, fam, we are 2.5 hours in. 1 minute. Gosh, hopefully we're close to halfway. We'll start speeding up, especially in the second half. We're gonna go to the bathroom real quick because we're doing this live
Yeah,
and we have to go to the bathroom.
live.
So
Give a thumb up while you wait.
we'll be right back. Listen to some
Talk,
good little
talk
music
smack
here.
in the chat to us.
Stop talking crappy butts.
Oh, we lost our progress.
Gosh, where were what we just talked about? Oh,
We just talked about Paradox Initiative. We're good. We're good. We're
Where
good.
is it?
Oh, it's no.
We're back.
Wait.
There's Party Planner. Okay, here.
There we go. Who didn't think about that?
Wow, didn't even think about that.
This will be fine.
We're fine.
Listen, Party Planner, Prepare for Happiness is from Dutch Yoda, who I think was popped up in chat earlier.
Hi, Dutch.
This is a roll and flip and fill, I should say. Game where you are trying to...
Successful Kickstarter is what this was, Mike.
Successful Kickstarter. It's a little print and play Kickstarter. Yes,
great.
I was so stoked that Dutch Yoda did this. It's a game where you're preparing for a party, and you are trying to build out routes, as you can see right there, between the different houses and stuff like that.
Yep.
There's different maps and stuff that will produce different challenges with navigating the map, even going onto the moon.
The moon.
And you're trying to get resources.
Party
and
on the moon, guys.
Oh, dude, party on the moon. And it's a great little flip and fill where you're getting resources and things like that to use and prepare for that party.
It's fun, yeah. I love the concept. You're prepping a party, going around
getting all
grabbing
the
stuff.
goods and stuff.
It's great. Dutch Yoda,
So
you rock.
Dutch, shouts out to Dutch for making it. I think it's so cool, and I'm glad that you ran a little Kickstarter and had some success with that.
Dutch, if it's anywhere, I think you were going to put it on like Penny Arcade or something like that. Put it in the chat if you can go get it.
Yeah.
Smart. We've been playing it by Praise B. It's only second Praise B. I guess he didn't have
It's only
the
the second new Praise
Sure.
B. Yeah.
Praise B by Praise B by
Walker
Planted. Yep. So Planted is Praise B's version of a drafting game. He did this at summer camp where it's kind of like an intro to deck building games. Yeah. Planted is kind of an intro to drafting games where you are drafting out house plants and you are trying to give them like food and sun and water.
There's like resources that you will get that are like, that you'll feed to those plants. You can go once around and add a plant to your little tableau.
You're trying to grow that plant to get points.
There's like little tool cards that will give you like 2 water if you ever get a water. So there's a little bit of engine building there, and then some decorations which will be end game scoring based on the types of plants you have. Really fun, really beautiful art, and an appealing one. Liked it a lot.
Praise be.
Praise be to Phil. Next we have It's Coming Right Now. It's Poetry for Neanderthals. This is a fun game where you are basically going to have a card and you're going to try to get people to guess what the word is, but you can only use single syllable words. So, me hit ball, far, bat, might be
baseball.
There you go. Shape, run, fast, field,
shape, run,
close, catch,
what?
First,
base,
third.
Base.
Yeah, it might be like baseball diamond or something.
Oh,
It'll be like,
I got you.
And so you get that, and you get this little stick so you can whack people with it if they use a multi-syllable word. It's just a really fun party game.
Yeah, it's a good look at. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Play Power Core. This unfortunately was a Kickstarter that went to Kickstarter.
Another one that the campaign did not
canceled it, unfortunately. This is a game, they wanted to make multiple sets. This one is based off of Call of Cthulhu, but it's this game where you have these cards and you have power cores, and the power cores essentially are like how many times you can like use the card.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I actually liked the system. Yeah. We don't really care about Cthulhu, and this is specifically Call of Cthulhu. So they have this like Cthulhu base, and I think they expected that to be like a really big thing that grabbed people.
And it did
not seem to do so. So I do hope they bring this back. Maybe with the Call of Cthulhu or not, I don't really care about that. But it's like they were planning on doing multiple different sets with like different IPs and different themes or whatever. Yeah. And I thought it was a cool system that like, at least for the Cthulhu thing didn't matter to us, but I thought it was a cool card-playing game. I thought it was good. And
there's like almost like a smash-up quality where I think the idea would be that you could eventually smash up 2 things from different sets together to create this cool like synergistic combo of things. I think it'd be cool. For us, just could not care less about the Cthulhu theme.
But it was
would love it if there was just like, I don't know, myth and legend characters.
The game itself was fine though, but they have pulled the Kickstarter unfortunately.
Yeah.
We played Pulsar 2849 finally.
Yes. We're playing this again in a couple weeks as well.
Yeah.
And this is a Vladimir Suki game that we'd heard so much good stuff about. We had it forever, for years and years and years. We had this game and just had not played it. And then I got like really like built up in my head about it. Like, oh, I don't know. I think it's this big, super heavy game. It's going to be hard to learn and blah, blah, blah. And then it was ultimately like a Vladimir Suki game. It's not a light game, but it was ultimately like not that hard to understand. It was really enjoyable. And I'm like, man, why didn't we play this before? Building these pulsars and using energy and stuff like that.
Really fun.
We need to play it again to really kind of sink in like all the stuff you're doing and certainly get better at the game.
Yeah.
But if you like Vladimir Suki games and stuff like Underwater Cities or Woodcraft, which we talked about earlier, you'll probably like this one. It certainly, at least for us, we're like, yep, it's another game that we really enjoyed by Vladimir.
It was really good. Really, really fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Played Radlands, and again, this is a game that we need to play some more because I feel like we just don't get this game.
I think so, but we were talking about this on stream the other day, and then some people were saying that, like, no, everything we're saying about the game, because we always feel like you're really restricted for how many cards you can have, and the resources are tight. And people are saying, like, no, that's just that game. And they're saying, like, I don't think it's going to be your game. And I think I'm now at the conclusion, I'm still going to play it some more. Yeah. I think I'm at the conclusion, I'm like, I just don't think this is my game.
It's possible.
I just don't like it that much.
I want to like it, though.
It's too hard to get cards into your hand. I'm like, I want to play the cards and do the cool stuff, and the water and the resources are so tight that I feel limited. I'm like, well, I'm here to like blow stuff up, so I want to be able to do more of that. And I feel like the game just makes it too hard to do
it's
it.
tough. Oh, hi, Pippin.
I love the theme.
we got jealous Doge.
Dogs out here.
We've got the Rival Networks. This is the two-player version of the Networks, which is one of our favorite games. I love the Networks. And this one is similar in theme, but actually plays quite differently, where you're getting these shows out, and you're putting them in different time slots. You're trying to get viewers. Viewers are going to be your points in this game. And you are getting different stars to put onto those shows, which will give you more viewers. You're getting ads. Ads will give you money, which will give you network cards. It's a good little two-player version of it. It plays very, very fast, which is nice. If you're kind of like, oh man, I want to play the Networks, but I don't want to have a full game, we can play the Rival Networks with 2 players. I think it's a good little game.
Yeah, it's a cool little game.
Yeah, I still like the Networks much more.
Absolutely.
It's a full game, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Rumble Nation's here twice. We already talked about that.
My God.
Happened. Oh, my Lord. Russian Railroads, though. Literally don't know how that happened. Russian Railroads, a game we finally got to play. It's a worker placement game with this like insane ramp up that they talk about, where in the first round you might score like 4 points, in the last round you might score like 85 or 90 or over 100 points, and it's true.
It's nuts.
You basically have these 3 tracks, and you're building up trains on them and working your way down the track to be able to ship more and more valuable materials down. And based on how far you kind of move down those tracks and how much your train can kind of like hold, I think, or how far it can go, you will produce more and more kind of points. There's kind of a track along the bottom that you can get points on and add things to get different bonuses and stuff. There's these like specialists you can get, these engineers, a whole bunch of stuff. It's super duper fun.
Yeah,
it just
I like it. I want to play it again really bad.
It ramps up so hard. We did not play the Ultimate Edition, Ultimate Railroads, but we probably will pick it up at someday. But it's like $120.
It's very good.
It's expensive.
We played Scoville.
Scoville
at the very end of the year. We played this on my birthday, and I wish we had given me a better birthday present.
Yeah, me too. It was
Scoville was okay. It was fine.
I know. So we broke hearts when we talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
We
People
like,
really like this game.
I love this game. I do not.
None of us liked it.
I don't get it. Maybe we missed the window on playing it. Maybe if we had played it when we first saw it like 4 years ago.
This is a game where you're making peppers and you're trying to make hotter and hotter peppers. Yeah. Scoville units are how they measure the heat of peppers. And you were trying to make bigger peppers, not bigger, hotter peppers to fulfill these wine orders. Mary is trying to lick my hand as I'm talking. You're trying to fulfill these, not wine orders. Gosh, Mary, you distract me. Yeah. You're trying to fulfill these contracts, and you're going to want like 1 red pepper, 1 yellow pepper, and 1 purple pepper. And then you have this field where you're planting these peppers, and then you're moving your person around, and you're gathering peppers as you go.
All working in the same field.
Yeah, but then if you have like a green, a red, and a yellow pepper, when you walk past that one, you'll grab an orange pepper, because yellow and red.
The color mixing
orange.
is neat, yeah.
It's a very cool concept that none of us really liked. It's also super not colorblind friendly. Yeah. One of our good friends, Crook, is very colorblind, and he had a very difficult time playing this game. It was very hard for him.
Yeah, it just feels like a game that was made 8 years ago, because it was.
It felt old. It felt like this needs a second version that I think needs to have some updated
and maybe Mary, there's no end to the amount that they will lick.
Yes, I know. It's okay.
Yeah, but it was just one that I'm like, nah, we're cool. It just went on too long. Like by the end of the game, all of us were like, please, can someone complete any contract so we can get out of this game? And then the game went like 4 more rounds.
Yeah, it was not good.
We played Sea Salt and Paper. This is a game that uses awesome origami art and to do set collection stuff. You're ultimately going to want to collect sets of like 2 crabs or like a shark and a swimmer and fun things like that. Or like, I think clams, you just want to get as many clams as you can. The more, the better. But there's a few different types where if you collect a pair of them, they're worth 1 point. They're not that valuable, but they give you a special action you can do. We can steal stuff from other players, take a second turn, things like that. And what's really fun is you're trying to assemble a hand of points of stuff that's in front of you and in your hand. If you have 7 or more, you could choose to end the round. But when you choose matters, and how you choose matters, because you can do a risky version where you get maybe high reward, but if people beat you, you get punished. And you're trying to score points that way. It's really fun with beautiful art.
Yeah,
such
cool art. Really, really cool art.
Yeah.
The tongue has to come out. Yeah, Mary just licks the air in front of your face. Yeah, very, very cool. The Search Planet X, we finally played. This is on our shelf of shame for a long time. This has become just one of my favorite games. This is a deduction game where you are trying to find Planet X. You have this big circular board that has a bunch of different areas of space, and in those spaces there's going to be, for the most part, something. It could be like asteroids or comets, and basically everything works around a series of rules. Like asteroids have to be next to at least one other asteroid. Comets can only be in these certain sectors. Gas clouds have to be next to an open area with nothing in it.
Yeah.
Planet X cannot be next to a dwarf planet. And so you are getting this information of like, hey, this sector has a comet there. You're like, okay, cool. Well, that means if the comet's there, that means it can't be over here. And so that means this has to be this. And so you're just deducing where it is. It's really, really fun. I really like to play this game solo. I really only have any interest in playing it solo because otherwise you're kind of having a race element. And I like the race element in the solo game because you're playing against like the app essentially. And it works really well, but I don't feel like the same pressure I feel if I'm playing against like normal human opponents. I really like Search Planet X. I think it's so freaking outstanding.
It's so satisfying when you start to put together the puzzle. There's just like, that thing is so delicious. So good. Search for Planet X was worth the wait for sure. Love that game.
Yeah, so good. My gosh.
Yeah. I played Set a Watch with Slivers, who's been in chat off and on. This is a game where you are collectively trying to fight through like a line of monsters using your skills. And then there must be someone that stay back at camp, and you can do kind of a couple like worker placement spot things to kind of keep things going. This was a tough co-op game, and it was fun to kind of work through this line of, you kind of get the like your people in a line and the other people, and they're going to kind of attack the first person in front of them, or they might be able to attack with a range and attack something back behind that person. So it worked really well. It was kind of fun and interesting. You're rolling dice ultimately, so you're a little bit beholden to like what you roll and everything, but I did enjoy what you were doing in the game, and you sort of play in the box a little bit as well for some of those worker placement spots. So it was interesting. Yeah, it was an interesting game.
We played Sherlock Holmes Case Connection. It's my Lucky Duck game. This is a game that's not great.
It's not good. It's not good, but it's a mass market kind of. You're ultimately trying to put down cards and stuff to make these little connections, which generate these resources, which are you like putting together the mystery,
the case.
It's just very much like a you're slapping on the IP. People like Sherlock, they'll get this game, they'll play it a couple times.
As we've said, at least it's a game. Like it's a real game. Yeah. The game itself is not like horrible. It's just not great, but it's an actual game. It's like a lot of mass market games in the past were just like Candyland, where there's no choices. You're just doing whatever, and that's nothing. At least you're actually doing some stuff with strategy. I just don't think it's great, and I wish they had taken like the Sherlock theme and done more
dynamic with it. But it's a game that's easy to get into and understand, and it's just not. Yeah, it's not anything. Oh, see, people mentioned that Nick was wearing a beanie, but called it a toque, and therefore the toque has come off.
I refuse.
You took the toque out of this stream.
We played the Slay the Spire, the board game, which Slay the Spire, if you don't know, is a video game that's basically it's just a deck builder. It's kind of already a deck building board game. But they made a board game out of it that we both really, really enjoyed. We both really love Slay the Spire. I do think if you like Slay the Spire, this is going to help. I don't think you necessarily have to. But this is a game where you're doing Slay the Spire stuff. You're deck building. You're all different characters like the Silent or the Ironclad or something like that. And you're going up the spires. It's very, very similar to Slay the Spire, the video game.
You're working collectively.
But now you're working in a co-op game. Mm-hmm. And it really does feel co-op where you're like, oh, I'm going to hit this and put vulnerable on this enemy. Now you hit it and okay, cool. And you just kind of go through it. I really enjoyed it. I really want to keep playing this game. I want to play this game with our other friends who love Slay the Spire as much as we do. We only had the first act to play with, but after we played the first act, we were both like, God, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I like what's going on here.
It got built up a little bit.
It's super fun. I like it a lot. I'm really excited to get it eventually because I really enjoyed it quite a bit.
I fully agree. Yeah, really fun. Really, really fun. I played a game of Small Islands from Lucky Duck and Mushroom Games there. This is a game where it's kind of got some Carcassonne-ness where you're going to be putting out tiles and building out kind of like islands and water between them. You have to make the landscape make sense. And then the islands will have different kind of resources and things that you can basically claim to achieve certain objectives and stuff. I played against an AI opponent, and there's all these different levels of difficulty in the solo, and I got like whooped on, or I think barely won, and I was on like the easy level. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. But it's really fun to kind of put together different islands to try to acquire these different icons, these different kind of like flowers and stuff. So if you like that kind of game, I think this one's fun. It feels like kind of Carcassonne Plus in a really good way.
Cool, yeah. I want to try that one. Haven't had a chance to play it yet. We played Disney Smash Up. Smash Up is one of our least favorite games. It just is. I don't think any Smash Up anything is ever, as much as I love like Lord of the Rings, I don't think that would change it. Just this concept. Here's the thing: Smash Up is not the worst game I've ever played. But the thing about Smash Up is I love the concept of Smash Up so much. And the game itself has always just been a disappointment where you take one faction of anything, take another faction of anything, and you smash them together, and that's your deck of cards. And I just do not like this game. We've played it so many different times. We played it at different player counts, played different versions, different factions. I've really disliked it every single time. And this one did not change it.
Yeah, this game does the thing where it's like, it's definitely aimed at, like, something like this is Disney Smash Up is aimed at, like, mass markets, and it's too convoluted, it's too confusing, and there's way too many things that are not clear based on the cards, and it's just, I'm like, who's this for? Like, I struggle with understanding, like, how is this card supposed to work? What is someone going to do who's never played a board game before? How are they going to possibly understand? I'm not saying I'm like all that genius or whatever, but there's just too many things that are left unclear, too many edge cases and stuff. I'm like, it just does not work for us.
I'm
stoked that it's been so successful for so long, but like there's nothing in the world that would make this game good for us.
I'm hyped for the people who like it because they keep getting more and more content for it. That's so great. It is one of my least favorite games, if not my least favorite game. I really dislike Smash Up. I want to like it so badly, but I think that's why I like it so little is because I want to like it,
too, but
and I just
not happening.
Don't. So. Yeah, just really don't.
Yeah.
Played Stay Cool. This is by Scorpion Mask. This is a fun, very chaotic, very stressful game where you are doing stuff and you are having two questions and two things happening to you.
You're having to multitask.
You're having to multitask. You're having to do something physical where you are solving the little puzzle stuff. While you're doing that, people are asking you questions. So you're having to do something physical while trying to answer verbally, and it just breaks your brain.
There's a question that you have to answer using dice with letters on them. So you have to spell it. It's a 4-letter word.
Yes.
And you have to answer verbally the other questions, but they're all getting fired at you at the same time. And you're trying to get through as much stuff as you can in a very short period of time. It's super fun.
Super fun.
And then with each level that you go through, it gets harder and harder, more restrictive and stuff. It's just a really silly, unique game of just like, do all the stuff at the same time. Good luck. You know?
It's silly fun. Like it. I don't even play it too often, but every once in a while, it's great.
Yeah. It's wild. Fireborn says, would you rather be stranded on a desert island with Smash Up, Nick, or the original Terraforming Mars without expansions? Tough.
I love Terraforming Mars.
There you go.
I like Ares Expedition significantly more, but I still really like Terraforming Mars.
Got him.
We played Stockpile. Shouts out to Howie. We got to play this with our good friend Howie.
Board Game Dave.
And Board Game Dave. And at PAX Unplugged. Always want to play Stockpile. This is a game where you are buying up stocks, and the stocks are going up and down. You have some insider information. So you're like, oh, I'm going to buy this stock because I know it's about to go up. And you are bidding for like essentially kind of like stacks of cards, which are going to be like stocks. It might have some actions on them and stuff like that. And it was really, really fun. We played more or less just the base game, and it made me really excited to like hopefully get the game someday, get some of the expansions because there's just like so many different ways to play this game. I thought it was just as a stock market game, which are generally not my favorite kinds of games. This one was absolutely outstanding, and we've always heard that it's outstanding. And I'm like, oh, it's good
because this is a stock market game that doesn't get into all the math and stuff of like an 18xx game or whatever.
It's buying stocks, and you have the insider information like, oh, this one's about to crash. I'm gonna start selling off this steel because it's not gonna be good.
Yeah,
and it's really, really fun. I like it a lot.
Really fun game, really fun. We played Sink or Swim.
One of the most surprising games I've ever played in my life.
It was, because you look at this, I'm not going to lie, look at this cover, and it does not inspire any kind of confidence at all in that, like, oh, this is going to be great. This is a game about synchronized swimming, but really it's about, what do we compare it to? Doesn't matter. The point is, you're going to have, like, a real-time, you're going to have timers and stuff, and you're going to have to play certain cards, like certain colors, and different kind of features and things.
You have rules that you have to follow.
You have rules that you must follow, and you're going to go through, and that's completing a part of the routine.
Yes.
And if you get that done, great. And then you'll go on to the next round. We're going to have to do all that and more stuff. And it kind of keeps getting more and more. So you have to do more and more and more in the same amount of time. And if you fail, you get a little bit more time to complete that challenge and stuff like that. And this was fun. The one that was just really fun because based on your cards, you're sort of saying like, I'm going to handle this, you can handle that. And then you have to like click it and you have to go and try to do all these things.
It was
draw cards. So
really fun.
Very frantic and stuff. We played a 4-player game. It was really actually quite a good time. Trying to like complete these things, not you completing a synchronized swimming routine, completely abstract and stuff, but it was actually a really fun game.
Fun. It was shockingly fun.
I was shocked. I was like, this is gonna be okay. And they played. I'm like, no, this is actually, we're like laughing our butts off. I was like, this is really great.
You played Tapple, the most popular game on the planet.
Tapple. Yeah, apparently, yeah. One person on TikTok does it. And blows
love
up.
Tapple. Good for the op. They're like, cool, we just made $10 million by selling Tapple.
Of all, yeah, this is an old game from 2012 or whatever. So Tapple's a game where you're going to have like a prompt of like office supplies. And as you can see on that little thing, there's a bunch of letters. And if something's not flipped down, that letter is available. You have to name an office supply that starts with one of the letters that has not been chosen before. So if S is available, I could go like stapler and you click down S. No one else can use S now. And it's kind of a hot potato where you can push the little button in the center and that resets the timer. But if ever it's your turn, the timer runs out, you're out of the game and you move on and on. So it's just a really fun kind of party word association kind of think of something quick on your feet game. I really enjoyed it. It's really fun for like a big group, and we were at an office, not an office, but like a holiday party that the op was putting on. We played it there with a bunch of people. And I was like, this is the exact perfect setting for this game. Yeah. You're just yelling out different things. We were saying like, that's not that or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Really fun game.
Yeah, I want to play it. Sounds great.
I liked it.
Sounds great. But Terra Nova, this is kind of like the intro to Terra Mystica. I feel like more and more games are doing this, which I kind of like. There's like the new intro to Spirit Island now with the Horizon Spirit Island. Terra Nova, again, it's kind of a lighter version of Terra Mystica, where you are essentially trying to terraform whatever your faction wants it to be.
It can only exist on one type of land.
Exactly. So you're trying to terraform the area to do that, and you are kind of unlocking stuff on your board. And there's a whole bunch of different factions, which is cool, and they all work a little bit differently. They have special powers. It's also nice because all of them have kind of like an A side and a B side, so you can kind of start off on the A side. I thought it was really fun, and I've always wanted to play Terra Mystica, and this made me want to play Terra Mystica even more now.
Yeah, because it very much tells you like this is like Terra Mystica in this way, and this is how it changes. So it's getting you ready for Terra Mystica.
It's cool. And so what we're planning on doing this year is we've already played Terra Nova, then we're going to play Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, and we're going to do like a video comparing the three and kind of talking about them from people who have never played any of them. So Terra Nova was cool though. I liked it quite a bit.
I think it set the stage well.
Yeah, played Thunder Road Vendetta.
Yes, Thunder Road Vendetta is awesome.
I love it so much. Oh my god.
This is on Kickstarter this last year. We played a prototype of this from Restoration Games. OG sponsored Daddy. This is a game where you're racing, and ultimately you want to win the race, but you're also able to shoot at each other and blow each other up and have helicopters come in and do damage and stuff like that. There's ways that you can crash and fly off the edge of the map and your car just explodes. And you have like a small, medium, and large car. And what's kind of fun is you're rolling this dice to do combat. And if you're a large vehicle, there's more faces on the dice that will hit a large car because it's a bigger target. A small car is harder to hit, but it's usually less powerful in terms of doing attacks and stuff like that. So you are rolling out dice to give yourself a certain amount of movement. You can stack on top of each other, which then it causes a collision. And then someone, based on that, either the top car or the bottom car is going to go off to the side or go backward. So it's just chaos. Things can cascade into each other. It's really fun. A really fun way to do a racing game where you're just like shooting at each other.
I thought it was so much fun.
It's really fun.
I had such a good time playing it. I loved it. Loved it. We played Times of Title Recall. This game has been made a billion different times. Times of Title Recall is you have a big group of people and everyone has a partner that's directly across from them. And there's going to be all sorts of titles. There'll be books, movies, songs, TV shows, all this different kind of stuff. And at first you're trying to get them to guess it, be like, da-da-da, you give them clues and they guess it and then you move on to the next one. And then once all the cards have gone through, you will review the cards and then you go to the second round where you can only say one word. So you say one word and then that's all they get. And then you kind of go through, once you go through all again, then we go to the third round where now you can only do charades. Charades and maybe like sounds.
Yeah, you can hum and
you can hum, like that. And that's it. And it's just a classic game that you've probably played before. And it's so much fun, and it's so good because you get so many inside jokes within the game itself that happen because someone messes something up and it becomes this ongoing joke throughout the game. Where we had one where the clue was Jetsons, but I think I actually said the Jeffersons, and so then all the clues for Jetsons became about the show The Jeffersons, even though that's not what we were talking about, but that's what was the inside joke, and it was just
it
so
still gets
much
you to
fun.
The answer,
It's very, very good. Times of Title Recall is a classic for a reason.
Bob says this game is so stressful to me. It's very group dependent. I think it's fantastic. Takedo Duo, 2-player version of Takedo. That is okay.
It's okay. It's different
not great.
At least.
It's very different than Takedo because you have these like 3 characters and you're going to choose one of them to move based on their die. And you can draft that die and they have to move a certain way in a certain amount and they all want to do different things. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we've never been too enamored with Takedo in general. Played Too Many Cooks. This is a game with Matthew Braun. Hi, Pippin. It's a game that Matthew brought out. This is a Runner Knizia trick-taking game.
Yep, where you're putting stuff into a soup.
Putting stuff into a soup, and you're trying to not put chilies in there because chilies will ruin the soup.
Yeah.
And you're essentially every round you're choosing basically like what you're going to score, like onion soup or mushroom soup or like pea soup, and everyone can score essentially each one once. And so it's kind of one of the things where like, okay, I think I'm gonna be the only one scoring mushroom soup, so I'm gonna try and collect these tricks with a bunch of mushroom cards, but then people can like throw chilies in there and it messes up your whole soup. It was really, really fun. It's finally getting a reprint now.
Yeah.
Because it's been like
very
out of print for
exciting.
like a decade or so.
And it'd be cool because this art is okay, but it definitely needs better art. But
it's just
fun,
old, right? Yeah.
It's just old. And so I think it'll be really cool because this whole thing of like, you want to be the person to bring the collective value of what you played above 10.
Yes.
To be able to collect all the cards that are in there, but you can play boiled down, which basically brings it back down to 0.
So sometimes you can collect so many cards.
Yeah, but that might be good or bad because if you're doing mushroom, people threw chilies in and ruin the flavor profile of the soup. Now you're like, oh, this kind of sucks.
Unless you played the chili soup and then you want the chilies.
You want to have
and
that,
it's
yeah.
like,
So it's really fun.
It's so good. It's really, really fun. I'm really glad it's getting a reprint.
Yeah.
Play Tales of Tucana. This is a roll and write game where you're making like paths. You're trying to connect things on your board.
Yeah,
right?
you're basically gonna have like cards that will show like different landscapes, and you have to like connect those two things with a little pathway, and you're kind of trying to get to the various villages around the town. And kind of encounter like the birds and monsters and stuff like that. It's really fun, kind of like standard like roll and write kind of game.
Yeah, it's a very roll and write kind of game, and it's good. It's a good one. I don't think it's outstanding because it's been kind of just done before.
We're kind of at a point now with like roll and writes where it's like if you're gonna do something, you better do something like really interesting.
Yeah.
This is like very much
it's like
pretty standard roll.
It's not that different from like Explorers or a lot of other games like this. So it's like it's good, but it's nothing new. But it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Not new.
We played Treasure Island, a game that I have wanted to play for so long, and man, oh man, was this game not great.
Not great. No. We had heard that. We'd heard when it first came out there, like some people were saying like, yeah, it's okay.
It's such a cool concept.
It's super gimmicky because you have like basically you're trying to find like where this treasure is, and one person is whoever Blackbeard, and they hid the treasure somewhere on these maps on this island, this map with these islands and stuff. And you can use like all sorts of things to put like a compass down. You can draw a big circle with markers you're drawing onto the board and saying like, is it here? And it's like yes or no. And there's some like bluffing to it and everything. It's cool because you're all drawing on the map. But it's just really, that gimmick is really what it is, and there's nothing else to it. It's kind of just like, oh, it's not really much of a game here or a great game. The gimmicks are fun, but like we played it like 4 years after it came out, and I was like, oh man, yeah, like this maybe would have been great to have played when it first came out. And been like,
I would have first came out, people were like, this is such a cool concept, and then
then we were kind of like, it's not that great of a game,
and it's got vintage trait art. You see the cover is like absolutely gorgeous. It's very cool. It's a cool concept, but I really didn't like it.
Like, nah, it's not that good.
We played Trek in the World, and then I'm guessing Trek to National Parks is right after
Yeah,
this?
so we have Trekking the World. You can let this play a little bit. Trekking the World, Trek National Parks, and Trekking the World and National Parks Trivia are these 4 games. So all these games here. So Trekking the World and Trekking the National Parks are similar, where you're basically kind of playing cards out to route your way around to different kind of like famous locations on Earth, like the Eiffel Tower and things like that. And you're sort of kind of like Ticket to Riding it in terms of like moving around. You're sort of collecting, I think, cards and stuff, or these tokens that are like showing you having visited these places. There's some set collection element with certain things you can pick up while you're going around the board. Trekking the National Parks is also similar, where you're trying to go to different national parks around. You're collecting these like little stones along the way. And they're interesting, like really light family weight games. And Trekking the World in particular is super beautiful,
really
like,
pretty,
really well produced. Then now it's like trekking through time, which seems even cooler. And I've heard like really good things. I was talking to Atlas here in chat last night about it. It's like actually seems like a really great game.
Yeah,
these are super solid like family weight games where you can say like it's Ticket to Ride-ish in terms of like how you play your cards to allow you to move and things. And
they each kind of have a trivia game that you can also get, which is just trivia about national parks, trivia about the world. They're
really fun
for
games.
family games. They were great,
really
absolutely great for family games.
So shouts out to those games.
Tell you, Turing Machine, Mike loves Turing Machine. So do I. I like it a lot. Mikey freaking loves Turing Machine.
It's
a
so
game
good.
where you're
Pure deduction.
Pure deduction. You're trying to find a 3-number sequence, like 5, 2, 1.
I like it.
And you have these modifiers around that are basically going to tell you they're
going to give you like rules that the code follows.
So like basically you have one that says like blue is either going to be more or less than yellow, and in your sequence if blue is like 2 and yellow is 1, that means blue is more than yellow. So when you test that, what do they call, not modifiers, what do they call
Verifiers.
Verifiers, that's what it is. You test that verifier, you are testing if blue is more than yellow, and it'll either tell you yes or no. If it says yes, you're like, okay, so blue is more than yellow. That means blue cannot be 1, because that means there'll be no way for blue to be more than yellow.
That would break
and
the
so you're
rules.
testing these different verifiers and deducing what this sequence of 3 numbers is. And it is so freaking good. Kind of like Black Sonata, which we talked about like 3 hours ago. I don't know how the game works, but it's really freaking cool.
But it super does.
It's so good.
It's great pure deduction.
Oh my gosh, it's good.
Yeah, it's really,
And
really
you can play
fun.
solo. This is a game where like you're technically trying to get it before anyone else. I don't care. I just want to get the puzzle done. I like playing this game solo. We have in our Discord channel, which I think there's a link down in our Discord, we have a daily challenge, because there's a daily challenge for this, kind of like the Wordle.
So people talk about how they did.
Every day people are putting how quickly they got into the daily
called
challenge.
the turtle. We call it the turtle.
Call the turtle, the Turing Machine turtle. It's so much fun, Turing Machine. If you like pure deduction, this game, Search Planet X, we talked about a little bit ago, absolutely outstanding.
This game's incredible.
Absolutely outstanding.
Love it so much.
So Dum Dum Fuego Fuego Dum Dum
So
good.
amazing.
Yeah. Play Turtle Splash, same
Turtle
game.
Splash. It's a kids game. It's from the Lucky Duck Kids line, where
You kind of get 3 sequences of animals. You have verifiers. You test the animals. Is
it the hippo? Yeah, you are trying to basically find all your friends.
Crocodile kind of.
It uses like a crocodile thing where you have a turtle who's late to the party, so they're trying to find all their friends for the swimming party that they have, and they're going to come down this little ramp. You're going to flick the turtle disc down the ramp and hopefully land in the lake. And depending on how close to the center you get, you can flip over up to 1, 2, or 3 animals, and then you have to flip them face down, and you have to try to find the next one in the sequence. You need to find them in a certain order, essentially. And so you need to find them and get them in the right order and all that jazz. So it has a little bit of dexterity, a little bit of memory, great for kids because there's a few things to enjoy. It's kind of a toy factor. If you have little kids, this would be a fun one. It's not like meant for us, but it's not made for us. It's a kids game. So fun
Cute
little
little game. Very cute. Kids
Yeah.
would friggin' love it. Played Unconscious Mind. This is a big game by Fantasia Games, and you can see this beautiful art. We got Vincent Trey art kind of in the real world, and then in the dream world, there is Andrew Bosley art, who does very good kind of dreamy art. And you essentially are a therapist, and you are trying to heal people of their grief, which I think is a cool-ass concept. I said ass, deal with it, butts.
Why not?
And you are trying to, what do you get? You're getting resources, is that what you're doing?
Well, insights, which are your
That's what it is.
resources. Insights into like freedom, passion, and
That's
growth.
what it is, yeah. And you have your kind of board, your insights board, and you're essentially moving these kind of glass beads up there, and you have different strength of like insights. You turning those in to, again, heal them of their grief, which is going to be like a big hit of points. It's really, really fun. It's like a big, pretty heavy Euro game. Our only knock with it is there's kind of a lot of different stuff in the game, and it feels like it could have like 1 or 2 less things in it, because you're like publishing papers as well, you're doing that kind of stuff, and it's like, I just feel like that could have been like maybe an expansion or maybe like a module that you could choose if you want to play
the
with.
treatise thing, I'm like, I just could not be less interested in that. It's just like, so like, why?
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of other really fun things doing.
Really
Do
cool
not
things.
need that thing over there.
Super fun though. I really, really liked Unconscious Minds, even with a little nitpick of there's just kind of too much going on.
It's a nitpick, because you could also just like not do
it,
that in the game. You'll probably be fine.
But I think it's so cool. The art is like bonkers good, and it's just so cool having these like you're healing people their grief. It's just so, I think it's absolutely outstanding. Yeah,
it's really,
fun.
really, really cool game. Really cool game. Fun stuff to consider. We played Disney Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliance. This is a skirmish game where you're going to play as like 3 characters apiece from these this menagerie of folks right there that you see. And they're going to give you cards you're going to kind of smash together a deck, so it's kind of a smash-up-y thing where you're going to have different cards with abilities and stuff, and they all kind of are like sensible to who they are. Like Aladdin can move around really quickly, it's kind of shifty.
Gaston hits really hard.
Sully and Gaston are just like punch really hard and do a lot of damage. You're trying to knock out your opponents, and every time you knock them out, they'll spring back up later, but you'll get kind of victory points that way. You're trying to get to like 10 or 12 points at first. I think it's great for like, it's kind of unmatched, but Disney style. And I'm like, honestly, cool. Like,
well, and one thing that's cool with the game is as you go through it, the beginner game that you start with, the one that we played on our channel, is like pretty bare bones. But then you get to add a lot more. And I think once you get to the point you're playing the full game, I think there's actually like a lot of strategy.
Every character has like a special ability they can do.
They seem really cool. And then on top of that, they're going to expand it to the stars. And I really enjoy
the
characters they chose for this one, because you have like characters from like the Gargoyles TV show, you have like some Pixar stuff, you have some classic Disney stuff, and so, and I'm like, what a cool. I'm glad that they're really like making it a very diverse cast in terms of like diverse through Disney, like again, like the Gargoyles show. It's like, wow, I'm surprised he chose that one.
Yeah, no, they got a great mix.
A cool game, and if you're really into Disney, you kind of want that unmatching. I think it's cool, and especially like once you get to the full game, I think it's great. And I hope they keep expanding. I hope they keep supporting it, because I think it's a cool concept. Yeah,
I think it's really neat to see. Like, it's why we love Unmatched and stuff. So it does a similar thing with Disney. So I'm like, I'm all in. I think it's dope.
Yeah.
Super fiddly dials with the health, and I hate that.
The dials are fiddly.
But other than that,
Speaking
all right.
of
So Unmatched. I just put these all together because we played a bunch of different types of Unmatched this year. We played Deadpool for the first time, Redemption Row, Hell's Kitchen. Those are the 2 Marvel 3-pack sets. We played Battle Legends Volume 2 and Houdini versus the Genie. They're all good.
They're all outstanding.
They're all dope.
They're all great, because which one is your favorite of these?
I mean, I'm going to go Battle Legends Volume 2 because there's 4 characters and they're all super cool.
Yeah, they're very cool. Houdini vs. Genie was very fun, too.
That'd be my follow-up.
We're great. Unmatched is outstanding. Still is outstanding. Can't wait for more.
Yeah. And the Versus system.
This is also by Upper Deck, who makes like Marvel. This is instead of being a cooperative game, this is like a 1 versus 1. It's a versus game.
Yeah.
In this case, it's like Civil War. You're like, one of us was Iron Man and their team. The other person was Captain America and their team.
Right.
This is a game where you have like rows of cards, and you're trying to
kind of like Radlands. You have like kind of 2 rows of cards.
And you're trying to like take out the other person's like main hero. We didn't really like it. This kind of like head-to-head card games are not really our thing. It just was, again, there's so many keywords. This is one of those games where, again, like they've supported this game to the stars. I'm super hyped for the people who love this game, because like they have so much content for it. There's going to be a lot of people who love this game. We just super do not. It's just so not our kind of game.
Did not work for us at all.
Yeah, we're just like,
if I'm going to do card dueling stuff, I'd rather play like Unmatched or something like that.
Yeah, totally. Like this, just straight up cards. You're fine. This card does this, and it's just not our kind of game.
Yeah.
So didn't really like it, but again, this game's not for us. But other people love this game, and I'm glad they supported it, because they've gotten a ton of content out of it.
Absolutely.
There's so much versus out there.
War of the Ring card game. This was a disappointment.
You liked it more than I did.
I did, but it was still a disappointment.
I flat out didn't like it, which was such a bummer, because I wanted to like it so badly.
This game is interesting. So it's taking War of the Ring, a massive troops on a map game that has Lord of the Rings in a box, and they made a card game version of it, where you're going to play as, ideally, I think, probably as a 2v2 game.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be played.
And so if you're the Shadow Armies like we were, like me and Shay were on a team, we're going to have certain factions from that army, from those armies, various armies and stuff that we can play as, and you're going to be fighting over kind of different battlegrounds every round.
Like Helm's Deep.
Like Helm's Deep and stuff.
The thing
that's really cool is if you're in Helm's Deep, and I'm the Mordor and Nazgul characters, like, guess what? I can't play cards there. Why? I wasn't there at Helm's Deep. That's super cool in a way, but also really restrictive, because on this turn, I can't do a lot. I'm just kind of sitting around.
You literally can't do anything.
Now, I think the key to the game, what I managed to do quite well, is like, okay, I can't play this battle, so what I'm going to do is you can play certain cards in reserve, and the Nazgul in particular are very much the best when they're in reserve. And so I was able to do that, and sort of you kind of like get ready for when it's your turn to do your stuff. And I think it's something to explain to people. It's just like, if you can't contribute to a battle and stuff, get ready, because eventually you will. But it just felt like everyone at some point in this game felt like stuck. You're like, well, I can't do anything. Shay, I hope you got it. And Shay's like, I don't have any Isengard people either, because I have Isengard and this and this. I don't have Isengard, so like, there's just nothing to be done about this battle. It just wasn't great.
It
just honestly isn't great.
We played it a couple different times at different player counts, and every single player count we played it at, I felt there were so many turns where I was like, well, I can't do anything.
Yeah, you in particular felt stuck a lot.
I really didn't like it. I really disliked it. I thought it was so much of the game was spent going like, cool, can't do anything. Yeah. Guess I'm losing this battle. And I thought it was straight up bad. I did not like it.
And of course, this game is never going to be as good as War of the Ring. No. It's impossible. But I was hoping that it would just be a little better than
maybe
it was.
That's just me, but I really didn't like it. I thought it was which is such a bummer. I wanted to like it so bad.
Didn't learn.
You played Wingspan Asia.
I played Wingspan Asia. This was really cool. I played it with just the stuff from Wingspan Asia. I played the 2-player duet mode with my wife, and it was really fun. If you like Wingspan, This is a great addition. Some of the cards are like kind of push your luck elements. And the duet board, the 2-player version, where you're kind of every time you play a bird, you get to put a little token down on the board, is a fun little addition. All the end of round goals had to do with that board. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play. We're gonna play it here. We're gonna do a playthrough of it soon, hopefully in the next month or two.
Yeah,
but
probably
really excited to play this one.
Yeah, it's really great.
I would put the Wizard of Oz, the adventure book game. There's a couple of these. There's like a Princess Bride one. I think maybe one other one. This is a game where you're going through different scenarios. The different scenarios will be different parts of Wizard of Oz. You're going in order, so you're starting off in Kansas, and then you go to Oz and stuff like that. You're with the Munchkins and stuff. And this is a game where you are, again, going through the story, and you're going through, and every scenario you're doing different stuff based on the movie. So like, what was it? The one where you're in Kansas, you have to get like the farmers in certain places, and you have to like make all the animals happy. Like there's the pigs and the horse. You have to make them happy, make sure they're not sad and stuff like that. And I remember like
tornadoes coming,
all this kind of stuff. And man, we really liked it. And we're both like, I like Wizard of Oz, but like we didn't grow up on Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
We did grow up on Princess Bride, which I do still want to try that one at some point.
Yeah.
But the system itself was actually really, really fun. And I was like, wow, this is cool, because if this is a theme you like, or if you do like the Princess Bride one more, or something like that,
it's so
these
fun
are
to go through
really,
the story.
really fun. And I was like, wow, this is actually pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Wizard of Oz. I was like, wow, that transcended, because I'm like, not
yeah,
tired
we're
of
just
the
talking,
movie, and I was like,
and
this
each
is really
scenario again,
cool.
you're doing totally different stuff.
The first page of the game and stuff, because you're in Kansas in black and white, it's like sepia tone, and then you flip over and it's all color. I'm like, they just did
it was very cool
throughout that. I'm like, these are cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I was very surprised at how much fun that was.
Yeah,
it was
a good
cool.
time.
But Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy. This is a game where you, well, actually, I haven't played this game. You played this game. This game where you're matching colors, right?
Yeah,
you're
trying to feed a monster. You're trying to feed it different things, and based on the, it basically wants, how is it? You want to get to a certain color. And so you have a bunch of things in hand that you could feed it, like different kinds of candy and whatnot, and all the cards are going to be slightly different colors of like blues and things like that. And you're going to try to kind of play the color that you think will get the closest to that. But if you play like a red and I play a blue, and we both feed to the monster's going to turn purple.
Yeah.
And so maybe they want to be like a light purple. So it's like, well, how do I do that? And so it makes you think about color.
Yeah, it's a kid's game, to be fair.
Yes, for kids and stuff. It's a really great thing for kids.
The app is so cool.
Yeah, the monster actually like changes color in the app, and depending on how close you got, they're happier or less happy. And if you feed it like vitamins, it gets all bummed out because it wants to eat candy and stuff, and like fire hoses and
this
things.
game is super popular. People love this game.
It's really cute.
What a cool concept.
Really,
yeah,
really
great
cute.
kids game. This is for the Lucky Duck kids.
Great way to think and talk about color.
Yeah, I mean, really, really cool.
And that's the new to us.
Oh, we're through the new to us, fam. That is the bigger of the two lists.
We're only 3.5 hours in.
We're only 3.5 hours in. So the second half of the list here, we are going to go
fast.
Very fast.
You know how we talk about we're only like one sentence and out? This, we mean it for now.
We wax poetic about most of those games. We really shouldn't have.
Shouldn't have done that.
But nonetheless, now we're going to go through through us games. We had like 172 new to us games and like 130 or something like that old to us
much
games.
Less
much less here. But here's the thing, we're gonna go through them fast. We're probably gonna let this play for the most part because they're each like 5 seconds long or something like that. We're gonna try and keep them in there.
Just hover over the button, only push if we need to stop.
Yeah, I'll sit here, but fam, let's start moving. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate you. If you got through that, you're a champion.
Yeah, we love it. So these are games we've played before, but we're going to talk about again. Crokinole, it's amazing.
God, it's so good.
Best dexterity game of all time, no doubt about it. A wonderful game.
That's true. Strike, this is a game where you're gladiators, dice, you're trying to hit them, and you're trying to keep dice, you're trying to have all the dice.
If you can't have fun playing that game, you can't have fun. Dice Miner is a dice drafting game. You want to have various different colors of dice and stuff. Really great filler game.
Marvel United is a really, really fun cooperative game that I am collecting because I really want to paint it, but it's a great game where you have a villain, everyone has their own Marvel character, great minis.
Yeah, absolutely. Paint the Rose is a fantastic deduction game where you are trying to complete the Queen's Garden before you get your head chopped off, following the whims of the Queen. Amazing game.
Indeed. Space Base, we played with John DeClaire, which is very fun. He's very good at that game, mostly because he made it.
Yeah.
Great game, engine builder game, wonderful. Don't play with John DeClaire, he will beat you.
Yeah, absolutely will destroy you. Terraforming Mars, I played it on the app. That's the only way I want to play this game, and with Prelude still, but it's still a great game, classic for a reason.
Still very, very good. Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition is the only way I want to play it unless I'm playing it digitally.
Much better.
I like Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition significantly better. It took out all the stuff I didn't like about Terraforming Mars and added stuff I do like to it. It's great.
Yeah. Abandon All Artichokes is a
good.
game where you're trying to get rid of all the artichokes in your hand and draw a hand of no artichokes using other vegetables. It's a deck wrecking game. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Can't stop. A game where you can't stop.
You can't stop. You're trying to roll dice and move up tracks and stuff, but if you ever bust out and you can't add to a track, you lose your progress, which I always do. It's a great push your luck game. Pure push your luck.
Press your luck game.
Crush
Cascadia is also a press your luck
lush.
game where you're building out Pacific Northwest and putting animals on certain spots versus scoring conditions. Very, very fun game. Very chill game.
Beautiful. Explorers is a Phil Walker Harding praise game where you're kind of crossing off things and making routes through different types of landscapes, trying to collect as many like gems and things as you can.
Yeah, Le Havre is a great game. My number 2 game. I absolutely love it. This is a game where you are a fisher person. You're either using a building or getting a whole big bunch of resources. So good. Oh my gosh.
Amazing Ube game. Amazing Ube game. Lost Ruins of Varnox, really fun game. It's a deck building worker placement game and discovering new dig sites and stuff like that. Kind of Indiana Jonesing it. Really wonderful game. The expansion is fantastic.
That's right. Project L is a great kind of like polynomial Tetris-y game where you have a card and you're trying to fill it in with these different shapes. When you do that, you get that card. That card's worth points. You get another card to fill it in. It's really good. I think one of the best gateway games, if not the best gateway game out there.
Indeed. Tapestry, fantastic game. Nick agrees. It's a game where you're bumping tracks and doing Civ stuff. I love it. So fun. It's flawed, but I don't care.
I don't like it. Viscount of the West Kingdom. This is the third in the West Kingdom trilogy. Really, really good. This one's based off a rondel and kind of as Mike calls it, a deck builder in slow motion. You're deck building, but very slowly. Really, really great. It's just very good, yes.
So smooth. Brass Birmingham, amazing game that Nick likes. This is a game where you're doing Industrial Revolution stuff in Britain and trading things and beer, and you're trying to flip over tiles. I'm trying to mooch off what you're doing, and you're trying to mooch off what I'm doing. Yeah. Great game. Great game.
Castle of Burgundy, trash. No, it's great. Castle of Burgundy is a classic for a reason. It's a game where you're building out a duchy. You have dice. You're getting tiles, put them in your duchy. It's great. It's a classic for a reason. If you haven't played it, play it. It's great.
So good. So much stuff. Plans of Caledonia, one of the best games of all time. In such a slim, wonderful box. You're doing Scotch Island stuff, pure economic stuff, trying to spread your dollar as far as you can. Doing things, producing goods, completing contracts. So good.
It's one of the best games ever.
Disney
Villains. Shout out to Foster and Meeple.
Shout out to the Foster and Meeple. I love you, but I do not love this game.
That's true. We're both kind of the same boat. Don't really like Villainous that much.
Leave it pause for a second. It falls on the same problem as Smash Up, where it's aimed at people who do not play board games, and there's so many things for every character that are unclear.
Yes.
Every game, every time I try to do a character, I'm just like, how do they work? What do I do? I'm Syndrome. Are the machines against me? Are they for me? And they're like, it's sort of both. I'm like, when? And they're like, you figure that out. I'm like, no, design the game better. It's such a poorly designed.
It's kind of with it's Smash Up in the way where I like the concept of Villainous so much, but I don't love the game
it falls
of Villainous.
So short of its concept.
Yeah, unfortunately for us it does.
What the actual heck? You got to.
Sorry,
Jamie,
we need to play it with you. I don't know.
Teach me what we're missing. This game falls so short of its idea that it just bums me out.
Yeah, it really bums me out. Draftosaurus is a great game where you're drafting dinosaurs. You're putting them in a little pen. The pens want different stuff. Some want the same dinosaurs. Some want different dinosaurs. Some want to be a couple of dinosaurs. It's great.
So good. It's so good. I was just helping you out. Founders of Teotihuacan. This is a game where you're doing tile placement stuff in the kind of Teotihuacaniverse, and it's okay.
It's
okay.
It's okay.
It's just,
Ginkopolis is such a good game. This is a game where it's a very simple, very elegant game, as Mike says. Almost went number one. Mikey loves Ginkopolis.
There's not a game that does more with less, that is more elegant than this game. There's no game that's done something more impressive than with that one.
Hammer Time is a game where you have gems on top of a box, and you are rolling a die, and the deck takes how you have to hit the box, might you have to punch it, might you have to hit it with a little hammer, and you're trying to fulfill contracts by hitting gems off the box. It's a cute little game.
I'll show you the way, young grasshoppers. Foster and Meeple, we would love it. I don't know what I'm missing, but Disney Villainous is like, why is it so hard to understand what your character does? I think always. Hanamakochi, great two-player game to play with my wife.
I haven't played this game in a while.
I know. Where you're trying to incur the most favor of the geisha in front of you and get as many on your side as possible so they come perform at your restaurant. It's a fantastic, tight, tactical two-player game.
Very tough game. It's a Wonderful World. We talked about this a little bit earlier. It's Wonderful Kingdom.
It's a Wonderful Kingdom.
This is a drafting game. This is a quick engine builder game, and it is one of my favorite games of all time. I freaking love this game. This is my go-to quick engine builder. It's stupid
Engine builder card drafting game. So good. I can't score points in it, but I don't care. Core Rise of Empire, you like bumping tracks, Nick?
Tracks.
Bumping tracks. It's such a good game. We're doing action selection stuff, bumping tracks, getting up that way, doing things, and the card play is fantastic. I really enjoy the cards.
Two beige. The Loop is a really great, really too hard co-op game. I still love it despite how hard it is, but god dang, this game is hard. You're going through time to trying to find Dr. Foe. I think it's a really cool theme, really fun game, but that is a teeny bit too hard, but I still really like it. I like it more than you, I think.
It's too limiting and does not work at two-player.
Micro Cop City.
It's great. It's amazing. Murder Mystery and Where's Waldo World. Love
Where's
it so
Waldo
much.
for adults?
It's
Kind of.
so fun.
It's really fun. It's
You
more of
never
an
had,
activity.
you never had so much fun with so much murder.
Super Mega Lucky Bucks.
Praise be to Phil Walker Harding.
praise
This is a
be, praise
bingo
be,
game. We're going to
praise
flip
be,
over
praise
4.
be,
If you have a
praise
4,
be,
you can
praise
cross
be,
off a
praise
4.
be.
If you complete rows and columns, you get bonuses. And if you complete all 9 things in a box, you get to score points for it. The earlier you complete those things, the better. Great game.
Indeed.
Borrows a lot of other Phil Walker Harding stuff.
Whirling Witchcraft, this is a great game where you're trying to overwhelm your opponent by giving them cubes. And the more cubes you get them, they have to put on their board. If they can't put them on the board, they have to give them back to you. If you get 5 of them, you get points. Boom, nailed it.
So good. Seven Wonders Architects, a really fun game. It's a very simplified version of Seven Wonders, the most simplified version out there. It's fun. You're building a wonder of the world. I like it.
Animal on Animal, you're putting animals on top of animals. Cute little hobby game. This one's the Christmas edition.
It's fantastic.
You're trying to stack them. If you roll a dice, it tells you what you stack. It's great.
Great kids game. Great kids game.
Y'all follow
Stack
along?
yourself.
Y'all figure yourself?
Ascension deck building game. This is a pure deck builder where you're going to get money and damage, and you can either damage to get monsters, you get a boon and get points, or you can get your money or influence, whatever, to buy better cards. So it's a deck builder. You get some cards, get better cards, get better cards, combo those cards, and get stuff. Fun game.
The Bloody Inn. This is a game where you are French inn owners and you realize that it's more profitable for you to kill some of your guests. And so you're trying to get other guests to kill your guests. And those kids, you're going to take their money and you build other things. And it's really great.
Yeah. And it bums me out
Get
now
weird,
that the
everybody.
cops help
Just
you
like-
do murder, because I'm like,
They do, but
that didn't age so well, but here we
We
are.
pay them good hard cash.
We do. Carnegie's a great game where you are building out kind of industries and stuff across America, and we are romanticizing Carnegie's contributions to the world. No, you're doing charitable things. That's how you get most of your
He
points.
did do that.
You know,
He was
he did
also
do that.
just-
He was also a
just
monster
problem
at
how you
times. But, complicated
But the
figure.
game is always fun.
Complicated figure.
Carpe Diem. This is the new version of Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem is a great game where you're building out a little Steppenfeld stuff, a little duchy area, trying to match
Carcassonne
buildings and stuff.
vibe.
It's a really, really game. I'm glad he got a slight upgrade. It's still not a pretty game, but it's not unplayable like it was. It's very, very fun. Though I think Carpe Diem is outstanding.
It's really fun. Castle Tuscan, another Steffenfeld game. It's really fun. It's Castle Burgundy goes Ticket to Ride. We're now using card-based stuff. It's really fun. All the flavor of Castle Burgundy, but really quick and easy to play.
This is Chai of Tuscany, where you are making chai and you are
Pure
trying to
contract
fulfill
fulfillment.
orders, and you need certain kinds of tea, maybe some milk, maybe some sugar, fulfill orders, get points. It's great.
Yeah. It's really fun. Chai Tea for Two is coming up. I know it because I made this. It's a 2-player version of Chai. It's very different than Chai.
Yes.
It's definitely heavier than Chai. It's not a heavy game, but it's a cool
heavier
kind
than
of
Chai,
step
yeah.
up from Chai if you're interested in that. And
Very
again,
different
same
game, but
beautiful art.
I think I like this game more for sure.
too,
It's
me
very
too,
good
for sure.
Clank and deck building. We finally played Clank again. It had been a while. This is a game where you're deck building and going down into a dungeon trying to steal treasure, but there's a dragon down there. The dragon does not like you stealing her treasure, and so she is trying to hunt you down by hearing for you. You are making noise. The more noise you make, the more likely it is you're going to get hit. It's great.
First ever ranking. This is my #1 game. It's a great game. Color is a hobby game where you're coloring it, rolling dice out, which will give you certain areas where you can color in stuff. Really great for young kids,
kids,
because you
it's
can
so
just
good.
take away all the rules or add as many rules as you want and just have a good time coloring.
Yeah, for kids, this is crazy.
It's structured
good.
coloring.
Crown of Amara is so dry. It's dry like a bucket of sand.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so good.
Dry.
This is a game where you have 2 different rondelles. You're going around the 2 different rondelles. You're getting resources on this side. You're spending resources over on this side. It's absolutely outstanding. It's a really tight resource game. So good, so dry, so zero theme. It's great. Oh my god.
Fireborn says Clank Catacombs is great. I'm so happy to hear. I really want
wanna
to try
try it
Clank
really bad.
Catacombs real bad. Claim is a 2-player trick-taking game that Nick played on his trip. This is a game where you have different factions that they all do different things. You're trying to set up in the first half of the game. You're trying to win cards to then play in the second half of the game to win cards to collect the most majorities of factions. Really great
so
game.
good.
Fantastic.
It's my favorite trick-taking game. It's
Bunch
great.
of expansions.
Dinosaur Island Roar and Ride. This is the Roar and Ride version of Dinosaur Island. It's kind of a mix between Dinosaur Island and Dinosaur World, and we think it's the best of all of the different dinosaur games, although we do like them all. But this one is just really, really fun. You're getting specialists, you're giving tours, you're getting dinosaurs. It's great.
It's definitely the easiest one to table,
Yeah.
which is very important because Dinosaur World is not very
so
easy to
big.
table. Really good. If you like Dinosaur Island, I do think this game is better, but I
Yes.
wanted it to be slightly sleeker than Dinosaur Island, and it is the same level of just kind of bloaty, chunky.
Yeah.
It's better, but
And
I'm like,
somehow bigger.
I wanted you to be.
The tiles are this big.
They're so huge.
Why are they so big?
Why is it all so big? It's so hard to play.
But it's very fun.
We're on a game table, we can't fit it.
Yeah, I played Miyabi. I played this with Matthew and Paula.
Allegedly.
And this is a polygonal tile game where you are putting tiles, but you have to put them in certain rows and columns. It's a very restrictive game, but it's a good restrictive where the restriction creates really tough choices, really fun choices. Very, very good
Such
game.
a fun game. Such a fun game. Dragon Castle is a beautiful game where you're putting down these tiles, kind of borrows a lot from Mahjong. And as you get these little tiles up, you get groups of colors, you get to flip them face down. The bigger groups you can kind of flip at once, the more points you get.
It's all good. Played Fiam. Oh, Fiam was so good. Fiam is a weird deck programming game where you're playing out these cards and they go into your discard pile, which you never, ever, ever shuffle, because then you do an administrative phase and you get those the top 3 cards your discard pile back, and you can pay to get more. So you get those cards back in. So you're trying to bury cards you don't need anymore, but keep cards you really want to play again up on the top.
Better cards.
It's good.
Deck building without shuffling your deck.
It's so good. Oh my god.
It's really great. Feast Road, best game of all time. What need I say more? There's Vikings, there's Polyominoes, there's worker placement. Moving on. Fields of Arl, great 2-player Uwe game. Hit it.
Tuve, it's good.
It's a Tuve game.
It's a Tuve game. Der Fuchs in Duet.
This is Fox and Forest Duet. We have to have this weird German one because every time we have fun fact, the English cover, it corrupts when we try to export it. It's a 2-player trick taking game cooperative.
Duet.
Yes, and you are trying to win tricks in such a way that you move this little marker in a forest to collect gems.
It's very fun.
Cooperative.
Friday. I still have never played Friday.
It's a solo game where you are helping out Robinson Crusoe, who's quite dumb, and you're trying to help them overcome challenges and stuff and get better cards. So it's a deck building kind of game as you go.
I want to play
really fantastic. It's a great
I
solo
just
game.
need to play it. I need to borrow it. Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is great. It's the #1 game of all time according to BGG. We played it digitally. I think digitally it's absolutely outstanding because it takes care of all the like the upkeep for you and stuff like that. There's a ton of it on there. I think it's really good. I think I'll only ever play it digitally though.
Absolutely. Grand Austria Hotel, fantastic game about running a hotel, trying to feed people what they want to convince them to stay in your hotel, and it's fantastic. It's a game that hurts so good.
Yeah, it hurts so good. That's the accurate one. Nova Luna. I played Nova Luna, and this is a game we talked about framework earlier. This is a game where you're trying to make color through adjacency. You're trying to fulfill these tasks. It's got kind of like a patchwork way of gaining tiles. I don't think it needs that. Play Framework. I think Framework is better, personally.
Yeah, Framework's better, but Nova Luna does the same thing.
Hallertau. It's another Uwe game.
Such a good Uwe game about doing farm stuff. A wild, and it's great and beautiful, and it's really fun. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's got a progressive worker placement.
Herbaceous is a game where you are building out a
Herbaceous.
garden, and you are trying to pot those herbs. You'll get a card, you can put in your private garden, put it in the public garden. The other card, you have to put in the other one.
It'll push your luck because you can only pot once per type of pot. So how long do you let it wait? Because someone might take
Pots want different stuff. It's super good.
Oh, it's so good.
Super good. Honeybuzz. Honeybuzz is a great, cute game where you are bees, you have little beeples, and you are trying to build out honeycombs and produce honey and then sell that honey because all the woodland animals are stealing your honey. So you might as well sell it to them, make a buck. It's great.
Absolutely. So fantastic. Illusions, all about seeing shapes and how much color of red is showing on things. You're trying to put them in the right order from least amount of red to most amount of red or green or blue or whatever.
I think it's one of the easiest games to get people to play.
Really fun, super not colorblind friendly.
Yeah, really fun.
Empires
of the North. This is a game where you each take a faction of the North, and you take a faction. You are playing out cards. They all are very, very different, and you're basically the first one to get 25 points. It's really a race game. I really like Empires of the North. I will basically always buy everything for it because I think it's absolutely standing.
It's so good. It's so good. Keyflow is a fantastic card drafting version of Keyflower where you're building out a village in the spring and summer and getting a bunch of production able so that you can start running your buildings and produce stuff for the fall and winter where you're ultimately going to want to move your resources to certain areas to score the most points possible.
Yeah, super excited.
So good.
King Domino. King Domino won the Spiel des Jahres for a dang reason. It's great. It's a game where you have a domino tile with 2 different terrain types on there and you're trying to place it down. And it's good. King Domino Origins. It's a better version of King Domino because now there's a little bit more different ways to play. It's still great.
It's really fantastic. Llama Land Praise be to Phil Walker Harding. You're using polyomino tiles to build out and then up. And as you stack things on top of each other, whatever you cover up, you'll produce resources and things. As you turn in cocoa and corn and stuff, you can visit llamas, put them out onto your board to complete objectives and stuff like that. There's player powers, lots of fun stuff to explore.
Yeah, it's
really fun,
really
puzzly game for Phil Walker Harding.
Rococo, I played this with Paula and Cindy, and this is a game where you are a garment maker and you're trying to make pretty dresses and cool coats and put in the king's ball for points, and it's really, really good.
It's really good. Maglev Metro is a game where you are building out routes and stuff and doing pick up and deliver to get people to work and stuff. It's really, really fun. You can build up and wreck and change your engine throughout the game.
Indeed. Merv, the Heart of the Silk Road, again, we've played a lot. I really like it. You can kind of focus on a couple different things. You can go up the moss track, go to the caravan track, do all these different things. Really good. We've played it enough now, but it's still a very good game.
We just called it, but it's beautiful and a really fun game. Really fun game. New Frontiers, a Race for the Galaxy game, is a really fun game. It's really, really fun. Love it so much. Want to play it again. Finally got it physically. I'm so excited. Got it for $20.
Nidavellir is a kind of an engine building game where you're
set collection game.
Set collection, not engine building. Set collection game that we both like. We both cooled on pretty hardcore. It's also just very fiddly. If I'm playing like on BGA, I'm down because it kind of takes all the fiddliness out of it. But it's a good game that's just a little too fiddly.
Yeah, a little too much to set up and stuff for how long it is, or by that I mean how short it is. Number 9, fantastic game where you're trying to lay out different things and stack your tiles that are funky shapes based on numbers as high as you can to get as many points as possible. So good.
Funky shapes. Crisscross. Crisscross is so good. Reiner Knizia game where you roll dice. You have to put those dice in, kind of essentially make a little domino. Yeah. Put them in your thing. And you're trying to have a lot of the same in the same row and column and stuff like that. Score points. It's really fun, tough little game. You can play with literally anybody.
Yep. Newsfjord is
Uwe
Uwe
Rosenberg,
Rosenberg
so
game. It's
good.
super duper fun. It's kind of a quick Uwe Rosenberg game about
wanna
fish
play
and
more.
stock market and stuff. A lot of Uwe stuff. Yeah,
Fish
we
in
should
the
play
stock market, classic.
You know how it is.
Oceans, also a game about fish where this is a next evolution game where you are building out different evolutionary animals and making them cooler and cooler
Getting
and cooler.
traits,
I really
eating.
like Oceans. I think it's the best of the evolution games. We just got to try the new expansion. The expansion is really fun.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's a really fun game. Telestration is one of the best party games ever. It's telephone withdrawing. It's fantastic.
That's true. On Tour, it's a game where you are touring around in a little tour bus and you are
kind of building a route, hopefully, of ascending numbers.
Yeah.
And
Very tough game.
It's a very tough game because you're beholden to certain regions where you have to add your numbers, and you'll roll 2 dice. You'll have to do like 39 and then 93. So it's hard to do, but it's really fun.
Yeah, really cool. But Pagoda, it's a 2-player game where you're building out pagodas, which are these wonderful, beautiful buildings here. I really, really love Pagoda. It's a great 2-player only game where, again, you're building these up, trying to not set up your opponent for a lot of points. It's really good. Really good.
Forbidden Desert's a game where you are going around trying to assemble these pieces of a kind of a space sovereignty, a space like a steampunk machine. Really fun because it has this moving storm which puts up on the sand down. So it's a very pandemic-y game. It's made by the same designer. Really good.
It's very cool. Very
Classic
cool
game.
Patchwork. This is a 2-player only game. A Tuve game. It's a Tuve Rosenberg game where you are building out a patchwork quilt. You're drafting these tiles. It's a very tough game because you're trying to make them work in this small area. It's
Weird.
very
This is
good.
the first polyomino game that a lot of us played.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Really fun. Point Salad's a fantastic set collection game where you're trying to get the right vegetables, and the scoring cards that will give you points for having certain pairs of vegetables or certain type of vegetable might give you negative points. You have lettuce and things like that. Really fun, easy to explain.
One of the most playable games on the planet.
So playable.
Absolutely.
So very playable.
Play Metro X. This is the new version of Metro X, but it's ultimately the same game. You're building out a train route, a roll and write version, but you're trying to build them out kind of efficiently, and you don't want to like block other routes from being made. Very, very difficult game, but very fun.
Feels so brutal when you play it. Hurts,
very fun.
Hurts your feelings. Target, we played the expansion.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic expansion to Target, 2-player worker placement game that I love the expansion so much, would only want to play the expansion.
Yeah, it really opens up the game. It's nice.
So fantastic.
Prague could put Regni. This is another Vladimir Suki game that we really, really enjoy. Where you're kind of building up Prague. You're building up the big fancy bridge.
Good.
You're building out the wall of it. You're building up the cathedral. It's really, really good. Can kind of get pretty combo-y. It's absolutely outstanding. We also just got an insert for it, which made playing it even easier.
So
which
much
is nice.
better, yeah.
It's so good.
We play Lost Cities, the roll and write. This is a roll and write version of Lost Cities. Where you're
I like it more than Lost Cities.
The same things. You're trying to go on different expeditions, but as soon as you go invest in one, you have to go down a certain point, or else you're going to lose points and stuff like that. Yeah,
Same
fun,
thing,
very light roll.
Just really light, but I like it a lot. We played QE. Actually played the new expansion for QE.
Yeah, the commodities
This
expansion.
is a game where you are bidding to win different stuff, different industries and stuff like that. But you can bid literally anything, and it just gets bonkers, and it's really, really
the
fun.
commodities expansion makes
But you
it even
got to
better.
get into it. You don't be bidding
playing for
$10.
pennies.
Spend $10 billion trillion.
Yeah, if you got to print money, print a lot of it.
Yeah. Classic Quedlinburg is a great game, bag building game where you're pushing your luck, trying to put stuff into a cauldron, trying to get as far as you possibly can into the cauldron. All the different ships do different stuff. It's a really great game.
I love it so much. Still a classic at this point. The Quest for El Dorado is a fantastic racing game, intro to deck building game that we will talk about forever. Reiner Knizia did a great job where you're trying to play out cards to move through jungles and markets and stuff, and I can't wait for the new version with the new art.
Always a close game too, which is what's really nice
always
about
a
it.
good race.
We played Camel Up. We played Camel Up, the new version and the old version actually this year. Really good racing game.
The new version is so much better with the crazy camel. So
you're basically trying to bet on which camel you think is going to win, but the camels are doing all this kind of crazy stuff. It's really good. Quirky Circus is great. This is a robot programming game, a cooperative programming game where you're putting out a program. This robot's gonna go this way, then turn. But you're all putting down cards in, but you can't talk about what you're putting down because you're robots and you can't speak. And it's really, really fun.
Yeah, really fun. You gotta talk and beep boops and stuff like that. It's a good like Code Names. I played it on. I did Tim's Code Names, the Code Names.
Well, we played it with Ray from CG too.
Yeah, and we played Code Names. It's a classic party game. It's so good.
It's really fun.
It's such a fun game.
It's really popular for a reason.
Yeah.
I played Dominion, which is a deck building game. It's the first
Pure
deck building game. I think there are way, way, way better games out there, but people still like this one for some reason.
I like Dominion, but yeah, I like Ascension probably better out of pure deck builders.
John Force, another racing game, kind of like Camel Up, where you are betting on who you think is going to win the race, much more so than trying to win the race yourself. Yeah. A lot of times. You're playing out these cards, those move cards. It's really, really fun. I still love Downforce. The problem is I always want to play it at 6.
Yeah. And as a result of that, this actually, when I logged it, was logged as a new play because we haven't played it, obviously, since before the pandemic.
Yeah, because we like to play
it. So it's been years since we played it, but still great.
Still good.
Still really good.
Raise North Sea.
Fantastic worker placement game where you are kind of down in your village gathering resources and you go out on raids and you go and plunder and stuff like that and take back treasures and you can turn them in for contracts or keep them for straight up points. and you're trying to work on various things. Nice flow to that game.
Raja Gandhi is one of the greatest games ever made. It's so good. You have a fame track, you have a money track. You're trying to cross those tracks.
It
did it before Ark Nova. It's a worker placement game. Dice is your currency. It's super good. Beautiful chunk, dumb, thick chunk dice. So good.
They're beautiful, and you're building out pathways and stuff. As you are in Raja the Ganges, the Dice Charmers is a dice roll and write version of that. We're trying to do all this combo-tastic. Maybe the best roll and write of all time. Certainly the best one that's based on a parent game.
Oh, for sure, yeah, absolutely outstanding.
Without a doubt.
Shakespeare, we got to play Shakespeare again. We got to introduce our
good
good
friend.
friend.
A long time, man.
Introduce Paula to it. It was so much fun. Shakespeare is so good where you're making a Shakespearean play. You're working on all 3 acts of play. You're getting different actors and actresses in it. It's a really fun, tough game, but so good.
Absolutely. Getting there. So Clover is a fantastic clue-giving game where you are putting together a clover. You get a bunch of different 2-word combinations. You have to write a clue that points to those 2 words. You have to disassemble the clover. Has a bunch of, each card has 4 words on it, and you have to hopefully have people reassemble the clover correctly. Really fun game that you can actually get to the answer, which seems impossible.
It seems impossible. You can always do it, which is nice. Yeah. Stop Thief is a game where you're trying to, we always play it cooperatively. You're trying to catch these thieves. They're going around stealing stuff.
These killers.
You're doing everything just through audio clues, so you don't know where they're moving, but you can deduce it through the audio clues. It's so much fun.
It's great. It's great. Super Skill Pinball is fantastic little, well, I should say this. It's a roll and write game where you're signifying? What's the word I'm looking for?
Wrong. You are.
I mean, you're pretending to play a pinball game. What's the thing?
God, no, I can't think of it.
It doesn't matter. The point is, it's simulating a pinball game.
Thank you.
That's where I knew it was an S. You're simulating a pinball game, and you're kind of going up to different areas and bumping things. I think it's such a cool idea. That's just super fiddly, and for me, like, doesn't work, and it's like so hard to track your score.
We're breaking Boston people's heart because they love these games. I
love the idea of it so much. We have it all.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm not gonna get rid of it, I don't think. But I'm like, always, I was like, why is this like?
It's too fiddly.
As you move your little ball around, it just scrapes and just like erases stuff behind it. I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah. I know. I want to like it more than I do.
I know. It falls into the category of too many things are unclear.
Yeah. Sushi Roll is a great version. It's a dice drafting version of Sushi Go. We like it. We talk about it all the time. Say praise be, praise be, praise be. We like Sushi Roll more than Sushi Go. It's just great. It's a dice drafting version of Sushi Go. It's great.
Nice. It's so good. It's so fun. We got Tabanusi Builders of I soloed this game. I do not recommend the solo mode because I don't like Board and Dice's solo modes, but I am interested to play this game again. It's really interesting. Feels very tight resource-wise.
Yep.
It's hard, but I want to play it again to try to get it somewhere in my brain because it just seems so hard to understand.
Twat and Suyu, which is both of our favorite tea games. Someone asked earlier, what's best tea game? Twat and Suyu for us at least. Love Twat and Suyu. It's a big tea game where you're putting out meeples and stuff, and it's really good.
It's so fantastic.
Too much to explain into a quick version
It's
like
so
this.
fantastic. Coconuts, crazy coconuts. You are launching
a
monkey has a spring-loaded hands. You're launching coconuts, hopefully into cups in the middle of the table to collect those cups. If you get 6 cups collected, you win. This game is so stinking fun.
It's the greatest game ever made.
It's so fun because those coconuts do not bounce how you think they will, and it's actually really difficult.
So unironically, love crazy coconuts.
I know. This is another one like Strike. If you can't have fun playing coconuts, I like worry about your ability, your capacity to have fun.
10 is a push luck game where you're trying to get cards. You're trying to get a series of cards, like 1 through 9, hopefully. But when you're pushing your luck, bringing these cards out, if you get over 10, you're dead.
Yeah.
And
you get killed.
Really fun game I like a lot.
Yeah, it's really fun. Fun little push luck game. Teotihuacan, fantastic tea game. Former #1 game, my second favorite board and dice game. It's really great. Yokohama is also a fantastic game.
Yes.
It's really rad. You're doing kind of like route building almost with how you kind of sequence your turns, and it's not as crazy as it looks. It looks super overwhelming, but it's not.
Yes,
the actions are actually much simpler than they seem.
Indeed. Play Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef. This is the first Tidal Blades. Still really like it. This is kind of a dice upgrading game, really is, and it's really fun. I like it a lot. The more we've played, the more I like it. Each time I like it more and more and more. It can take a couple games to get into it, learn how to work the engine. But once you do, I think it's really fun.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I've enjoyed that more and more. Zulkin, such a good game. Probably the most unique game of all time. Most interesting game. Uses time and these gears and stuff, and you're putting workers on those gears, and when you bring them off, depending on where they are, how long they've been on the gear, they get better and better actions. Very tight resources. But I can't think of a game that's more like ingenious than Zulkin.
Yeah, it's wild. Valley of the Vikings, basically the same
Also
game.
ingenious.
This is a game where you're Vikings and you're bowling and you're trying to knock over these pins, and that moves people down this dock. You're trying to throw people off the dock, and you're trying to collect coins while you're doing it. It's great.
Absolutely. We've got Wavelength, trying to get on the same wavelength. The people had a really fun game of this at Dice Tower West.
I'm still salty about that game.
Yeah, you're going to get something between, like, as we had valuable and not valuable. And
No. It was quality.
Quality and
not quality or
something
bad
like that.
quality.
Doesn't matter. The point is like you might get a 6, so 1 to 10. So like, what's a middle of the pack quality, not quality thing? You give a word, but it turns into this great discussion. It's such a good party game. Such a
So
good party
salty
game.
about that game still.
Yeah, because you'll be like, you're wrong about this.
But Wingspan. Wingspan's great. It's about bird watching, and it's fun. I like the
Pyrex
engines.
was your clue.
It was Pyrex, indeed. I love Wingspan. I think it's fun to build just crazy, weird, broken bird engines. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. We're nearly there, friends. In fact, we are here. Zapotec. This is a board and dice game that I
like it more than you.
I don't like it.
You don't really like it that much. I like it more than you for sure.
There's a thing that
Yes.
you can get kind of basically a jump start, a little prelude, a little mini thing for this game. I need that for this game. I need it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it's just the first round feels, it ramps up as you go, but the first round feels so like hamstrung. And you're like, okay. And it's a 5-round game, and it's a quick 5-round game. So I'm like, I need the first round to do a little bit more.
Fair. That's fair. I like it more than you, but
That's
yeah.
all I need.
Fair.
But it's solid. We did it.
Finn.
We did it.
Start again.
Let it loop around.
Let's
Let's
start
begin
again.
again. Scout. That is everything we played in 2022. It's 285 games. Many of them new to us. 100 and change are repeats that you just saw us rip through really fast. What's our final time? We're
Under
just
4
at
hours.
under 4 hours.
Pretty good.
Quicker than last
Pretty
time.
good. It's a lot of games to talk about.
Yeah.
Go show how quickly we can go if we're really just booking it through the...
I know. I wonder, should we ever do like one where we just go that pace the whole time?
No, I don't think it's fair watchable.
Probably not. Yeah.
Like, could any of you understand what we were
I think it's
talking
good
about?
for the back half because like they've heard us talk about these games. Oh, they know we like Twat and See You. But thank you so much for joining us for that. Dacia says favorite tea game isn't by Ticini. It's not. It's by
not for me.
Terzi. It's in the tea. Terzi.
My favorites are probably like Terracotta Army and that, so neither of them are by Ticini, actually.
Yeah.
I say if I love Carcassonne, Isle of Skye, Big Box is a no-brainer, right? I'd probably say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Also, is there room for Miss over Carcassonne and Isle of Skye Big Box? Probably. They're not similar.
Yeah. Very different. Wade thinks a big hit at my work is an icebreaker. Yeah, it's a great way to learn how people think. It's really fantastic. If you've been in this chat this whole time, or if you're watching this after that and you made it to the end, honestly, congrats. This is quite a ways. Last year when we did this, people would watch it in chunks and stuff throughout time. Let us know, though, and especially if you're watching us live right when this video ends, give a comment and let us know your favorite game, new to you, whether or not it's from 2022 or not, new to you game that you played, or if it's a classic that you just still love the most of all. Let us know your favorite thing you played in 2022. We'd love that.
Indeed.
If you have enjoyed this, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to us, I'm Mike, that is Nick. We are the Brothers Murph. We would love for you to consider subscribing. And I think that's all we got, man. We've taken up plenty of your time today.
We have been here. I'm happy with how quickly we went, but hey.
I think we did
It's
good.
it's a lot of games to get through.
I'm
Love you all to
impressed.
death. Thank you all for being here. We will see you all later again. Put down the comments below. Let us know your favorite game of the year.
Yeah.
Drop a like if you haven't already. And we will see you all a little bit later.
All right. Bye.